All right, guys, we're going to do it. You guys have convinced me. A lot of requests to engage, react, transform this plagiarism and YouTube video. There's a couple of different sections on Filip something. I don't know who that is, but Cinemassacre, Illuminati, but then specifically YouTube content mills. I'm assuming that's me. So I'm kind of curious. We'll probably ramp the speed up as we go on. I saw Hassan, videos of Hassan reacting to it on YouTube, so I figured, hey, it's got to be okay because they're best friends. That's what I heard. They're very good friends. He likes Hassan. So let's get this party started.
$337,000. Tell us the story briefly.
All right, we're going to start on regular speed, and we will ramp after a few minutes.
In 1970, in Analog magazine, Harlan Ellison and Ben Bova published the short story Brillo. Ellison's one of the most famous
Yeah, I like that. Those are good Brillo pads.
writers in history, but Bova's no slouch. He soon became editor of Analog, where he was the
super chatted $2. First time in the stream. When's Among Us with chat?
Yeah, good question. Never. I don't know. I used to play that with chat, but then you guys always steal my ideas. You always steal my stuff, so I feel like, how am I going to do that? You guys are mean.
And won the Hugo Award for Best Professional Editor 6 times. This isn't one of his. He accepted this one on behalf of George R.R. Martin, whose career he started.
Well, you know what? I have a problem with George R.R. Martin. Finish the fucking books. Like, enough is enough. We got this worst Game of Thrones, horrible dog shit Game of Thrones ending on the TV show ever. It wasn't even like mediocre. It was just dog poop. You know, I would honestly fund a GoFundMe. Personally, I would donate and contribute to a GoFundMe that CGI'd and like redid like 2 seasons, like the last 2. The season before the last wasn't great, but it was at least okay. Okay, so I will donate money to recreate like the last 2 seasons, maybe as like a trilogy movie. And then also I want a very hyper-realistic, detailed scene of Danny and John fucking, because listen, who doesn't want to see that? Who doesn't want to see that, guys? Who doesn't want to see a little family loving?
George couldn't make it. He was running a chess tournament at the time.
Okay.
Writers used to have fun. Now we just complain about Twitter. On Twitter, Brillo was about the world's first robot police officer. His name's Brillo because Brillo pads are metal fuzz.
Oh. Like RoboCop?
That's pretty good. This is one of the earliest stories in fiction about a robot cop, a commonplace trope today, and soon in real life. It wasn't the first example. The most famous earlier one would be Isaac Asimov's Caves of Steel. Remember this, it will come up later. Ellison and Bova thought the idea had legs and decided to adapt it into a TV show. They pitched the idea to a few companies, including NBC, where an executive named Terry Keegan said
Should be an undead or a troll rogue.
No. They later showed Brillo to Paramount, where the head of development, Terry Keegan, he'd recently been hired there, said no. Okay. The same man passed on the same pitch twice at 2 companies. Clearly not a fan of the robot cop idea. 6 months later, Terry Keegan sold a show called Future Cop to ABC.
This video is about plagiarism. Is this the first time anyone ever plagiarized anything? Because that'd be interesting.
Show about a robot cop.
He's an android, a robot. The perfect.
Well, actually, an android and what is an android? There's a difference.
Our boys realize they've been ripped off.
When I saw it, I wanted to file immediately. My attorney said, "Forget it, man." He said, 90% of all plagiarism suits, the plaintiff loses.
Robots are machines that work for humans. Okay, androids are not. I don't know what the fuck that
Besides,
means.
these guys will kill you. You'll never work in this town again.
They spend years finding a lawyer willing to sue a giant television conglomerate, despite the cost and the possibility of being blacklisted from working in television. In his deposition, Keegan claims he never read Brillo, an obvious lie. It was later discovered the memos proving he deliberately ripped them off had been burned. The jury found in favor of Ellison and Bova and awarded them $337,000
Bova these nuts?
in damages, about $1.2 million today. Ellison used some of the money to put up a billboard across the street from the studio reading, "Writers, don't let them steal from you. Keep their hands out of your pockets." Or at least he said he was going to in interviews at the time, and later journalism claims it happened, but I can't find any pictures, which is a shame. Either way, they still made off with all that delicious money. Yum yum.
I've been waiting 4 years for this moment. 4 years to tell other writers they can fight them and beat them.
Yep, beat them off. That's what I like.
So,
yeah.
What's all that about? Okay, you know that trick video essayists use where they open on a semi-related example that sets the stage for the wider topic?
I guess
it's a
that's what you're
classic,
doing,
I do
right?
it all the time.
Yeah.
I wanted to open on a recent example of a writer winning a plagiarism lawsuit and getting their day in court.
All right, cool.
But there isn't one. This
Oh, well, that's
ancient
not good.
case, which took place over a decade before I, and statistically you, were even born, is still the best, most recent, and almost only example. Ellison and Bova are among the few writers to ever see financial compensation for their work being stolen.
Well, I guess all those plagiarism guys, I guess they all learned not to do it. Or to do it better. You know what I mean? Maybe they just did it better.
Oh, this always happens.
Where's my guild line?
Testing, 1, 2, 3. For the foreseeable future, if someone else on here steals your work for money, there's not much you can do except talk about it. A few years ago, I made a video with some examples of plagiarism and even covered a time I felt it happened to me. The guy in question, Lukey Poo, briefly posted a 10-minute response accusing me of overreacting before appearing to think better of the whole thing and deleting this.
What exactly did he do that made this whole thing happen? Did he, like, react to it? Because, I mean, I swear to God, he showed up in Hassan's chat and was like, hey, I like you. And that's cool, like Hassan. I mean, that's weird, but you do you. But I feel like you can't, that can't be like that then.
This, along with the video copying me.
I watched your video, went through it piece by piece, and copied it because you're such an incredible YouTuber.
Thanks, Luke.
What did he do? Make made a YouTube reaction video or something? Oh no, excuse me. I'm sorry. I'm an idiot. It sounds like he made basically the same video just with him instead. Isn't that like normal? Don't a lot of people? I mean, you got like the rise and falls, right? Isn't that kind of normal though? But okay.
Apology
Whatever, I don't know.
accepted. He has since rebranded his channel, recognizing the irony in presenting himself as a literal piece of shit, but his videos are still awash with plagiarism accusations, ripping off other YouTubers for hours at a time now, the only new sections being stuff about how homophobes, ripping off other YouTube literal piece of shit.
Luke Stevens. Let's take a look at that guy. I mean, I seems to have given him a little bump. See what this bumpy boy's doing.
This video is the culmination of several years.
Oh, he's just doing some stuff.
So somehow, because again, only
Oh, what is he doing that's so bad? I don't care.
But his videos are still awash with plagiarism accusations, ripping off other YouTubers for hours at a time now, the only new sections being stuff about how homophobia's fine. Maybe the rebrand was a little too soon. But no authority took Luke's video down. He could have left it up, and people often do. You can spend ages on a unique video with an original idea, and a way more popular guy can rip it off, along with its thumbnail, get a bajillion views, and rake in the cash. On
that,
YouTube,
baby.
if you have an original...
Super chatted $2. First time in the stream, Papa Gut. Fortnite balls.
Thank you. It's fucking me, man. You guys are killing me. God damn it. Thank you for the Fortnite balls, man. I fucking appreciate the hell out of that, brother. Yeah. Listen, I'm going to be real with you. Originality is dead. I learned this in my game and web design class. Originality is kind of dead. There's really nothing original anymore. We kind of live in a time where everything's been done for the most part, and now we're just kind of doing our thing. You know, it's all a beautiful thing.
Idea. If it's good, it won't be yours for long. The fact I'm making this video during one of the biggest creative strikes in history isn't lost on me. Other people's hands have never before been this deep in the pockets of creators. We need Harlan Ellison's billboard now more than ever. But I don't know how to rent a billboard and it sounds expensive. So instead, we're going to talk about plagiarism on YouTube, what exactly it is, why it's wrong, and the many unintended side effects. Only then can we begin to talk about what to do about it, or at least what I'm going to do to try to put...
All these people are fucking bots. Holy shit.
Some of it right. I'm going to use a few relatively well-known examples you might have heard of already, and some new ones I found just for this video. I could even ruin some of your favourite YouTubers for you. Apologies in advance. So, let's start some fights.
All right. I think we can boost this up to 125.
Part I. Filip.
What's going on, everyone?
Oh,
Thanks
like
for clicking
Flip.
on the video.
Filip Miucin was a YouTuber who reviewed Nintendo Switch games and accessories and talked about Nintendo-related news. His
fancy.
videos were surprisingly well edited, and by that I mean they used way too many fancy transitions. I mean, they're not even hard to do. You just drag and drop them on your timeline and what?
Hey, Respect the grind, dude.
But when he applied for a job at IGN, his obvious mastery of a plugin everyone else also has, and existing channel with a decent size led to him getting picked as their new Nintendo editor. On August 6th, 2018, his review of Dead Cells went up onto the official IGN YouTube.
Oh, I played that game. It was pretty fun. I personally loved Hades, though. That's my favorite roguelike, like, ever. It's an incredible game, frankly.
Channel. But then on August 7th, YouTuber Boomstick Gaming posted a video titled, IGN copied my Dead Cells review. What do I do? He had noticed some similarities between Filip's reviews and his own, published in late July.
Dead Cells takes a progression of a Metroidvania and integrates it into this procedurally generated action roguelite.
It takes the progression system of a Metroidvania and transforms it into a procedurally...
That's a little rough, dude. That's like fucking direct. That damn.
...generated action roguelite.
This combat system is fast, fluid, responsive, and one of the most rewarding representations of 2D combat of the entire genre.
Fights are fast, fluid, responsive, and hands down one of the most gratifying representations of video game combat I've ever experienced.
Oh, that one's a little... I feel like that one's good enough. You know, if I was a teacher, I would let that one go. I'd say, that's fine. That one's decent. You know, it's different enough.
Dead Cells figures out an intriguing way to have your roguelite and Metroidvania experience all in one by focusing on your failures and urging you to try something new the next time.
Okay. Dead Cells strikes a perfect and engaging balance between the Metroidvania and roguelite experiences by focusing on your failures and urging you to experiment each time you do fail.
Yeah, that one I think is a little too close.
Cells only falters slightly with some repetition setting in, especially on the early areas and during longer play sessions.
Dead Cells does falter slightly with some repetition, but it's only felt in its earlier areas and during the extended play sessions.
Speaking of repetition, oh my god. The review was taken down while IGN investigated the issue further, and then later that day confirmed he had been let go from the company.
Oh, well, at least they did something about it. They took it down. Good for them. Good for them for not putting up with that.
But was this the first time Filip had done this? Catching someone doing plagiarism is difficult. Someone has to notice the theft, which means having also seen the copied work. And if it's anything obscure, that's quite unlikely. If you catch someone plagiarizing once, chances are they rolled those dice a few times before and hadn't been unlucky yet.
Or you just get really unlucky and you get caught in your first time. Imagine how fucking embarrassing that would be. You get caught at number 1.
People started looking through his other reviews in case there was more. Over at Kotaku, Jason Schreier's article on the firing was updated to mention an anonymous tip, pointing out similarities between Filip's review of FIFA 18 on the Switch and the one on Nintendo Life by Chris Scullion. Filip's review was made for his personal channel before he was even hired at IGN, meaning he'd been doing this for a while. Scullion himself would later post a video comparing his review with Filip's, showing off the many similarities, and I'll link that in the description. But I want to zoom in on my favorite example. Filip tries to hide what he's doing by changing words around, and he does it really badly.
That's the way that you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to steal, but make it look like you didn't.
Article Chris says, compared to the non-Switch versions, the graphics are a good deal less detailed. Here's Filip's version.
However, when you get up close and get a good look at some of the character models, it's pretty clear that they do have a good amount of less detail than the Xbox One. And
damn, that just doesn't sound right when it's on paper or in, like, saying it out loud. You can't copy the worst line of the fucking thing. It just those words don't sound right together, you know?
PS4 versions of the game do.
It's pretty clear that they do have a good amount of less detail. No one would ever write that sentence on purpose.
Yeah,
you
right.
You only create that by trying to change something you stole. There's a great example here of the deeper problems that plagiarism can cause. Filip's review contains false information. For example, here when he talked about the game's women's...
Yeah, if you're going to plagiarize, you got to at least plagiarize when somebody knows what the fuck they're talking about. It's like cheating on a math test on the person with the worst score.
League feature.
FIFA 18 comes with the standard tournament and kickoff modes, as well as the Women's League, which was officially introduced in FIFA 16.
There are no women's leagues in FIFA 18. There's
good
women's football, but leagues are specific real-life organizations that do not exist in the game. Filip's plagiarism avoidance techniques caused him to reword a sentence so badly that he invented a feature that doesn't exist. While these discoveries were being made, Filip made the decision to record and post an infamous, quickly deleted video onto his channel entitled My Response. Not an apology, a response.
I feel like for something like this, you just don't respond. You just kind of take a break and move on. And you come back. If you ever do come back, you just come back a little better, you know?
Filip denied everything, took no responsibility, and told numerous lies in this video. At the time, this was criticized heavily by everyone for obvious reasons. But looking back on it while trying to understand this kind of behavior, it's actually really useful. This is worth looking at in a discussion of plagiarism because...
How come this guy looks like a guy who's been bombed? With an H. Oh, that's why he looks like that. That's why he's all tattered.
By being so poorly thought out, it's actually a valuable insight into how people react when they're caught and the different ways they try to cover their ass. Yeah. When someone more competent than Filip uses these techniques in a subtler way, we can recognize them for what they are. Thanks, Filip.
Yeah, like one of the tactics I like to use is when people say, hey, well, how come you got up and you left the video playing with your chair there? I say, my mom's made me chicken. I got to go eat, don't I? I got to pee, don't I? I got to entertain my chat. I took a 10-hour-a-day exclusivity deal with a platform that is linked to other platform, Amazon, that I criticize a lot. And even though I'm a millionaire already, I have to do this. I have to do it, dude. I gotta come.
There were a lot of circumstances surrounding it, but at the end of the day, I was the editor.
My mental health's doing well. It's all right, dude. Thanks. I guess I appreciate that, but my mental health's fine. I'm diamond.
Editorial lead on it, so if anything, that makes it my responsibility.
Yeah.
He claims there was a complicated process to making the review with lots of circumstances. The point is to make you wonder what really happened, so you forget what happened. Another way of doing this is to be passive about the events, so it's almost like they happened to him instead of being something he did.
Like I said, I take full responsibility for what happened with the Dead Cells review.
Filip doesn't say, I take responsibility for what I did with my review. He passively takes responsibility for what happened with the review. When someone tries to use language to imply what they did happen.
I feel you. Yeah, he doesn't actually apologize for it. It's almost like I'm sorry, you're upset when you upset somebody, and then you say I'm sorry, you're upset. I get it. I feel you.
And by magic, they make it pretty clear they're trying to deceive you.
I try to look at all resources that I have.
Super chatted $4.
What's up, brother?
99 cents. Papa, you look really frisky, and maybe you should rub one out before continuing the live.
Yeah, I appreciate that, brother. I appreciate the kind words. I truly do.
Available to me before I start formulating my own critical opinions so that I can offer the most cohesive possible review. The bottom line is that what happened with the Dead Cells review was not at all intentional.
Even if whatever happened, it was an honest mistake of some kind. But the problem is honest mistakes are easy to explain. Dishonest mistakes leave proof behind. Filip didn't unintentionally write a very similar review because he watched another one. He copied their words exactly. And
yeah, that's like a Dane Cook thing. I remember people gave him a lot of criticism for copying a Louis video or Louis jokes, and then Louis, he had him on a show, and he's like, you don't. I think you're a good guy because you also, force women to watch you masturbate in front of it. Just kidding. But he had him on his show, and they talked about, I forget the name of the concept, but like the concept where you watch somebody else, and then you over time goes like you hear a joke, and then as time goes on, you think you made the joke because you'll like re-remember it. So I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Changed some of them to try to hide it. Hearing Filip try to pretend this isn't what he did means we're not just dealing with a plagiarist, we're dealing with a liar who has more to hide. Filip's next lie was he had nothing more to hide.
I was lucky enough to get noticed on IGN through my YouTube channel, which, if in case you're wondering, is in fact all of my own original work.
A truly amazing defense there.
Incredible stuff.
Even if it did happen, which it didn't, it only didn't happen once. But the goal is to preserve what's left of your reputation by getting people to stop looking for more. This behavior goes hand in hand.
That's what I would say. I say, listen, guys, I fucked up. This is what I would say. I'd be so good at it. I'd say, listen, guys, I fucked up. All right. I don't want to be too direct because I don't want to face any legal ramifications. But there were pressures that I had to undergo when I took this job, and I let them get to me, and I did the wrong thing. Boom. Done. Easy. Not bad. That's pretty good. Pretty good bullshit excuse.
In hand with a special anger directed at the people who are looking.
So you can keep looking, Kotaku, and please let me know if you find anything. Which, by the way, their news editor, Jason Schreier, tried to imply that my FIFA 18 review was also inauthentic by claiming that I copied it from Nintendo Life, and that's just so not the case. I mean, maybe he was implying that if you have similarly opinionated reviews, then you're just plagiarizing, or maybe he's just trying to get as many clicks off of my name right now as possible.
Shit.
Or maybe
I wouldn't throw shade at other people right now. I feel like you're dipping your dingle in a few too many spots. Take one fight at a time.
He just likes kicking people when they're down. I don't know. I mean, check it out for yourselves and you be the judge.
He's referring to how Jason updated his article to include that anonymous tip. Filip accuses him of deliberately attacking him for attention by reporting what he has done. The section about how absurd it is to suggest he copied Scullion's FIFA review is probably why Scullion made his video in the first place. It begins by showing this clip. Bit of an own goal there. By the way, Filip, that's a football pun. Filip is using the reporting on him as a bid to gain sympathy. Yeah.
Which type of football are we talking about? Soccer or the real football? The American football? The best football? Just curious.
I did something bad, but really, the bad guys are the people trying to see what else I did. Not me, the guy who did all of it. This tactic takes a more direct form.
But one thing that I do know is that it's not very fun being the target of a gigantic lynch mob who wants nothing more than to feed into your destruction. The amount of hate and threats that I've been receiving on social media have been pretty staggering. And I get it. I mean, people are mad, and rightfully so. But it's one thing to go and harass me, berate me with hateful words and threats. And it's a whole other thing to look up my family members and spread hateful comments on their social...
Yeah. No, shut up. I mean, maybe that's happening. Maybe just shut up. They're probably just like, come on. I don't know. Is that really happening?
Social media accounts. That's just it's just not okay. I mean, not on any level.
Obviously, no one deserves to have their family members threatened over their plagiarism, and there is a valid conversation to be had here about how we treat people who we believe to have done something wrong. And it's really unpleasant seeing someone try to weaponize that and use it as a shield against criticism. He just got done shit-talking a journalist and trying to make him the bad guy, and lying about the FIFA review. Scullion has spoken about receiving a lot of abuse from Filip's fans during this period as a direct result of Filip lying like this, another potential reason he had to make that video. If you talk about harassment without being cognizant of the harm you are causing to others right now, you clearly don't give a shit about the problem you just brought up.
I don't.
Filip really didn't help his case by making a Columbo villain bet you can't prove it speech. You can keep looking Kotaku was an especially silly thing to say, since obviously people did keep looking. Many more examples came.
Yeah, that's my thing. I wouldn't encourage it. Like if I know he's bluffing, but if I fucked up, I would not encourage you to go look it up. I would say, you know what I mean? I would do as much as I could to not do that without Streisanding myself. Because I wouldn't be like, guys, don't bother looking. There's nothing there. Because then people are going to look. But I also wouldn't goad you into looking. Okay?
Came to light. His Fire Emblem Warriors video was mostly reworded from one on Nintendo Wire.
Decimating mobs upon mobs of enemies with the simplest of combos, and tearing through forts and mini-bosses with some of the most flashy...
If you played Hyrule Warriors a couple years back, or indeed any other of the long-running franchise, then you'll immediately grasp the basics of Fire Emblem Warriors. Devastate mobs upon mobs of enemies with the simplest combos. Tear through forts and mini-forts. This is what I'd say. I'd say this game was fucking cool. And you could just fuck everything up. You could just kill like 40 guys at once with combos. It's insane. Bro, I just plagiarized. There's also some miniature bosses in it. And they look pretty cool. They got pretty cool abilities. Right? That's enough change. I did a good job. I could be a video game writer. Somebody write a script for me. I'll do it.
And stylistic special attacks.
Yeah, this is the Hbomberguy.
His Samus Returns review was stolen from Engadget, and his Bayonetta 2 review from Polygon.
What the hell?
And stylistic special attacks.
Most flashiest? His Samus Returns review was stolen from Engadget, and his Bayonetta 2 review from Polygon. And Jason Schreier seemed weirdly invested in reporting on all of it. In several videos, Filip just copied text directly from Wikipedia or other related wikis.
Super Mario Odyssey's theme is highly focused on surprises and travel, and developers incorporated many of their travel experiences around the world. For instance, elements of Sand Kingdom were derived from Kenta Matsukuro's experience during a trip to Mexico, and the Legend Kingdom's food aesthetics were inspired by Italy and other European countries. The developers recognized that when traveling to foreign countries, something that really has an impact is the different...
You could totally reword that so much better. Fun fact. You know what I mean? Fun fact about this game. Blah, 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 blah.
currencies.
All of my own original work.
On October 10th,
is parallel thinking what that's called?
Along with 901,000 views worth of other videos from Filip's channel. For a small YouTuber, this means a lot of videos getting privated or deleted all at once.
I wonder if part of this happened a while ago, right? I wonder if part of this was because it was the internet and it was new and people felt like they could get away with shit. There's a kind of a level of truth to that. It's a very new medium and there's a lot of unexplored aspects of it. Parallel thinking is a term coined by some guy. Parallel thinking is Edward de Bono. Jeez, Edward Boner. Parallel thinking is described as a constructive alternative to adverse thinking. Okay, I don't care. There's too many fucking words. Aristotle. When did you bring Aristotle up in a conversation? I'm done. You know what I mean?
This is actually another important tactic that plagiarists use to try and hide as much of the evidence as possible. Filip has successfully hidden the extent of what he actually stole in his YouTube videos. Many of Filip's videos are now considered lost media, referenced in articles about the plagiarism or in videos showcasing it, but not as actual copies that you can watch. This is obviously no big loss, but it sucks for me that there's not many archived copies of some of these videos because, like, now I have nothing to cut to as reference footage. It's just now I just have to stand on my set and talk to you. His article about Octopath Traveler is a fucking doozy. It steals a bunch of shit directly from Jeremy Parish's review at Polygon. And let me just say, buddy, if you can barely string a sentence together, people are gonna know something's up when you're suddenly using words like extrudes. When this was discovered, Parish tweeted, "Dang, I got extruded right into the middle of a scandal," which is probably the funniest thing to come out of this. But that's not the only thing he stole for this one article. It also plagiarized one of his co-workers at IGN. Words from Seth Macy's video review of the game made it in too. Here's some clips from Macy's video.
Both its battle system and aesthetics pay loving tribute to the Super NES era. While this isn't merely a modern retread of past classics, but a phenomenal homage with genuinely fresh ideas in a fantastically charming wrapper of old school.
You can't be using Dexter words, man. Omelette du fromage.
Beats new.
Seth was especially shocked by this, it seems like, and it's not hard to imagine why. To take game criticism and writing original material seriously, only to have someone a cubicle over take a hatchet to your stuff and collect a paycheck for it is so deeply insulting. Things were bad enough that IGN pulled the plug on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how this stuff works, but why? I guess he was the writer, but if he had such a big name, why didn't he just try to get people research for him and do stuff for him? No. I guess he was hired at IGN specifically, so it doesn't necessarily work like that. But I'm just saying, it's something to think about. What the fuck? What's happening here?
Almost everything Filip ever made for the site just to be safe, something I've never seen an organization have to do before. He even, and this is insane, did a video explaining the Nintendo Switch's HD Rumble feature, and his explanation is just stolen from a fucking NeoGAF post.
A normal rumble is just a motor which spins, creating a vibration, right?
Yeah.
Well, HD Rumble
I don't know.
uses linear actuators, similar to Apple's Taptic Engine, which is what they use for the new Force Touch stuff in the new iPhones and Apple Watches. See, I believe that these are different in that they are more likely weighted electromagnets.
You believe that? Holy shit. He copied some—
Why, for this one specifically, why didn't he just reference this post? I found this interesting post that says this. Why didn't we just do that? He easily could have done that.
Text from a forum directly into a script and just read it out. Why would you even do that? No, seriously, that's the question.
Did he what?
Text from a...
That these are different in that they are more likely weighted electromagnets.
Oh, did he put that in his
You
thing?
believe that? Holy shit. He copied some text from a forum directly into a script and just read it out. Why would you even do that? No,
just reference this forum script.
Seriously, that's the question we're trying to explore here. Why do people plagiarize? Filip is a great help in finding answers to these questions, because 8 months after all of this died down, he released a second apology. Well, arguably his first, since he didn't really apologize in the first one, but still.
Hey everyone, I'm not here to make any excuses or to try and justify my actions. I'm only here to apologize to the people that I've wronged.
He says sorry directly to several of the people he copied from, but to avoid making himself look too bad, he doesn't mention the forum post, or the time he stole from someone else at IGN, or a bunch of the other places. He also doesn't apologize for denying everything, pretending it was an accident, or accusing specific journalists of being out to get him by reporting on it. I think this points to what this apology is actually about, which is appearing more humble and honest to try and repair his reputation. Admitting to the truly embarrassing stuff, or the dishonest shit he said when he was caught, would just make him seem disingenuous. It's hard to come off as honest if the apology includes lying to your face in the past. He wasn't done making excuses either. 2 days later, he uploaded a third apology.
Hey everyone.
I'm getting deja vu from these videos.
How many times are you going to make an apology? Just make one. Even if it sucks, just leave it at that. You're really not... this guy fucked up.
Now. In this video, he tried to explain why he did all this. He had insecurities about the quality of his writing and his fear of disappointing people.
I felt pretty confident with my video editing skills and my abilities.
See, this is bad too, because I said something along the lines of like, blame it on the pressure, whether it's true or not. You know? And it might be true, but you can't explicitly admit that you plagiarized. That's what I'm saying. I would have been short and sweet. I would have said, listen, I got hired at a new job at a big video game company, and something I never expected to happen. And I felt some pressures, and those pressures may have made me do things that very regrettable to me. You know, boom, done, done. Sorry, guys, I'm making an OnlyFans. That's how I would do it. I wouldn't do 2 apologies to make a third one. At this point, nobody cares. Nobody's gonna give a shit.
I used to create visually appealing content, but I wasn't always confident with my abilities as a writer. And when I got that big break with this awesome gaming company, my insecurity...
Did he edit that transition in sigh? Why would you leave that sigh in? Like, that's such a performative sigh, it felt like. That's crazy.
These were amplified by like 10 million because the audience was bigger and the expectations were higher. I really wanted to do well, but I was also really scared of saying
this guy used to do theater. I could tell.
Wrong thing or putting out a bad review.
Now, maybe
this is the problem with theater students. You know, there's some, I forget what it's called, but there's this thing where like if you're a dumb person and you think you just left, you fucking bitch. Anyway, if you're a dumb person and you think you're smart, there's like something very wrong with that. If you think you're a smart person, you know, that's what a theater person is. They think that they can act, but they're fucking terrible at it. And so they like go, and then they kind of move forward and do some like ridiculous shit that's very transparent.
Because he's lied before and still wasn't owning up to the extent of what he did. But I simply do not accept this as the reason. Lots of people have anxiety about their writing. In fact, I'd say most writers do. Not many of them handle it by stealing. So anxiety and pressure feel like an easy excuse. From seeing almost all of Filip's videos, I feel comfortable in calling myself a Filip scholar at this point, I can tell you for a fact that he is bad at making videos. He thinks cinematic transition packs equal good editing, which is the reddest possible flag, but even in terms of basic content, the videos are just bad. His earliest videos are just news about the then upcoming Nintendo Switch. Or stuff like the top 5 ways to play the Switch, a console that no one can play.
The single Joy-Con method, and it's probably going to be the least preferred.
Hey, fuck it, why not?
Way to play the Nintendo Switch.
When the Switch was out, he branched out into reviewing accessories like carrying cases and stuff, and doing unboxing videos. Some videos are just summarizing Nintendo press releases. This is the literal definition of content. It's like it got squeezed out of a Nintendo branded tube somewhere.
Yeah, who cares? That sounds fine to me. Like whatever, who gives a shit?
The most how do you do fellow kids energy I've ever seen coming out of a 28-year-old man. So he started doing the most egregious audience growth tricks for dummies you can imagine, like constantly having giveaways for subscribers.
So what? I feel like, listen, this guy seems like a plagiarizing asshole, but like this, what's the criticism here? That he makes like brain dead content for people that want to know about this Switch? Like, yeah, listen, sometimes people just Google shit. They're just like, you know what? How do you? Oh, I saw this video. I was about how can I play with my Switch? For me, that's very informative because I'm dumb as shit. So you know what I mean? You don't have to hate on all of it.
Filip's following didn't grow organically from people liking him or his work. Those people don't exist. It grew from offering free shit if you subscribe. But
who cares? Like, well, that's a tactic. Why not? You say, oh, you can't give it. I don't understand the criticism of that.
I'm going to give Filip some credit here and say at some point he recognized.
Like, that's some weird purist shit. Like, all the plagiarism shit's wrong. But if you're like, hey, guys, I make this content. His content, like you said, it's not exactly like that content is just like, hey, guys, this is like Watch Mojo level of fucking Watch Mojo but for the Switch. Like, okay, that's totally fine. And he's like, yeah, I'll give you some stuff if you follow. Okay, cool. Whatever. I feel like that's fine. Who gives a shit?
Correctly that he didn't know what he was doing. I mean, if it's obvious to me watching them, it must have been obvious to him making them, right? So, what do you do if you know you won't get ahead without copying someone better? you copy someone better. And I'm not even talking about plagiarism here. Even the stuff that isn't stolen is derivative. There's this one guy called Nihongo Gamer who's done some pretty useful tech reviews, and one of them was of an arcade fighting stick for the Switch. It did surprisingly well, and he gives it a proper workout as someone who clearly knows their stuff with fighting games. A few weeks later, Filip coincidentally decided to review the same thing. But Filip isn't a fighting game aficionado.
That right off the bat is fine. It's fine to do that. It's fine to find other ideas from people.
So his live gameplay footage is him playing Sonic and Mario Kart, making this review functionally useless as a review of a controller made for fighting games. But Nihongo
That's true.
Gamer also in the same video reviewed this Switch holder that looks like a little arcade machine. Filip coincidentally is also reviewing one of these in his video.
Why? If he's not... I mean, that's fine. It's weird, though, because you're not playing... But okay.
This game is so much better now. This makes this game so much better.
This isn't even...
I feel like that one's not that bad. It's really stupid and weird. But you know what? To me, it's a little bizarre you'd put him in the same video. Obviously, first of all, I think he could start that off by saying, I saw this review from this person, and it inspired me to try this out for myself. But as somebody who doesn't play fighting games, I'm going to play with Sonic. If that's how... I don't know if that's how it started. If it did start like that, that's great. But if it didn't, it's like, that's how it should have started. That would have been all good. That would have been all good. That would have been perfect. So
plagiarism. It's just strange. Filip didn't know how to build an identity of his own, so he just borrowed the style and content of successful videos in an extremely cynical way. He didn't make these videos for the fun of it or because he cared about making them. It was always just about chasing success by any means necessary.
I mean, that's a real man. Sometimes you just gotta chase that. Sometimes you gotta chase a bag, baby. Sometimes you gotta do things you don't want to do for success. I feel like the bigger criticism was the actual plagiarism, and then also not credit it. Like if that one's blatantly you took that idea from that guy, which I think it's fine to like for people to take ideas from each other. That's a fun thing about exchanging information. But he should have just said, I watched this guy do this. He's a really experienced fighting game guy, but I wanted to try the controller for myself, but on other games, because that's still unique. Because that guy's using a fucking whatever, an arcade stick on games that would need it, fighting games. And you're like, you know what? I'm going to see if there's a market to use it without that. That's fine. I think that's fine. But I would just credit the guy. You know? I'll report this guy for botting.
He just borrowed even more directly and got into this mess. In a fairly recent interview, he's described himself during this period as having imposter syndrome. But that's wishful thinking, isn't it? There's a difference between having imposter syndrome and being an imposter. Objectively speaking, Filip pretended to be a reviewer and critic while actually just being a thief and a liar. But I think it's possible to reverse engineer this falsehood and arrive at its core truth. The explanation lies in a little thing he said in apology number 3. I consider it the most meaningful thing Filip has ever said. It's not true, but it's meaningful.
Okay, what's it mean?
So I took from sources who I trusted and respected and I agreed with, and I tried to change them in a way that I would say it.
Filip claims he sought out reviews from other people he respected.
The first half, I believe.
To steal and learn from. But, to be blunt, who the fuck is Boomstick Gaming? When this happened, Boomstick's channel had just over 10,000 subscribers. Barely anyone had any idea he existed. And look at the other places he copied from. Mostly random websites, niche gaming outlets, fucking forum posts.
Well, that makes sense. Like, those would be considered respected. They're popular platforms, but the other one makes sense. Like, maybe, but I mean, whatever.
If you consider something so obscure you can get away with stealing it, you do not respect it. Filip copied these people because he thought what they were doing was beneath respect. Remember Caves of Steel? I told you it'd come up again, you little bastard. You better not have forgotten. In the lawsuit between Ellison-Bova and the studio.
I'm dying right now. There's a bot problem on this game right now in the classic WoW SOD servers and stuff. This is on all servers, really. So there's this guy with an Asian named Pet. Like, it has like Asian characters. I don't know what, like Chinese, I'm assuming. So everybody's like, report this guy. He's a bot. And this guy's like, that's racist. What? There are a lot of Chinese gold farmers. They got to catch their bag too. Let me buy the money. I'm a grown man. I don't feel like farming it myself. So I kind of like the Chinese bot farmers. I might try to buy some stuff. We'll see if I can make it happen, but I don't want to get banned.
One tactic the studios used was to accuse them of being the real plagiarists, of ripping off Caves of Steel when they were writing Brillo. The problem is these writers were all friends who knew and respected each other, so they could ask Isaac Asimov what he thought of that.
So we went to New York. I've known Isaac for 25 years, and Isaac, in his deposition, said, I've known Harlan for 25 years. He said, you don't steal from your friends.
It all sounds so simple when Isaac Asimov says it. At the start, I briefly mentioned one of the many times someone's entire idea and thumbnail has been
Brent Rivera
copied. The thief later flipped the thumbnail and changed the color of his shirt.
Smart.
Amazing. This guy's been notorious for stealing from people.
Smart.
There was a really notable encounter where he made fun of a guy by joking about how many subscribers he had. This comes off as generic former Vine star narcissism, but it's difficult to ignore that he specifically steals from people he considers beneath him, having a lower number. If you're not as important,
I feel like you're putting a little bit of intentionality into this. Like, I mean, I don't know Brent Rivera. Maybe he does steal content. That might be true. Whatever. I don't care about that. But like to say like he thinks they're beneath him. I think it's more that he's just chasing a bag. I don't think everything has to be that intentioned. But okay.
Your ideas are up for grabs. In 2016, Melania Trump's speech at the Republican National Convention was found to have plagiarized one of Michelle Obama's speeches at the Democratic National Convention. The audience hadn't seen a speech given at the other convention, so none of them noticed, but the media did later. The question going unasked at the time, at least for me, was why Michelle Obama? Her speech about hope and...
Because she's a fucking badass. I love Michelle Obama. She's kind of hot. And she's smart, dude. I like what she did with school lunches for kids. She made them healthy. That's it.
And respect
Cool.
and dreams had nothing to do with being a Republican. They hate that shit. Why didn't the writer rip off a Nancy Reagan speech about killing the poor or locking up black people for using the drugs her husband gave them? Well, plagiarizing another Republican would annoy Republicans, whose opinion the writer actually cares about. If you respect someone, or...
Well, no, I just thought that she wouldn't get caught. I think that like Michelle Obama is a very powerful, like she has very powerful speeches. I think that it was really she has powerful speeches. It was a good speech. The words probably did resonate with people. So she decided to steal it. I don't think it was like, oh, she doesn't want to. I mean, maybe she thought that it would be less noticeable because it was from a Democrat. That might be it. But I don't think that it had to do with like, they think worse of you. If anything, it's kind of ironic. But okay.
Or want their respect, you generally don't risk a fight with them by jacking their shit.
Jacking
but if you
them
don't
off.
like someone, stealing is almost like getting one over on them, isn't it? No one was ever fired or seemingly punished in any way for stealing a speech and pretending they wrote it. And that's because none of these people give a shit about Michelle Obama. They're probably glad it happened. If you broke into Obama's house and stole some of his silverware, most speakers at this convention would pay you a cash prize. Plagiarism is an insult.
I guess,
and
maybe.
Don't people love to insult their enemies? Here's something petty.
I just feel like it's weird. The intentionality in some of this stuff is just bizarre to me.
Forgotten about, but
okay.
When Lukey Poo made his short-lived video response, while defending himself on the grounds he actually got the idea from someone on Twitch who saw my video, and they're definitely real, he still took the time to explain that he also didn't like I criticized right-wing YouTubers he was a fan of.
I thought Hbomber was a relatively decent video creator. I disagreed and didn't like some of the stuff he did, like when he went after Sargon of Akkad and some other YouTubers.
This sat with me. Why was it so important for him to signal his allegiances like this? I think the point was to make his theft an act in a larger culture war. Even if he did rip me off, I'm the bad guy. I don't deserve to be treated properly, so if anything, it's good if he did. You don't steal from your friends, you steal from the guy who made fun of Daddy.
At this point, I'm convinced the only thing Hbomberguy needs more than a testosterone shot and some estrogen blockers is
Oh, dude, he's getting him!
And humility.
He's calling him a soy boy!
Okay, where does, and I mean this as a compliment,
He got him,
the most
dude.
fuckable twink I've ever seen in my life get off telling me how to manage my T levels.
Let me tell you something. This is not the most fuckable twink. Because if it was, I would fuck him. But he's not, okay? I like the cat from one of those animes, X-Re, I think. Unless that's hopefully they're okay. I think they're, I don't know. You know what I'm saying. Astolfo? Is that a real person? Are they 18? Let's hope.
Is he speaking from experience? The way Filip pivoted when caught to attacking his accusers feels all too familiar to me as someone who has received the same treatment from someone like him. There's this indignation to it. I'm better than you. How dare you tell me not to steal? What's emerging here is a social element to theft. Plagiarists seem to have this belief they are better than their targets, more important, more deserving of credit, better politics, a better class of person. Your ideas are wasted on you. They'd be much better served in my videos. Other games people.
Myron's hair went from balding to budding.
Okay.
He's the new Benjamin Button.
Incredible.
Looked down on what Filip did with so much anger, and people from IGN continue to be aggressive at.
No, she's not a furry. Well, furries are the whole suit. I don't think that's a furry. That's cat girls are not furries. Let's classify that as two different things. Let's not slander cat girls. I still like cat girls. I don't like furries, but I like cat girls.
Him for years afterwards, because they understand this instinctively. His actions essentially said out loud, he thinks games writing is so worthless, it's okay for him to steal it. The IGN crew are especially entitled to be angry about Filip, though, because he did really damage their credibility. When your company produces plagiarized stuff, it damages people's faith in your institution,
and he kind of hurt. He probably put some progress back on people who got famous on the internet being hired at stuff, because he's might have been one of the first. I don't really know if that's true, but I feel like the internet. If somebody gets famous on the internet, to use like, oh, that's just an internet guy. Who cares about them? So
its ability to not do that, and it's really hard to get that goodwill back. This leads us, as all things do, to the Angry Video Game Nerd part.
Is this guy actually a Hassan mod? And also, didn't the Angry Video Game Nerd instantly fire the guy that supposedly stole, and he apologized for it?
Cinemassacre. The Angry Video Game Nerd is a popular series in which I don't need to explain that AVGN made James Rolfe a household name the world.
Yeah, I love AVGN. He's a funny guy.
Built over in cool households under the umbrella of his mostly one-man.
It's annoying though because I did a video with my wife and he talked about. I forgot what the concept was, but it was one of our videos on the Rob and Dan channel. And go check it out. It's on my channel. My wife and I post cool stuff. Anyway, there was a concept at the end of one of his videos. I was just watching his video, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna react to it." It was a minute of his whole thing, and I let a little bit of it play, and then I talked about this whole thing. I think it was sport. I think it was a conversation around how sports and cosplayers are very similar. And then he DMCA'd. It was weird. It was automatically DMCA'd, and I was like, "Hey, we don't I usually do full reactions, and I think that's solidly transformative, but whatever." But at this point, I was like, "I only use a minute, less than a minute of your video, of a 10 to 15 minute video. It's just one of the comments, and it's weird. I don't know. I feel like that constitutes. I think should be appropriate, but it was fine. It didn't need it. I just thought it was interesting. Whatever." Maybe I'm a little sore about it.
Production company, Cinemassacre, James made other things too. One of these, and my favorite, was Monster Madness, where every October James would release a video every single day about an old horror or monster movie. I used to rewatch these whenever I was hungover in university. It always made me feel way better. There's an infectious positivity to hearing someone share something they genuinely enjoy. Good stuff. As the years went on and he got busy with other projects and having children, I mean, his wife had the children, you get it. Monster Madness took a back seat. Some years he only made a few new ones. The guy was busy, or maybe he'd lost interest in a project he'd done for over a decade at that point, and that's fair enough. But then Screenwave got involved. For people with better things to do, Screenwave Media is a YouTube network / influencer agency thing who work with various YouTubers, helping them produce content by
I'm assuming this was back when you kind of needed to do something like that to make money.
editing their videos for them, assisting with writing, and helping them find sponsors. They apparently work with a bunch of channels in various forms, but they work especially closely with Cinemassacre. The writing and editing of the AVGN videos became different and weird, like someone else was doing those parts. The channel started making new types of video, which were like James standing kind of awkwardly in the corner while Screenwave employees discussed a movie. There was a Cinemassacre podcast, and James often just wasn't in it. The guy whose channel it was became an optional side character. Oh, and
those weren't his friends? Yeah. I mean, it kind of makes sense when you get that big. It's almost like, I mean, it's like almost like you're testing with the concept of having somebody writing and editing for you, know?
Everything became packed with sponsorships.
If you don't know, Skillshare.
It got so bad, episode 200 of AVGN is split into 3 videos with separate sponsors, purely because they sold
is that why?
Too many brand deals.
Oh, we're going to have to make the episode 200 3 episodes because we sold too many brand deals and they didn't tell James.
Under Screenwave, Monster Madness became a different beast. They streamlined...
I didn't even know that. I think I've watched that somewhat recently, too. Just to go back and watch it again. That's fucked up.
And production by eliminating the writing. It became James and a rotation of Screenwave employees you don't know, and James didn't seem to know too well either, discussing the film and trying to come up with something interesting on the spot for 15 minutes. Some of these guys were basically ordered to be on the show by their bosses and seem uncomfortable being there, which makes these being shot on a dungeon set fitting. And you're constantly reminded why this was made at all.
Available now, US only. Release the Kraken!
The show certainly wasn't what anyone had been watching it for, and the creators appeared to notice, because in April 2021, it was announced...
I think that fundamentally, like, that's okay. It's okay. It's like it's trying something different. It's branching out a little bit, doing something a little different. It just doesn't work out, you know? But I get it. Sometimes you gotta experiment with these things. It just sucks because one of the things about YouTubers especially James, is that they like him as a person. So being a little bit little stiff, I'll say, being a little stiff by making a video like this probably doesn't come off too well. You know, because it doesn't feel as genuine.
Monster Madness was coming back, for real, with the old style of scripted videos featuring just James and his short and simple voiceover, like the old days.
I don't care about content creators. I don't care about their IP war. That's based. I can respect that as a viewer. You don't really give a shit. You're just looking for something that entertains you.
But, with Screenwave's help, so not really. Newt Wallen, a Screenwave employee, was enthusiastically tweeting about how he had written 20 of the 31 videos himself, with others writing the rest. The whole point was it was a guy passionately sharing his actual opinions, but that guy wasn't writing them. But some people were still excited. It was a pandemic year, we were all indoors, not much else was going on.
Be sure to check out Cinemassacre's Monster Madness around the world.
And I watch Monster Madness, and I don't even really engage with the monsters too much. All right, I left my ex for a reason. Okay.
31 days, 31 countries.
October rolled around, and so did the first new video for the film 28 days later. It was weird, like James was reading something written for him, which he was. But
I watched 28 days later, that was good. 28 weeks later was not good. Not as good, at least. That's what I remember, but it's been a long time.
What really stood out was what he was saying. A guy who famously avoids politics and serious real-world events in his videos suddenly started talking about how the film reminded him of the horror of 9/11.
And when seeing the film
what?
today and being put into that time period, you can't help but think of 9/11 and all those TV images of Ground Zero and Baghdad being devastated by war.
Interesting. That is a little off-putting. But maybe 9/11 just really sat with James for some reason. You know, maybe that's it.
It didn't take long for people to start Googling the words he was saying. A user named ZB123 posted a thread on Reddit showing a huge portion of the video script was taken directly from a review in Film Comment, a fairly well-known film criticism magazine, by Dr. Cecilia Syed, who is currently a senior film lecturer at the University of Kent. Let's compare and contrast, shall we?
Horror films are frequently interpreted as allegories of our realities.
Okay, that was quick.
Their fantastic or supernatural elements often spawn from symptoms of social and political tensions.
That sucks. But again, he wasn't the one writing it. So it's like, it sucks, it's bullshit, but it's the writer's fault for that one.
In a specific era, 28 Days Later is set in a post-apocalyptic Britain, which has been devastated by an epidemic that within seconds can transform its victims into crazed cannibal killers. Following a car accident, he wakes up from a 28-day coma. Finding a hospital abandoned, he walks out and wanders through the empty London streets. He finds that people have fled the country after the outbreak, but those who remain are either dead or become infected. Bruce sleeps in debris of desert buildings, eats canned food from abandoned supermarkets, and fights off the infected. 28 days later, finds himself with typical loss of individual body. It's 28 days later,
I'm assuming he just stealing everything.
He can't help but think of 9/11, all the TV images around Baghdad.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Order is born from chaos, and then chaos is born from order.
It was as if Professor Cyan's review had been killed and brought back from the dead in a new, tainted form. That's not how the zombies in 28 Days Later work. Okay, it was like her review was the patient zero of 28 Days Later reviews, and it infected the... This is pretty straightforwardly plagiarism. The angry video game nerd had just stolen a film professor's review of a movie. In true AVGN fashion, shit hit the fucking ceiling. What was going on? Initially, Justin Silverman, the lead Screenwave guy, claimed this was a result of a new person who was helping, accidentally mixing some notes into a script, and this would be fixed soon, and all the other episodes were fine. The new person thing isn't true. The guy who did it had worked with Justin for like a decade, but I can understand trying to protect someone's identity if you believe they had just made a small mistake. Justin updated the page the video was posted on to say it was being corrected to remove.
That makes sense. I appreciate that. That was a nice good faith comment that he made. That's fair.
Move some accidental plagiarism, whatever that means. So whoever did it, they successfully convinced Justin this was an accident. But it wasn't. There's the telltale...
I mean, if they've been working together for a long time and they're friends, of course he's going to be like good faith to that guy.
So. Red flag of the awful writing you get when someone who can't write tries to rewrite something they copied.
The movie starts with the usual tropes. Mankind's experiments go haywire, resulting in destructive results.
There's another way you can prove it wasn't accidental. You know, the other excuse we've heard before, how it just happened once and the rest of the videos were fine? They weren't fine. Reddit user Retired Fool went on the website the videos were being hosted on and found the second episode uploaded.
So is this the same guy that was like bragging about how he wrote like a lot of the episodes? Is part of that, is it almost fair to potentially, or speculate at least a little bit, or consider the possibility that he felt so pressured that he did it? It doesn't justify it. I'm just wondering if they put like a high... I wonder how high the workload is expected. I don't know how difficult it is to do video game reviews, but I feel like it's probably harder than people think. It's like where people want to be game testers, but like being a video game tester is not fun, my understanding. It's actually fucking like brain rot cancer. Because you have to sit there and like try to... What the fuck is this? Get out of here. This guy's a bot. But it's but you have to sorry. You have to like bug test. So you have to do some dumb shit constantly, like annoying ass shit to try to break the game to make it like play better. And I feel like my point is that maybe there's higher expectations put on by bosses who might be disconnected from like the actual workload involved. I don't really know. I don't.
Early. Most of it was from a review on ScreenAidWasteland.com.
The movie opens with a shadowy figure with multiple hand attachments
Maybe
who calls
he's
in
an
the boys, 4 men from a government agency trying to deal with an alien invasion in a small New Zealand town. Peter Jackson plays dual roles of Derek and Robert, who interact through the use of creative camera work and editing. So Jackson handled acting, writing, directing, cinematography, editing, and special effects for the film. Derek is perhaps the best character in the film. He's bloodthirsty, clumsy, funny, and a little too full of himself. He spends a good portion of the film on his own, but Jackson manages it. He's got a good sense of physical comedy that comes in handy when Derek is dealing with a flap of his own skull that keeps allowing pieces of his brain to fall out. Bad Taste is a glorious...
So we're halfway through, dude. We're not even a third.
Gory entry in the splat stick genre and a true cult classic. Watching it today, you can kind of see inklings of the kind of films Peter Jackson would prove capable of later on through the pacing, camera work, and sheer inventive energy.
So Day 2's video was also plagiarized. The Return of Monster Madness isn't going so well. We know James didn't write this, so who could it have been? Was it perhaps the man who was just...
That guy that looked like Newman. He did it.
Bragging about writing most of them himself? Yes, it was. The rest of the Screenwave guys looked at the scripts, and many more examples were discovered. Justin confirmed several more were plagiarized, and Kieran, a video editor who later quit, claimed in a live stream that all of them were.
We went through all the scripts, plagiarized them all. They had multiple, like every single thing was plagiarized. They fucking plagiarized every single thing.
This is a tremendous...
Damn! Why would he admit that? He's trying to distance himself from the other people? That's what it seems like. He's trying to be like, it wasn't me though. It wasn't my fault. That's fucked up. Damn.
This amount of blatant theft is true, but soon it became clear almost everything Newt did and said was copied. While I was looking for other stuff Newt made, I saw he was one of the speakers at the Roast of the Angry Video Game.
I mean, here's the thing. I think I would steal everybody else's stuff too. Listen, the guy's a thief. You look at that guy. Look at this guy.
Everything Newt did
and
said
I'll show you.
was
I'll show you
copied.
why I know he's
While
a
I was
thief.
looking for other stuff Newt made, I saw he was one of the speakers.
Look at those fucking sideburns. He obviously copied that style from somebody else because that does not work for him. You can't pull off sideburns like that, brother. It's just not happening. What are you doing? That's fucking preposterous.
Is at the Roast of the Angry Video Game
fucking
Nerd in 2014.
preposterous. Don't touch
He was
this.
proud enough
Don't
of this.
touch
He
this.
uploaded his bit separately to a channel he was involved with. And just watching it without doing any serious checking, several of the jokes from this jumped out at me immediately.
Justin, I heard Justin was nervous before the show. He couldn't figure out what he was going to wear, either honey glazed or pineapple slices.
This joke is taken from a Gilbert Gottfried roast.
She couldn't decide between the honey glaze or pineapple slices.
Damn. That's fucked up, dude. I was like, that was funny. And then it wasn't funny because he stole it.
Brent Vanderbrook is so deep in the closet, he's having adventures in Narnia.
This is a well-known joke from a 2007 Jimmy Carr stand-up special.
Come on, you're so far in the closet, you're having adventures in Narnia.
People have been ripping this off for years. Here it is posted in 2009 with many of the comments remarking that it's old and stolen even then, and this was almost half a decade before Newt stole it. Here's an
Well, I mean, maybe he figured more time would make people forget.
Character Tyrion Lannister.
Because who's Jimmy Carr? I mean, he's actually going to funny.
Twitter account reusing it a few months before the roast in 2013. I haven't seen the show or read the books, so I'm just going to assume they read Narnia there too. Don't correct me. While I was researching this topic, I found a Reddit post collecting all the places he stole from for this roast. Obviously, there were a bunch. When I found this, I was worried people would think I just got...
I just don't understand why would you do that? Like, I understand the guy's an asshole, but you really some guy sat there and was like, I'm going to go find out every one of these lines. I'm going to spend a few hours possibly days researching everything for a few updates. It's like, come on, man. You got nothing better to do? You really have nothing better that you could have done? Nothing more constructive? Crazy.
From here, I assure you I do my
Insane.
own research and don't just read Reddit posts. As proof, they haven't found the source for the Narnia one, so don't I feel special? Unless Jimmy Carr got it from somewhere else too. He's already stealing from the British taxpayer, so I wouldn't be surprised.
How did he do that?
Sloppily taking shit for over a decade. The guy was fired, and from the sounds of things, everyone's bitter about it, especially the guys who had to make new Monster Madness videos to an insanely short deadline.
And then we have to rewrite 20-something scripts and re-edit them in a week.
Even James Rolfe himself got involved. He quite famously avoids talking about controversial stuff, like 9/11, but there was enough confusion he saw fit to descend from his throne of gold.
Who'd you steal that from, bitch? That was funny, though.
And put up an unlisted video explaining what happened.
One of our writers had somehow added a portion that was taken from a pre-existing article. That's unacceptable, and all of us here apologize for letting that sneak in.
He went with the story Justin did. Some new guy pasted something wrong and confused his notes into the script.
The short story...
Well, it doesn't mean that he went with that story. He might have just believed the guys when they were like, hey, this is what happened. And he was like, okay, gotcha. And then he's like, I'm going to say that's what happened because I believe you. You know?
Somebody fucked up. Somebody knew.
I'm not sure if this was recorded before this turned out to be a lie, or if they just decided they didn't need to explain it to the public in detail. And that's understandable. But either way, it wasn't somebody new. It was somebody Newt. That's your joke.
Oh, dude, you're making me come.
Video. Doing research, I found an interview with Newt about a low-budget horror film he wrote. However, the picture they used was Filip Miucin. I have no idea how this happened, but it's very funny. For the creative people watching, there's a kind of positive lesson here. You might be mystified why someone would copy stuff for a review. Why is it so hard to just write your opinions on something? But it turns out writing a good review is really difficult. For example, I use the phrase, it turns out...
$2. I've been gooning to Quandale Dingle. I love you, gut. Sad face.
I appreciate that. I don't... appreciate my fans.
More than once every video by accident because I'm bad at it. I'm not even joking. I've written it turns out in the next section without realizing it. That's how fucking bad I am. Being able to write a good review is a
How do you wash a shirt that's ripped up like that? Is my real question. Or does he just wear it once a year?
unique and difficult skill. Creative people often have
Well, I
trouble
imagine it takes them a while to make the video.
recognizing their skills as skills because eventually they feel like second nature and they don't feel real and practical like building a house or doming. But it turns in that this.
I don't really get the glove thing though. I watch people they'll use like gloves, like plastic gloves or whatever they're called. I just don't understand the sensation. It could not feel that good.
Stuff actually is valuable. If it wasn't, people wouldn't be stealing it. Creativity doesn't feel super special or unique until you realize people have to plagiarize it.
That would be funny. Imagine writing an article and put a fake info in there, like the character who speaks in ancient language, Schmingle. We love Schmingle here, dude.
Accidentally bought this in size twink instead of bear. Oh, would you like some talcum powder with that, sir? No, it's fine. I could wring the sweat out from that and probably sell it. It's worth noting that even when the plagiarism was cleared up, the new videos are still weird. The entire appeal of Monster Madness was it was one guy passionately sharing his opinions. If someone else wrote those opinions, even if they're not stolen, what exactly is the point?
Well, here's the thing, okay? If he had gotten friends, because I know he had overbooked his work basically, but if he had gotten some friends who really knew him well and they had decided to write it, I think that would have been fine. Because it would have still aligned with him. It's like, yeah, I know my friend James really likes this monster because he's pretty mad, and then it would come off as more genuine because it's somebody who knows James. That's probably the biggest issue, honestly.
Put this better himself a few.
But I understand, like wanting to increase the output. People want to hear him. They want to hear his perspective on different things. He would just need people that knew his perspective.
Years back before this all began.
I want to make original films. Lots of people say, well, get somebody to help. Well, I can't get somebody else to write the review for me. It's an opinionated thing. Imagine if it was somebody else's words and they say, this movie's great, and then I think, oh, well, this movie sucks. So if I'm doing the review, obviously I have to see the movie and write the script. It's all me.
This is probably why he made a statement about this. Most people watching would have assumed James wrote the words he was saying, especially since he'd been so vocal about this before. This is an insidious side effect of plagiarism in larger operations. It implicates the person reading the script, not just its writer. But here, the plagiarism is just a symptom of the direction Cinemassacre's videos have taken. The unstolen ones are almost as strange as the stolen ones, in the ways James once predicted. You can only hand off so much of your work before it stops being yours. It feels weird to say this about videos where a guy calls a game from 1992 a fuckstick, but the magic is gone. These aren't videos anymore. They're products. Late-stage Cinemassacre is so low effort, the scripts have obvious grammatical errors, and James just reads them without even bothering to change them.
And it's with these survivors that Jim will struggle to stay alive with.
These videos used to come from a place of interest and care, to entertain or share something. Now they're made by a production line for only one reason.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks, man, but it's unfortunate. First of all, I can respect the grind. I think people should consider that. I respect just people want to make more money and be more successful in creating a thing, a brand, and expanding. This obviously can be the consequence of that. It becomes lifeless sometimes, and it's just unfortunate. I don't think that everybody has to maintain this purist concept of what their content needs to be. I think it's okay that they branch out a little bit and do something a little different. It just obviously it can definitely hurt the It can definitely hurt it, of course.
ExpressVPN.com/Cinemassacre.
Internet video as a business is at odds with internet video
for the Papa OnlyFans so he can be okay.
As a medium, dare I say,
you
an
me
art form,
90K?
put the
Hey,
gun
dude.
down. The increased industrialization of videos doesn't necessarily make
Listen, if you're gonna give me 90K, I'll fucking Ruby Rose it. I'll spread my whole ass cheek. I'll spread it apart. I don't give a fuck.
videos better, just easier to make. But if you want to make as much money as possible in the short term, you cut those corners and you make as much product as possible. This gives me a chance to respond to the most common question about plagiarism on the internet, which is, why should we care? Does it really matter in the grand scheme if a review of Octopath Traveler or 28 Days Later is stolen? If you think that, you should try extruding that logic a bit further until it reaches the pain receptors of your brain. Internet video isn't a silly playground where teens pretend to be scared of horror games anymore. It's a business. There is real money to be made in this space, or so the emails from the World of Tanks guys keep telling me. So it's definitely worth interrogating the fact
Oh, we got a World of Tanks slight, very minuscule plug for World of Tanks. It's a very small one.
people's work is being exploited in these money-making endeavors. This issue will become relevant later, and by later, I mean now. If you want to maximize your profits by making a video every other day, how do you write that much material? You don't. Part E.
No, you just react to the stuff, man. You just react to other people's content. It won't be as good, and not as many people will usually watch it. But if they like you enough, they'll listen to you babble unnecessarily through someone else's video.
Illuminati. It's a pun. I don't need to impress you. In 2021, when I was working on the vaccines...
She should do OnlyFans, though. I feel like that was a good segue because of the naughty part. She could do that. I would try it out. Why not? You know what I mean? I wouldn't even find leaks, to be honest with you. I would support the creator because she'll need that money in a lawsuit that she might lose. Fuck it, you know?
An autism video, I needed something to listen to in the background while I built an Argos bookshelf, so out of curiosity, I put on other videos on the topic. One of them was by a channel called Illuminati, whose real name is Blair Zon. I hadn't heard of her before. She seems to do videos covering multi-level marketing schemes, pyramid schemes, and failed businesses, stuff like that. And she seems to make a lot of them really quickly. I wonder how. The video was...
She probably hires people to do it. I think that's fine. I don't think that's an issue with doing that. I mean, there's an issue with her, but, you know.
Fine? My phone was several meters away and I couldn't be bothered to reach out and get it and change the playlist, so it just kept going through her anti-vax videos. And at one point, I did a double take.
There was a joint inventor on these products, a man named Hbomberguy, a former immunologist who has been long controversial. In 1989, he was caught up in a bizarre lawsuit with the Food and Drug Administration, which told him he had to stop injecting his autistic patients with blood products.
I remember pausing, budget B&Q hammer in hand, and thinking, haven't I heard this exact sentence before?
In 1989, he was caught up in a bizarre lawsuit involving the Food and Drug Administration, which told him he had to stop injecting his autistic child patients with blood products.
An interesting thing about the MMR scandal is literally all of its big discoveries can be attributed to the work of one man, Brian Deere.
I will say that, like, that line specifically, I mean, you shouldn't say it the exact same way. But, I mean, if something happens, you know what I mean? You kind of have to say what happens, you know? That's all I'm saying. It's like, hey, they found out this guy was injecting, you know, the whatever administration told him he had to stop injecting people with autism with shit. It's like, okay, that makes sense. You know, you kind of, I feel like there's only one way to really say that. It's the, you know?
Whose years of diligent journalism are basically why we know what we do about Andrew Wakefield. His 2004 documentary, MMR, What They Didn't Tell You, effectively berserk eclipsed Wakefield's career as a legitimate doctor. It's great, and Brian uploaded it to his own YouTube channel for free in 2014, so anyone can go watch it. This version has the timecode burned in
Is it free or do I have to watch it?
At the bottom, which is kind of cute, but if you wanted to make your own video about the subject and use that as source footage, that's kind of annoying to look at. So I spent like 2 full days of my life trying to find a version without the timecode, and I finally found what I think is a copy of the original broadcast from 2004. Harrowing stories of child abuse do not pair well with teasers for the TV premiere of Moulin Rouge.
What's wrong with Moulin Rouge, dude?
When Dr. Wakefield launched the MMR scare back in 1998,
I used footage from Deer's documentary in my video, explained how important it was, thanked Brian for all of his hard work, and even recommended his book on the subject that had just come out. And he actually emailed my producer, Kat, with metrics showing people actually did go out and buy the book after seeing my video, which is great. I love knowing that my audience actually reads books. Thank you so much. So, the reason the Illuminati video sounded so familiar was because I had just rewatched that documentary.
Then in 1995, he was suspended from practicing medicine.
Then in 1995, he was suspended from practicing medicine.
At least say it differently, dude. What are you doing? Say it differently. Oh my God.
$10,000 fine for his misuse and misprescribing of controlled drugs.
And made to pay a $10,000 fine for his misuse of prescribing controlled drugs.
Professor Freudenberg has long been controversial.
Hbomberguy, a former immunologist who has been long controversial.
Been long controversial? So, this is weird. She wasn't quoting Deer. She was saying his word.
She could have just done that. That would have been the best way. Just quote him. Be like, oh, quote from such and such. I feel like there's nothing wrong with that. Like, quote the guy. Be like, yeah, you know, I got some of this information from this video. And then just quote the lines. I feel like at that point, it's like perfectly done, you know? Because no one's going to like, oh, let me not watch my favorite creator, Illuminati, talking about this and go watch that instead. You might be like, oh, maybe I'll watch that later. But then you could just fucking credit it. It's not even plagiarism at that point. You know what I mean? You're just crediting someone else. Like this. Oh, I credit this guy. Go watch. Well, you probably should watch this video over mine. I'm fucking yapping, so.
Words out loud as if she wrote them. So what's happening here? Well, after the bookcase seemed to stand up on its own, despite all the pieces mysteriously left over, I watched the video properly and noticed she does acknowledge Brian Deere and the documentary pretty openly.
In 2004, Brian Deere came out with a documentary entitled MMR, What They Didn't Tell You.
Blair watched a documentary and then downloaded it and used it to make her own. In the first 20 minutes, she plays a chunk of the documentary, or just quotes it, 25 times, more than once a minute.
Oh, wait, doesn't that mean that if she quotes it, isn't that like crediting it, basically? Is it that big of a deal?
You're hearing something Brian Deere said from his mouth or hers. So this video is
I just don't care
lazy.
about that.
I'm personally insulted that she just used the version of the documentary from Deere's YouTube channel with the timecode burned in. That gets to me a little bit after the effort I put in, but that doesn't make it plagiarism. It's just not very good. And hey, it's not like this is her one source. She quotes a lot of other places too. Or does? Here's some of the times she quotes someone else in the video. Wow, look at all this research she must have done. One thing though, what's the source for these quotes? Okay, we need to talk about how to cite a source for a second.
Question.
If you watch any non-Illuminati
Make sure you cite your sources. What was it in the description? I don't really know.
Naughty video essay, you'll see these pretentious little commies put some text in the corner telling you where their quote comes from. This is so you know what they're quoting, so you can check it or go find it and learn more if you want, and to give proper credit to the people whose ideas or knowledge they're borrowing. If you're using someone else's words in a video you intend to make money off, it's very important to give proper credit and attribution. Listing where the quote is from is important, not just so it's easy.
Yeah, Lillian Faderman, The Gay Revolution. Sounds great. My kind of revolution.
For people to find and verify it, but it's useful context which helps people interpret what they're seeing. If someone showed you a quote that made a person look bad, you might feel a bit cheated if they didn't mention its source is a blog by someone you've never heard of that doesn't exist anymore. I have a little rule for quoting that other creators seem to use as well.
Put it up to 175, guys.
If someone saw a clip of your video out of context, would it be possible for them to tell you're quoting someone and where it's from? Blair, for some reason, doesn't cite her sources. Here's a part where she quotes Andrew Wakefield.
Wakefield also stated, mumps, measles, and rubella together might be too much for the immune system of some children to handle.
I love there's a tiny Andy there for some reason, but not saying where he said this is pretty bad citation. But this isn't a mistake. Blair is hiding the source on purpose for a reason. You see, this quote is from the same documentary again. Brian Deere plays a clip of Wakefield saying it.
She double quoted it. That's fucking bold.
Conference.
That's funny.
Given together may be too much for the immune system of some children to handle.
Why didn't she just play the clip? She had it downloaded. Well, because she's already played so many clips from this documentary, it looks ridiculous. So she started quoting it, and just not telling you she's quoting the one thing she watched. I wonder where all the other quotes come from.
And more still, nurses were leaving, saying they don't like what's being done.
Nurses were leaving and saying they didn't like what was being done to these children.
It needed 3 people to hold these kids down
in some cases, just to have blood taken.
I feel
that's fucked up. I don't really care about this too much. Now, I might be wrong legally. That's fine. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a fucking doofus. But I just don't care about it that much. I mean, fuck it, man. I'd probably do the guy. If I had a researcher, I'd do the same fucking thing. I don't give a shit. I'm a fucking goblin, dude. I don't give a fuck.
Very sorry for the children who I feel were being abused.
This study had in fact begun with a contract from a group of.
Then again, this isn't really my type of content to make. You know, I like to yap a little more than that.
Solicitors
were trying to sue MMR manufacturers.
Chadwick said he had hoped the ordeal, when it hit the news, would die its own death.
It includes injecting mice with measles virus.
He injected mice with measles,
extracting their white blood cells,
and injecting the stuff into pregnant goats.
This is amazing.
Damn.
She just quotes people from this one documentary and pretends she did any work. Eventually, she stops bothering to even make it look like a quote and just starts saying Brian Deere's words out loud. And that's how the stuff at the beginning happened. She got so lazy she stopped bothering to pretend she wasn't copying the documentary.
In 1989, he was caught up in a bizarre lawsuit with the Food and Drug Administration, which told him he had to stop injecting his autistic.
Did she also say bizarre? Why don't you just say that? Just call it a weird lawsuit. Call it sussy, like from Among Us. That's how you break it up. It was a sussy documentary, like from the popular hit video game Among Us. All of a sudden, you just doubled the length. Pretty good idea. Because you technically don't create anything. That is true. I do create something. I just create a lot of words out of my fucking mouth, okay? Listen, you can't criticize me for that. This guy likes Hassan. Apparently he's a mod. I don't know if that's true. Cite that source. Cite that source. Cite that source. Okay, I don't know.
Autistic patients with blood products. Then in 1995, he was suspended from practicing medicine and made to pay a $10,000 fine for his misuse of prescribing controlled drugs.
MMR, what they didn't tell you, has been chewed up and spat back into your mouth like you're a little baby bird. My favorite part is when some of what she's saying.
I think it would have been fine. Here's the thing, is that her video, and this, you could correct me if I'm wrong. My understanding about Blair's content, or Blair, the Illuminati's videos, that's probably a better way to say it, is that she's not really giving her opinion on anything. She's just kind of portraying information. And so, sorry. And so it's not like she's relaying information and then giving you a perspective on it. She's just kind of relaying the information like someone else did. And it's just like, this feels redundant, you know? So I get that.
Appears in quotes for some reason, attributed to lawsuit with FDA. Like, No, Brian Deere said that.
He established a scientific system that would satisfy Wakefield and Pounder for testing.
And Pounder? Wait a second, who's Pounder? This Pounder guy never comes up again in the video. She brings him up here by mistake because she's paraphrasing another section of the documentary.
He established a scientifically valid system that would satisfy Dr. Wakefield and his head of department, Professor Roy Pounder.
Roy Pounder is an important character in the story. Blair has cut him out completely to save time, but she accidentally kept this one reference. This makes the copying kind of blatant. She's referencing a guy who exists in the documentary and not her video.
Why would you want to reduce the time? I feel like, doesn't that make you more money the longer it is?
Obviously, stealing someone else's words is plagiarism, but on a more zoomed...
You were a Hassan sub for a year? That's fucking crazy, dude. That's crazy. I could understand wanting to be domed by Hassan and being his sub, though.
Out level, so is copying an entire documentary and trying to hide it. Like, obviously there's something wrong here. Here's a hint. If you're trying to trick people into thinking you're not quoting the thing you're quoting, you're probably doing plagiarism. But here's where it gets interesting. Blair knows people might notice this, so she's come up with a defense mechanism. The video has a link in the description to a list of sources, where stuff she quoted or showed in the video gets linked. This is normal, lots of people do this, although usually they cite them when they use them in the actual video, but still. It's an unlabeled collection of links that's difficult to sort through, but if you keep digging, eventually you find a link to Brian Deere's YouTube upload of the documentary.
Jesus Christ, that's so many fucking sources.
So now if anyone criticizes the fact she ripped it off, she can say, no, I was using a source, I cited it, check, it's in my list. Somewhere, and she uses this flimsy excuse to basically steal anything she wants. Blair frequently plagiarizes people, never mentions they exist in the...
I don't care about any of this. I don't give a shit. I don't like the fact that she treats people like shit. I think that's the bigger issue with Blair. That's what makes her kind of a cunt. Edit that out, editor. I'm the editor. I'm going to forget. But that's really the issue that I have with her. She's just a meanie bobenia. She's a little stinky boy. Stinky girl.
Video or cites them anywhere, but she puts a link in a list no one will...
But not like a good stink. Like my wife's... Sometimes after my wife sleeps, she sweats and she stinks and it's a good stink. I love that stink. I fucking eat that shit up, dude. I fucking love it. It makes me fall in love with her even more. It's called pheromones, hormones, whatever you want to call it. I don't really know what you call it, but I like it.
So that makes it okay, right? The video we've been talking about so far is the second in a series of 3 about Andrew Wakefield.
Cool.
Here's part of the first one where she talks about his early career.
He became a fellow of the Royal College of Surgeons in 1985,
a fellow.
and a year later was awarded a Wellcome
fellow.
Trust traveling fellowship to study small intestine transplantation in Toronto, Canada.
Let me ask you real quick.
Yeah, you know what's crazy? I think, speaking of intestines, you know that they have poop pills that you take someone else's poop and then you put it in a capsule and then people eat the poop? They put it in there. They put it in a poop capsule and then they put the poop in their mouth. I'm not fucking kidding. They put the poop in their own mouth. Isn't that fucked up? That's a treatment. Apparently somebody's quote unquote healthy poop can actually make you healthier. That's fucking crazy. That's real.
Quoting a source right now?
It's a real
thing. No, it's just stock footage. So clearly she wrote this part, right? No,
wrong.
She's just reading an article from the Telegraph.
He became a fellow of the Royal College of Surgeons in 1985, and a year later was awarded a Wellcome Trust traveling fellowship to study small intestine transplantation in Toronto, Canada. Dr. Wakefield returned to the UK in the late 1980s, where he began to devote more time to research.
Oh no, there's more.
Joining the Royal Free Hospital in London, he worked on the liver transplant program, and in 1996 began researching bowel disorders, autism, and the MMR vaccine.
The average person watching this is being led to believe Blair wrote the words she is saying here.
Crazy.
This is called plagiarism. The audience has no way of knowing she's actually reading them the fucking newspaper. But the article she plagiarized is in the list of sources.
I wonder how that works. I know that this is probably like not a super explored or educated take, but my understanding is that when it comes to like fair use, at least, and plagiarism and things of that nature, when it comes to the news, and I would assume when he said article, he meant the news, there's a different kind of perspective on it, because, you know, you're kind of reporting the news. I could be wrong about this. You get the fuck out of here. It's all bots that are trying to invite me to groups. I could be wrong about that, but that's my understanding. But I could be wrong.
So we already know what the excuse will be.
My
It wasn't
girlfriend broke up
plagiarism.
with Hassan. Wait, my girlfriend broke up with Hassan on my first date. Apparently, she just thinks he's attractive. He's your nemesis, fucking based. You know, it's funny. My nemesis was what the hell is his name? Seth Rogen. When I first started dating my wife, she really liked Seth Rogen, and I had like this really weird anger about how much I didn't like that guy. But thankfully, a while ago, he did an interview where he said he didn't want to have kids, and then that made my wife turn off to him. It's just weird. So
She was just quoting a source. Without telling you. I'm imagining an alternate universe where Filip and Newt's videos just had a little pastebin link at the bottom, which goes
I agree with Papa Gunn on probably 88% of his takes. What the fuck, 88%? The things he says, but he's the most relatable creator I stumble upon. But I disagree with him a couple times. He thinks I hate him now. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You think I hate you? What are you saying? I don't think that's true at all. Also, why wouldn't it ask me to hand this question? What the fuck? Why would you think I hate you, dude? I don't even know who the fuck you are, pussy. I'm just kidding.
To all the stuff they stole? Like as if that would make it okay? This is just plagiarism, but with a shitty excuse in her back pocket to create plausible deniability.
I like
the intent behind this is pretty clear. Illuminati videos are like 90% quotes by volume. The part where she plagiarizes the Telegraph is in a 5-minute sequence mostly consisting of quotes from other places.
More research groups with more sophisticated techniques failed to confirm Wakefield's findings. Wakefield was actually born into a family of doctors in 1957. His mother was data led us to postulate that there may be a role for measles infection and Crohn's disease, even if at present this role remains unclear.
Seriously, huge chunks of the video are just reading entire screenfuls of text from the BBC, various papers, Slate, The Telegraph, and Brian Deere. Yeah, she actually quotes Brian Deere in this one. Wow. But this makes the videos boring. She's just reading pages of quotes at you. So to break up the screens of text and make it feel more original, sometimes she doesn't tell you she's reading someone else's words. She's doing plagiarism out of embarrassment to make the videos less boring. When I think a video is being lazy, I do a little test. I check what sources the video used, thankfully Blair provided a list, and I compare it with the sources you would get if you went to the Wikipedia page.
Seth Rogen was Amanda's in Kung Fu Panda. Yeah, I think that's common knowledge, man. Yeah.
For the topic. All of the quotes in that 5-minute sequence I mentioned, including the Telegraph article she plagiarized, are just linked on Wakefield's Wikipedia page. Oh, I know how this video was researched. This is a really common trick with lazy creators. Go on Wikipedia and quote all of their sources, and then it looks like you did a bunch of research and work. And to make it even better, she pretends...
You think that he did this, this whole commentary... You think he did this whole commentary on Illuminati? They put it in the beginning, but he did this at like the end. Like he wasn't going to add this, and then he's like, "Oh shit, everybody hates this woman right now. Let me add this in there for some flavor." Possible.
She had to look for this stuff.
Wondering.
Other studies have suggested there may be a link to Crohn's and measles, just not Wakefield. I was able to find a different study from the National Library of Medicine that's more recent.
I was able to find? I mean, I guess I'm glad you were. So one of the lights went off. Hold on a second. I'm not sure everyone is fully convinced that quoting a documentary for 30 minutes while pretending you're quoting someone else counts as plagiarism. I mean, it's a bit weird, but she cited it as a source, so technically it's fine. I see you little pedant. You think you're so fucking clever, don't you? But the fact she's trying to pass off other documentaries' work as her own is obvious when you realize if you didn't know the source material, you would have no idea she was doing this. To test this theory, I decided to watch a video of hers on a subject I knew next to nothing about, the Fire Festival, which I've really not looked into before.
It was no isolated island, but an underdeveloped lot just north of a sandals resort.
At first glance, the video is surprisingly well researched, with plenty of backstory and explanations.
Wasn't he beefing with her prior to this on Twitter? Oh, maybe. I don't know. I could be wrong. I could be 100% wrong. I was just asking a question, dude. When I said I wonder, I wasn't trying to make you think that I'm telling you that's what happened. I was like legitimately wondering. It was a curiosity.
According to Marianne Roll, a local that owns an Exuma Point restaurant, they had every living soul on the island of Exuma who could lift a towel working.
Lots of it is just quotes, of course. She's still just quoting people mostly, but the fact there's so many quotes makes it feel well researched and credible.
One of these people was Keith Vanderland, a pilot in charge of flying Billy around the Bahamas. According to Keith, Billy's team really wanted to do
and once or twice, Blair brings up one of the documentaries about the Fire Festival and mentions something that happens in them.
Later, in a documentary around the event, Billy himself claims that they had rented 250 houses.
She makes it very clear what her source for that section is. This all seems very above board. And at the end, Blair says those 2 documentaries were some of the sources she used for her video.
I used both the Hulu and Netflix documentaries as sources for this episode, as well as various articles.
I think it's fair to say an average person would think they were watching an original work with lots of research and sources, which tastefully brings up 2 documentaries when necessary.
I don't think most people give a fuck. Truthfully, I don't care. I don't think anybody cares. Like, most YouTube viewers don't give a shit. They're just looking for information to be piled into their fucking head. They're just looking for something to do while they're jacking off, or, well, doing homework is probably more accurate than jacking off. That'd be a little weird if you're jacking off, but you get my point. So I don't think that people put, again, a lot of meaningful thought into that. Just saying. Oh, fuck, did I pull 2? My mother's
And
fucking
that's what I thought
vagina.
too. And I thought that was fine. It was a pretty well put together video.
And then,
but then I watched Fire,
the Netflix
documentary about the Fire Festival.
And what I realized was that they had rented an area north of Sandals Resort.
It was no isolated island, but an underdeveloped lot just north of a Sandals Resort.
And then effectively photoshopped out the bottom portion of the map to make it look like they were on a deserted island.
Did you think it was fine, or were you like, "Fuck this bitch"? I'm gonna watch one of the references she made. See if I can catch her on the act.
They were photoshopping out the rest of the island to make it appear as if Fire K was a deserted island dedicated to the event. According to Marianne Roll, a local that owns an Exuma Point restaurant, they had every living soul on the island of Exuma who could lift a towel working.
They had every living soul on the island of Exuma who could lift a towel working.
According to Keith, Billy's team really...
That's not a very heavy weight. They left only a towel. That's fucked up. I'd say like at least 20 pounds.
Wanted to do tents, so what I did is
I took my wife and we tried to sleep in a tent for one night, and it was so terrible.
Her Fire Festival video is mostly her reading words from the Fire Festival documentary on Netflix, set to
Smart
footage
girl.
she got from the Fire Festival documentary on Netflix, with
Smart.
supplemental footage taken from the Fire Festival documentary that's on Hulu. But don't worry, her first source in her list is the Netflix documentary, so that makes it okay, right? And then
Yeah,
further
I don't
down in the
care.
list is the Hulu
Probably
one.
not, but-
Although fucking hilariously, she doesn't link it on Hulu, she links it on 123films.cc, the piracy website she watched it on.
Now that's fucking based. Now that's fucking based. Showing us the piracy websites we can check out is fucking based.
Now this is journalism! Yeehaw!
Calvin claims he then went to the Bahamas for himself to see what was going on and discovered that the luxury festival tents were nothing more than leftover emergency relief tents from Hurricane Matthew.
Apparently this part is from Calvin Wells. No, it's from the same documentary she got everything else from.
One of the things that really struck out to me was that they were erecting these dome tents that were pitched as luxury villas that I realized were leftover hurricane tents from Hurricane Matthew.
The footage playing while she is saying this is the same footage the documentary is showing as Calvin says it. She's just replaced the documentary's voiceover with herself quoting the documentary. It's ridiculous. Quoting documentaries you pirated for 30 minutes while pretending you're just quoting specific individuals is plagiarism. To give an example of how to do these quotes correctly, here's a New Republic article that quotes one of the things Blair did. As one caterer puts it in Netflix's Fire. It's clear and to the point. The article isn't trying to look like it found this quote. Blair could have said, in the Netflix documentary, this person says this, but she'd have to say that 50 fucking times, and it would make it obvious she's just remembering Netflix at you. So she deliberately obscures the actual source of her quote.
I'm sure she wrote it down. I'm sure she wrote it down.
This is to convince a casual audience she found these herself by doing actual research.
Optically, Destiny getting a divorce gives his haters a lot of fuel. Yeah, that's true. But also, you know, it shouldn't be public. I wonder if he'll talk about it officially, because I know that I know it's probably something. If he talks about it publicly, I'm probably going to talk. Just a curiosity, you know. I'm a goblin. I'm a gooner. You know. I'm Wendy Williams, baby. You know. Fuck it.
Research and reading articles and interviews with these people, which she didn't. This is passing off the work that went into making the documentary as her own. When she brings up the other documentaries as if she's only just talking about them, this is a lie to make you think she hasn't been doing it the whole time.
According to Mark Weinstein, a festival consultant,
a metric shit ton, actually slightly more, an imperial shit ton of this video is just footage from the Netflix documentary. Seriously, you can't even fucking take your own screenshot of these articles? What the fuck? This isn't even plagiarism. This is genuinely just
Don't take the other one. Don't take the other one.
Like, the copyright holder could get this video taken down easily and maybe even take her to court for the ad revenue she got from their footage.
Bro, this guy's a fucking bot. You can tell he's a fucking bot. I'm gonna let him die. You can tell he's a bot. See, this is how you know he's a bot, because he walked up to the pumpkin that I was doing and then started queuing onto it, and then he just stood there still. Fucking bot, dude. There's goddamn bots. Mage bot to get up there to do AoE mage farming. I hate this. I love this game, actually.
You know YouTube's copyright system, where if you use 5 seconds of the wrong TV show, your video is demonetized? You're probably wondering why that didn't happen here. This is what the Content ID system actually exists to stop, after all. Well, this is why the video has all these ugly filters. What Blair is doing is so obviously stealing—
That's smart as fuck, dude. That's actually fucking hella smart, dude. That's smart. That's interesting. I like that. Cool.
That YouTube would notice, so she had to put bisexual lighting over all the footage she got from the documentary. Whoever's making these videos is fully aware what they're doing is unacceptable and is purposefully working around—
Well, okay, listen, just to be clear, just because you do that doesn't mean that you acknowledge it's unacceptable. I'm not saying that they don't— I'm not saying whether she does or doesn't think it's unacceptable or not. But the point that I'm making here is this, okay, is that there can be times where automated systems can pick up and copyright things when you're referencing something in a way that's like stupid. Even if you only reference like 10 seconds of it, it still might get picked up and you might go, okay, well, this is kind of fucked up. This should still be able— this still falls within fair use, but I'm not going to fight a fucking conglomerate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it and reverse it. Like I'm going to Missy Elliott it, you know? And this way it bypasses the automated system. Now, I'm not saying here that applies. I'm not saying that she's in the right. All I'm saying is that does happen. So
the system's designed to stop them doing it.
I see the interview where Destiny admitted me with a femboy. That's fucking awesome, dude.
Doesn't just reuse other people's footage without credit, though. The video has also been edited to hide the credit that was there. The Fire documentary itself used videos posted on Instagram and Twitter by people who attended the event. And guess what? It credits them. Their social media's in the corner. Blair's video steals this footage from the documentary too and puts a filter over it, but also blurs out the social media. She uses a few clips from a Vice video as well, and the Vice logo gets blurred out so you can't tell where it's from. Since Blair's making a documentary out of other people's documentaries without permission for money, she's trying to hide the evidence of whose footage she's using so they don't notice and serve her a fucking cease and desist. Incidentally, when the Vice video uses footage from the documentary, it tells you, because this is how this shit is supposed to work. At one point she uses a clip of a news piece about the festival, which used footage from the documentary, and you'll notice they also correctly credit the footage too. Blair's sources are full of examples of how—
Is that a correct credit, or is that just putting it in the corner? But okay, well, the one where it just said Hulu, but I guess that is. The other one at the bottom where it's like, this was from Netflix, blah, blah, blah. That seemed like a correct credit. I don't know. I don't care.
How to credit the source. But if she'd done the same thing, the word Netflix would just—
Work smarter, not harder. The audio book she listened to, yeah.
Be in the corner for 30 minutes. The video's opening features this fan art depicting her bro-fisting with a person I believe she recently sent a cease and desist to. Put this on r/aged like milk. This piece of fan art is better attributed than the documentary she stole this video from. The 25 minutes of clips and quotes from—
Well, I mean, that's— you could harp on that point and say this guy looks stinky as hell. You can make an argument to say that's because she knew that would get her backlash in her own community. And so she was like, oh, I gotta make sure I credit this guy, Oz Media, my ex-boyfriend, who was like 10 years younger than me. Weirdo. Fucking weird, dude. Hey, listen, I'm going to be honest with you. I think it's weirder when an older woman dates a younger guy than when an older guy dates a younger woman. And you'll be like, well, Papa Good, that's a little sexist. I'm sorry. Maybe you're right. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. I think it's all weird. But, you know what I mean? It's a little like, what are you doing? Like, what happened in your life? You know, what happened in your life that made you think, like, want to date a younger guy? You know, I get the old younger girls are like, I want a guy that has some stuff. I know I'm a little red pill right now, but I just don't understand the older woman. Yo, don't invite me to a fucking clan, bitch. Fucking punk.
Netflix don't get this treatment. She just says, oh, use these documentaries as research at the end. And I guess she's not lying. She definitely did. I wish there was room in the video to show you just how much she quotes the documentary without telling you, while reusing greased up footage from it, but it's most of the video. There's just too much to show. I also wanted to go more into the ways making sloppy, poorly researched videos means the videos are full of obvious mistakes, but this video is looking kinda long, so I shouldn't. However, before I realized I shouldn't, I'd already made all of it. So, check out the new video on my hot new second channel. I have a second channel now. It's not a live stream channel I hastily rebranded. Check it out if you want to see me complain about Blair getting the Stanford prison experiment wrong, and also Silent Hill lore. Why would you want to watch that? I don't know. This is a horrible pitch. As a creator, my question is, why make 3 bad videos a week when you could make 1 half-decent video every 2 weeks?
Why not just make 2 videos a day? Fuck it. I don't give a goddamn.
Or 1 pretty good video every year. Videos like this aren't made for the reasons normal people make videos, like to inform or entertain.
I'm all about quantity, not quality, baby. I don't give a fuck.
Or for the joy of making something. They're made for the purpose of putting out more content.
Bro, this fucking guy is messaging me. He's like, hello, Bungletoad. I forgot to name myself Bungletoad. Fuck. He's recruiting me to raid with him. I'm level fucking 6. I'm not even close. I got another 30, 35 hours worth of grinding to do before I'm ready. Why the fuck would you recruit me? YouTube content mills. Oh, dude, is this me? Am I the YouTube content mill? I'm excited. I'm excited.
The phrase content mill refers to organizations which produce huge amounts of material very quickly, designed to get attention with no interest in quality. If you've ever seen an article in a search with a compelling title but which says nothing for several hundred words and only tells you the thing you wanted at the end while showing you 7 million ads, you've had the content mill experience, my friend. Some of these are just a link to a video someone else made, but they got to show you ads. There's a ton of channels out there whose objective is to make as much stuff as possible, as fast and as easily as possible. We just watched Cinemassacre become one of these, making easier, lower effort, worse videos, and for the ones that were supposed to be good, outsourcing the editing to a guy they underpaid so badly he later quit, and the writing to a guy who turned out to be stealing shit.
Okay.
The quality
It is a little silly though, because he has apparently a second channel where he can pop out content faster for more money. So he understands the fundamentals of why this is happening.
Yeah, but if you don't care about quality, you save yourself a lot of time and effort. The people who are in this for the money are engaged in a constant race to the bottom to find the easiest possible content to make and still get paid for it. If you're a nerd, and look at you, you've been recommended a YouTube short where a robot explains what happens in a comic.
The sad story of Rocket Raccoon, the drunk who...
True, I love these. I don't give a fuck. I'm never going to buy the cartoon anyway. I don't give a damn. Fuck it. They're my favorite.
Knew Batman's identity after Homelander lost his mind.
I remember I watched Remember the Titans. I watched 45 minutes of that movie one day on TikTok. I don't care. I wasn't going to go find it. I'm lazy as fuck. I want to watch it like that. Then I could skip over and watch something else on TikTok, and then guess what? It's coming back there because I just watched 15 of them. It's in my algorithm now. So, is it right? I don't know. But also, I don't give a fuck. I don't care.
Float to the top because there's catchy names and there's hundreds of them. So they get recommended to everyone even though nobody likes them. My favorite insane content farm stuff is when an AI explains the plot of a movie to you, but the title is A Woman Wakes Up Covered in Bees or something.
Welcome back to Movie Recaps. Today I will show you a drama, fantasy film from 2018. Title be with you. Spoilers ahead.
These are so perplexing, they wrap back around.
I love them. I love them.
To being performance art. He has only 3 organs left, but the scientists turn him into a super soldier. It's RoboCop! An AI voice explains the plot of RoboCop to you. That's incredible! Awesome. But if something becomes successful, even if it's something this weird, people are going to try and do the same thing, especially if it's easy to crank out, like an AI recapping a film.
The opening scene features a guy who finds himself confined within a large cube. The opening sequence introduces a prologue. After this, the chaos caused by the Egyptians is depicted. Today, I'm going to
watch all these fucking videos. I think I've watched half of those. I actually watched them too. That's awesome. Dude, I'm part of the fucking problem, bro. What? That's insane. That's fucking awesome how I'm part of the problem.
Explain a film based on the real-life story of the youngest warrior of World War II called Soldier Boy.
I'm a fucking bot lover, dude. I love bots.
Today I'm going to explain the horror zombie film, titled Warm Bodies.
And walked over to the man. When the man saw it, he was still cursing at his wife.
The Dog King has gathered hundreds of stray dogs.
The Dog
He is leading
King?
his entire army to attack the city.
Hi, Jake Recaps here. Today I'm going to explain a movie called Allerlero.
So you can see how content mill shit dovetails very nicely with ripping people off, if not outright plagiarism. And right in the middle of this ecosystem are reaction videos, where people just upload themselves reacting to other people's videos.
Bro, you're friends with Hassan, are you not?
The money
look, that's Hassan.
almost makes itself. Reaction videos are a key piece of the Illuminati puzzle here, because
I love it. Again, this guy's friends with Hassan, so he's not ready. So I don't know why he would even have an issue with this. That's literally all Hassan does, no?
that was Blair's previous content mill. A few years back, reacting to Reddit posts was a popular format, and it was easy to make, so hacks jumped on it. She used to make videos reacting to popular Reddit posts.
Oh, that's like Only JS. Based.
And she'd try to add to the jokes and, not manage it.
After all, if I can't trust the President of the United States, who can I trust? And that's Tricky Dick. Very cool man. The Watergate scandal man himself.
I can see why she stopped doing that.
Extremely boringly reading out Reddit posts wasn't good content, but it was content. She saw moderate success doing this for a few years, briefly forming a communal channel where she and several friends reacted to Reddit posts together called Sad Milk, a channel which has since been completely obliterated, and she's currently sending cease and desists to the other members to stop them talking about why. So that's explains a lot. In a way, Blair has always just been reading other people's stuff at you. She spent over half a decade trying to become a popular YouTuber, by any means necessary. Before these, she used to do storytime videos back when they were really popular, which led to a notorious video where she talked about clogging a toilet by literally filling it with shit.
I didn't even see the hole, so I knew the poop wouldn't go.
When video essays
I love poop. It's so funny.
started being a popular format, she pivoted again and started making what she makes now. None of this has ever been about actually making something she cares about. It's always been about making something popular. When these finally caught...
What if she cared about it, though? Because it made her popular. You think about that? Like I said, some of this side, it doesn't matter to me. Who cares? You do Reddit videos. If people want to listen to you fucking do Reddit videos in an annoying animated way, like, do you, millennial? I don't give a fuck,
caused her to really take off as a creator, she basically immediately deleted all of her previous cringe attempts to cash in on other trends. Remember when nearly 1 million views disappearing from Filip's channel was a bit weird? Try 40 million. Sounds like those videos aged like milk. Sad milk, that is.
Oh, dude, you made me fucking ejaculate.
Is a video essay content mill. She has a team of editors helping to put out videos every other day, and she doesn't need a writer. Wikipedia's got her covered. And if there happens to be a documentary on the topic, she can just quote that 40 fucking times. The video happens overnight because she didn't have to do any work. There's a part in the vaccines video where she talks about all the documentaries she's watched as part of her research process. And I don't think she realizes she's telling on herself here.
And I've got to tell you that I've seen a lot of documentaries doing research for these deep dives. The Netflix Betting on Zero for Herbalife, The Dark Side of Chocolate for Nestle, documentary series on the Hikikomori, and all the Goop episodes on Netflix, Blackfish for SeaWorld, there's a lot.
This is just a confession. Referencing the big documentaries on a topic you're covering is fine. Quoting them or using some footage from them makes a lot of sense, I think. But at a certain point, you're just repackaging other people's work and selling it off as your own. And speaking of selling, why would someone do this? Well, when I sat down to watch the Fire Festival video, I got served 2 advertisements before I could hit play.
Money,
and then
baby.
Got hit by a commercial for Blair's...
I don't think anybody wondered why she would do that. Everybody knew it was for money. I don't know why she proposed it as if it was... Okay.
Plushie.
Make sure to snag one before it's gone because these are not coming back once this runs out.
Then 11 minutes in, I got a message from today's sponsor, Mint Mobile, where I could get Squixteen Dingles off my Becked burger.
And we will begin to unravel what happened at the Fire Festival right after this ad break. Make sure you go to mintmobile.com/MLM. That's mintmobile.com/MLM.
And then within seconds of that sponsorship ending, I got a...
I can't believe they're selling a multi-level marketing scheme.
Second sponsorship. She has 2 right next to each other. Go to blueland.com/Illuminati.
To blueland.com/MLM. That's 15% off your first order of any products of Blueland orders at blueland.com/MLM.
Now, I don't want to speculate how much money Blair made from this sloppy shit that was made in about a day, but I do know how much a video with that many views makes in ad revenue, and I know what the overhead is on those plushies.
Yeah, if she just stops fucking around, I know her views are like really low right now, but she could probably get her views back up, honestly.
And I've been offered similar sponsorships.
It's funny, I was telling my wife a little bit about Quandale. About Illuminati. I don't know what the fuck that was. About Illuminati. And I showed her a video or something, and she's like, "Oh, that looks interesting. I might watch that." So I did. And then I was like, "Oh, she's done some bad stuff." And my wife's like, "I don't give a shit about YouTube drama." I was like, "Okay, that's fair. That's fair."
So I'm pretty comfortable in saying she made a fuck ton of money from stealing someone else's documentary. It turns out it's the same twist it always is. Why did this stupid shit happen? Oh, it's money! This is a really good racket. I'm almost jealous. With a small team of editors, you can knock one of these out every few days. And she does. I mean, she doesn't need a writer. Now, maybe this technically isn't plagiarism. Maybe you give them a pass because having a link somewhere in the description makes it okay to have done this. But I think we can all agree that even if it isn't plagiarism, it is, at the very least, shit. When we're talking about creative works, questions like this aren't really about rigid definitions.
Well, let's just be real. Most people don't give a fuck about intelligent stuff. Like, I remember we reacted to a debate. It was Ben Shapiro and Alex O'Connor, I think maybe his name was. I could be wrong about that. I'm sorry if I am. But the point that I'm making is that it was like really interesting, and it made me question a lot of different aspects of my values as a person. But it also hurt in my head. And as silly as that sounds, like there is a level of truth to the fact that like not everybody wants to engage with something that's going to educate them. It could be difficult. It could be a little too much for them. If they get out, it could be antithetical to their actual goals, which is just to like listen to some brain rot and just have their brain rot because they just got out of like a fucking 10-hour shift. So not everything has to be good. I know that might be a little bit of a hot take, but I'm just saying, I think that's kind of where it comes from. I think that's it.
It's about whether or not something passes the vibe check, as adults pretending to be children might say. A lot
fuck?
of this is about how something feels. Case in point, when Blair accused someone else of stealing from her. Plot twist, baby! Party time. The Legal Eagle debacle. This is Devin Stone, law YouTuber and actual lawyer whose channel name is Legal Eagle. He's pictured here interviewing me in my pajamas in the final year I had hair.
Whoa.
I used this clip so I could savor it for a second. On April 20th of this year, Blair accused one of Devin's editors of taking her video's style. They were trying to replicate her videos. Her evidence? One of his editors emailed asking how her editors achieved a specific effect in an old video, and then later asked on Discord,
Oh my god, I know all this. Damn, that's a lot. This is all about Illuminati? I thought this was like something separate.
if he could ask them there. I know, right? And if that's not enough, she posted some comparison shots showing they both have used torn paper effects when showing quotes, and
bro, I'm the only one who owns paper.
They both highlight text when they show documents.
Legal Eagle is
Wife
no
talk
longer
about Schmingelbang? Yeah, I say weird shit to her all the time.
the one good lip.
I call her Pingle Whirl sometimes. That's why I named that character. Or Bungletoad. I'll call her both of those. That's why I named the characters Pingle Whirl and Bungletoad. I just say dumb shit.
It's cut and dry, really. There's just one small question left, and that is, what the hell are you talking about? This is one of the most common things you see in all videos. No one owns the concept of highlighting text. Tons of people use torn paper in their visuals when they're quoting books or newspapers. It's basic skeuomorphism. When the
Look, guys, I'm using a guide for this thing called a Guild Guideline, and it's to give you guides so you don't really have to think. Because I don't like to think, like I said. The reason I bring that up is because it credits the person who made this guide. So pretty cool.
Looks like the thing that it is. I do the same thing when I'm trying to look professional. Legal Eagle has used these visuals for years, before Illuminati has used them even. Who's ripping off who again? But in any case, it's normal for editors to ask each other how they do things. That's how information spreads. You know those transitions that I do occasionally and Filip did literally all the time? I found out how to do those by asking another YouTuber named BobVids how he made his transitions so smooth in his videos in like 2016, and he told me what plugin he used. Almost everyone finds out about it by asking someone else whose videos they like how they did that thing. This is a communal craft where people learn and share things.
It's funny. It's ironic that she would even be bold enough to even consider this concept of like plagiarism, considering like, yeah, she just kind of watches other people's stuff. You'd think that she'd at least have a looser definition of what plagiarism means on like a personal moral level, we'll say. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I would expect, at least. Like if you're somebody like myself, you know, I do reaction content, right? You'd think that I would, if somebody like reacted to my thing, and let's say they react, I mean, if they react to it and just re-upload it, that's one thing. But let's say they react to it and they don't do a whole lot of transformation. You expect me to be looser on that just as a person, because it's like, you know, I do react, you know what I mean? So, but instead, she's going fucking the opposite direction. She feels, it's almost like she feels entitled to plagiarize to some extent other people's content, and I guess it's debatable whether she actually does or not. But then when it comes to a fucking effect, she wants to complain about it being fucking plagiarism. It's just ridiculous. It's so unself-aware.
That's why there's 12 million tutorials for how to do a chromatic aberration effect without having to pay for one of the professional ones.
Oh, so why didn't the guy fucking Google it, huh? Maybe Blair was tired of asking questions. I don't know, I'm being stupid.
Editing is for the people.
Also, it's like weird because you'd think that would be cool. You know, you got Legal Eagle. He's pretty well respected on the platform. You got one of his editors reaching out to you, which means that you, by extension, are respected in some capacity. You think that was cool. You think that you would think that was cool. You know what I mean?
More like comradic aberration. No. The accusation wasn't just false. It illuminates, how Blair sees the world. She doesn't really understand the concept of sharing amongst creatives because she's never actually created anything. Ripping people off is her entire business model. So she assumes that's how the rest of the industry works. Just people competing to exploit each other's ideas. To this sort of person, the fundamental act of asking questions and talking shop become devious tricks to get you to give away your precious secrets about how you highlight text. Basically, this is a completely ridiculous accusation. This particular thing really annoyed me, not just as a video editor, but because I had a personal history with her videos. Here was someone whose career is built on remaking other people's hard work 3 times a week, getting extremely aggressive that someone asked someone else how they did something. I found the Brian Deere stuff years ago and kept it to myself because I know this might be hard to believe. I don't like randomly starting fights with strangers, but since Blair seems okay with doing that, and it was on my mind anyway since I was already working on this video, I posted a video with some examples of her ripping off Deere in a quote tweet. A lot of the reactions to my tweets seem to show that this made people rethink how they felt about the work of someone they previously respected. And this, for me, confirms my hypothesis that whatever you call this, there's something wrong about it. Realizing how heavily regurgitated someone's work is changes how it feels to watch. Even if you like something about it, now in the back of your mind you're wondering if it's them you like and not the person they got it from. Plagiarism stains a person's work and makes it tough to appreciate even the original parts, because you'll never really know for sure again if they're original. And being the one getting ripped off feels pretty bad too, which I'm sure Blair understands. That's why she posted all of these tweets. Now imagine how those journalists and documentarians might feel. Imagine spending your life doing painstaking research, actual investigation, going out there and interviewing people and physically finding things, not just Googling it and copying what's already there. And then imagine someone reading your words out loud in between sponsorships for dish soap, getting half of the words wrong, and not even making it clear how heavily she's relying on you to make her video. Brian Deere has had a lot of trouble with plagiarism. During the scare, Deere got sued and went to court to defend his findings. He could have lost his home in the fight to get the truth heard. So when people steal his work without crediting him properly, it's messed up. Some entire documentaries have come out which don't credit him. Channel 4 did another documentary about Wakefield recently, and they don't acknowledge that it was his work they were
That's fucked up. Why we gotta go after Channel 4? They're a larger institution. You'd think that they'd be held to a higher standard. That's terrible.
Using. They pretend Channel 4 itself made those discoveries. They try really hard to cut Deer out of the story, and it doesn't even work. Articles he wrote and his book keep popping up in the background. Deer has been battling to have his work properly recognized for years, while other people pretend they discovered it. Deer actually put it best himself when he saw my tweet and replied to it. Sorry to drag you into this, Brian.
Oh,
While
he does
copying
care. I
and
was
pasting
wrong.
text from other people's stuff is a kind of plagiarism, it's not the only kind, and focusing on that as the only way would be a mistake that falls short of understanding the problem. Even when Blair isn't just reading other people's words, she's still gutting other people's work and selling it, and I hope I've explored that properly. I wish the story ended there so we could move on already. I had other examples I wanted to get to, I swear.
Me
But
too,
on the
dude, me
28th of
too.
April, Blair released a video entitled Illuminati Exposed, which contains an apology to Legal Eagle, a response
Oh yeah, that was a mess. That was a mess. When was that? How long was
to
that?
But on the 28th of April, Blair released a video entitled Illuminati Exposed, which contains an apology to Legal Eagle, a response to Hbomberguy's plagiarism claims, and I guess a response to the 5 other things she's currently being accused of. She seems great, and in the section intended for me, she responded to my tweet. So in the interest of fairness, let's see what she has to say.
Before I get into the
Oh, I didn't even know. I don't really know the Hbomberguy lore, so I didn't know that that was, him being referenced. Because we reacted to that too.
accusation itself, I want to address the topic of plagiarism. And that word has been tossed around a ton, and it's not something to be taken lightly. And I just want to take a minute to define this word.
She begins by citing the many dictionary definitions of plagiarism, which is very funny.
On screen are definitions for the word plagiarism as defined by Merriam-Webster, Dictionary.com, and the University of Oxford.
But then, she disregards all of them anyway and invents her own special definition with a loophole in it.
I'm showing multiple sources defining plagiarism, but the overall definition is going to boil down to this. Plagiarism is to take someone else's idea as their own or to not credit the source.
The actual definition, the thing that is wrong, passing off other people's work or ideas as your own, has had this new thing grafted onto it to do with crediting of sources. The other definitions do bring up not crediting people as part of it, but Blair has made it central to her definition. Remember what I said about plausible deniability? This is Blair trying to cash...
Oh, I guess that means I'm not plagiarizing, because I'm not passing this off as my own. You could very easily go find it. It's not me, dude. It's not my ugly ass. Oh, okay, cool. I didn't know I wasn't plagiarizing.
She objectively has passed off the work of Brian Deere, the Fire Festival documentarians, and countless others as her own, up to and including reading out entire paragraphs from articles without even telling you she was quoting anything. But in this new definition, as long as you hide a link in a document no one will read or mention once you used it as a source, it magically becomes not plagiarism anymore. She then gives the defense that she did cite Deere in that paste bin of hers, but her video demonstrating this actually shows why this is a cheap trick.
When you go to my sourcing page for this particular episode, you can also see that the documentary is listed as a source.
Illuminati's paste bin full of disorganized links is embarrassing to watch her scroll through. I assume she was trying
That says a lot of links, dude. That's crazy.
To show how easy it is to find the documentary in her list, but then she couldn't find it. She cited it as a contextless YouTube link, so she has to have text appear on the screen saying which of these sources was the documentary. What really surprises me about the response is how deliberately manipulative it is. She makes a big show of how thorough she's being in her response.
With that definition being clearly identified, let's go ahead and take a look at what Harris brought to the Twitter table.
She shows my tweets about the situation, obviously, and she reads them all out, which makes sense. She's used to reading people's words for a long time, but she doesn't show the video she's actually responding to.
Harris posted this video saying, and I quote, "Personally, at Illuminati, I would define plagiarism as something a bit more specific. For example, copying someone else's documentary directly into your script." End quote.
After slowly and painfully reading out the entire surrounding context, why doesn't she show any of the video? Well, because it would make her look really fucking bad. If she showed the video directly comparing her with Deere, she wouldn't be able to defend herself at all. It's obvious what she did was wrong. Instead, she shows this one screenshot, which just happens to be the part where she's technically quoting something on the screen. And then she gives the defense that, look, you can see I was quoting it.
However, in his own video, he shows where I'm audibly quoting a direct line from the documentary, and even visually you can see it on the screen with the quotation marks.
A direct line from the documentary? The video says it's from a lawsuit with the FDA. I have to admit, this is some pretty clever sleight of hand. She's showing specifically the one section where she technically is quoting something.
At the time of recording, it was really obvious to me that it was a citation of the documentary.
You know she's pretending to quote a lawsuit while actually reading someone else's words, but the audience watching doesn't. Her official response on YouTube has way more views than the Twitter video she's responding to here. More people have seen a manipulatively framed single image from the video than the video itself. I got some replies from people who had clearly just seen her video and not seen mine, trying to defend her on the basis that she did put it in quotes, she just didn't cite the source correctly, and you can find it in the description. Some poor Illuminati fans out there think I'm mad at her for quoting some words slightly wrong.
Well, thankfully, I don't really think that she has too many fans left at this point. I'm pretty sure they're all gone. Most of them. I mean, 90% of them. She did take a pretty big view tumble. Holy fuck. I just got almost died. Almost scared the shit out of me. She did take a pretty big view tumble there. So, I guess unfortunate for her. All she had to do was just not fucking care, dude. All she had to do was not fucking cry about legal, and nobody would have given a fuck, like, honestly, because that's the thing. It's like the floodgates. One person starts criticizing you, everybody starts criticizing you, gets out of hand. Nobody would have came forward about anything. None of her ex-sad milkers, all that other shit. But she just is a fucking bitch with the whole other thing with that one guy where she was like, he said the R slur 10 years ago. It's like, holy fuck, it's just, she's just so dumb.
because they assume, in good faith, that the YouTuber they like wouldn't tell them an obvious lie. Sadly, Illuminati isn't a unique story. She's just the most prominent tip of the iceberg of content mill video essay garbage. If you want to see these extremely poor practices in action, you need only watch the videos about Illuminati. You know, drama YouTube.
Morning.
The worst part of YouTube.
Hey, I think that's fucking based, dude. Drama YouTube is the worst part of YouTube. And when you hear that, you're probably like, wow, Papa God, how hypocritical. You know you are part of Drama YouTube, idiot? Yeah, I do. And that's the fucking worst. Now listen, I don't always do drama. But when I do drama, dude. I know that. I know it's fucking cancer. Here's the thing. People don't understand about me. I'm a woman. I love catty bullshit. I love the tea. Like, that's a real thing. I love it. My wife and I gossip about shit all the time. I don't care. I've said this before, but if you're her family listening, stop telling her stuff, idiot. If you're a friend, stop telling her stuff, idiot. I know all of it. I know I don't tell anybody. I just like to have it. I just like to hear it. It makes me feel good. I ask her about, like, oh, what's going on with such and such? Oh, and then we sit down. We have fucking literal tea sessions. I don't give a shit. I'm a fucking goblin. I'm a gooner. I don't give a goddamn.
Koba says point of view, showing a picture of a man with a hatchet who I assume is...
Oh shit, it's Bo Blacks, dude. My favorite Twitter reader. But I'm going to be real with you. I think that August should make a Bo Blacks type channel. I like August to, you know, and I'll react to her instead of... I don't give a fuck. I'm all about it, baby. I like the Twitter stuff. I enjoy this. I enjoy what does this work.
Hbomberguy, but I'm not too sure, to be honest.
Drama YouTube is its own sub-ecosystem of content mills,
Beautiful.
Grinding out infinite buckets of slop about whatever's happening.
Yes!
So I'm not going to note this anymore after this video, okay?
These people are so busy making the videos, they don't even have time to find out what Blair did. They're finding the most popular tweets on the topic and hitting the record button.
Not enough that they steal ideas. They have to go out of their way to slander others' work for having the most banal similarities.
Yeah, that's right.
This guy, see, here's the thing. This guy, the Hbomberguy, he's obviously very intelligent. And he's very well-read. You know, but he's also a fucking dork. I'm just being honest with you. Like, they shut the fucking cares. It's like, I have the axe to grind with drama YouTuber. Why? Who gives a fuck, dude? It's not even like, you know, me too. A lot of them are terminally online. That's the one thing I'll say about myself. I'm not. Right? I can appreciate that about me. You should too. But just the fundamentals, like, this guy just reads his tweets. Yeah. I like it. It's people want. There's a demand for it. Some people just want to hear the tweets and they don't want to fucking scroll through Twitter because Twitter is brain rot. So if some other silly goose wants to scroll through the Twitter brain rot, then fuck it. Make your career out of it. Who cares? Who gives a shit? I don't fucking care. I don't see an issue with it. I truly don't. So who cares?
Wait, banal? And in their most evolved form, they're not even doing that. They're watching other drama videos and making their own version. I've seen the compilation I made of Blair copying Dia in like 40 different places at this point. But what's really amazing about it is that it's now crossed the drama mill event horizon. So instead of being credited to me, it's credited to the other drama YouTubers the current drama YouTuber got it from. In this instance, the previous drama YouTuber's name isn't even spelled right. That's the level of research we're dealing with here. I don't really care about getting credit for a video I made in 5 seconds. The point I was trying to make was that Dia is the guy who deserves the credit. But there's still an irony to it. I was trying to make a point about the importance of crediting people correctly, and now my Twitter video has human centipeded its way out of the anals of drama YouTubers into the mouths of second-order drama YouTubers who don't even know where it's from, but are ready to reheat and serve it. This is the lowest effort shit you can imagine. They can't even spell plagiarist right. Information itself deteriorates in the process of producing industrial quantities of content. The mask has fallen and the gears of the mill spin naked before us as they wheel and crunch all meaning to dust and Raid Shadow Legends.
All right, guys, this guy is also a theater nerd. Dude, you better not fucking kill me. I'll fucking cry. I will actually cry.
Sponsorships. Go to audible.com/repent Harlequin to enter a coma and escape this madness.
Okay.
Anyway, thank you for taking the time to reply, Blair. Yeah. I disagree. I don't think your new special definition of plagiarism with a loophole in it is plagiarism. I think plagiarism is plagiarism, and you are a plagiarist. But
did Bo Black see that? Did he get upset? That's funny.
Thank you for taking the time to respond, and good luck with all that other stuff. We should probably move on. Let's talk about some good videos. Remember my video about the Roblox oof? That one did pretty well, didn't it? There's a bunch of stuff I needed to do for a follow-up video, but then I got distracted by this. But I'll do that eventually. But I'm really happy with the reaction to it. A lot of people I deeply respect seem to enjoy it, and it was even Jack's Film's third favorite video of 2022, which for me is an incredibly high honor, far higher than all the real awards I didn't win. His second favorite video was Man in Cave by someone...
I'm gonna be honest with you, Jack's Film's a little bit of a doofus too. I'm not trying to be rude. I get it, but listen, I understand not liking Sniper Wolf, but it's fucking weird and obsessive to make an entire channel devoted to just reacting to Sniper Wolf videos. It's actually really weird and kind of creepy. Now, he doxed her. I mean, she doxed him, so she's a fucking, obviously took it too far, and she's the bad guy. I'm just saying, though, it was weird that you made an entire channel reacting to Sniper Wolf videos, specifically just because she didn't credit people, which she should have done. I'm just saying it's weird. It's very terminal. It's very bizarre. It's a very obsessive behavior. I feel like if it wasn't on the internet, we would go, that's fucking weird. Since it's on the internet, we don't think of it like that. But I'm just saying, man, it is weird. That is a weird thing to do. You know, I get reacting to some stuff, but fucking whole channel devoted to it? It's so fucking bizarre.
One called Internet Historian, and that thing got like 10 million views, so I'm not surprised. Personally, I'm not a big Internet Historian fan. Years ago, I saw a video of his about DashCon, a failed Tumblr convention, and it was really just a bunch of jokes about SJWs and how bad Tumblr is, and it was really disappointing. You know, he had the opportunity to talk about a really interesting moment in history, and he just used it to post cringe. But that video was eons ago, and I don't like to judge people by super old stuff they made, and a lot of people I really respect seem to like him, so I'm sure he's way better now. Anyway, let's finally watch Man in Cave and see what the hype is all about. No, I mean it. Pull up your phone, open up Man in Cave, and let's watch it together.
You fucking bitch ass.
No, just type Man in Cave. It's the top one. It's got 10 million views.
I'm not doing
it. Oh, you can't find it? It's not there? As of present recording, Man in Cave mysteriously disappeared months ago and has yet to reappear. What happened to Man in Cave?
I don't know, but it kind of reminds me of the guy with the jar. The guy that put the jar up his asshole. You know what I'm talking about?
Man in Cave is about Floyd Collins, a cave explorer who in 1925 got trapped in a cave. Nice one, Floyd. The video is an hour and 10 minutes long and pretty detailed, covering the events hour by hour as they happen. What a unique way of telling the story. The video implies a deep level of research and understanding, and that animation's pretty cool.
Did he plagiarize it? Oh, frick.
So, the video was uploaded on September 29th, 2022 and was extremely successful, garnering like 10 million views in the few months since it went online. It was deemed so entertaining it became the thing every Twitch streamer put on while they went and did something else to keep their audience busy. Ooh, that's a good chunk of change right there. But then in March of this year, the video disappeared. Any links to the video took you to a blank page saying it was unavailable because of a copyright claim. Usually with really popular videos though, YouTube resolves this quickly to avoid negative attention. But this was down for a while, and then it's...
Do you think that's to avoid negative attention, or maybe from... There's one weird thing about this guy's videos. Is that he has the weird narratives that like feel so weirdly intentioned, like so bizarrely intentioned. Like he's constantly making these references to the intentionality of different places or people or businesses or whatever in the way that it's like the most, you know, poorly, I don't know, interpreted as possible. I'm saying that a lot. And it's like YouTube, they will fucking resolve these so they don't get bad press. I don't think it's because they don't want a bad press. I think they resolve them because maybe they want to just make money, or maybe they do want to be supportive to creators when they can. I know about some stuff behind the scenes that like they've done that's like nice. So it's just weird to me when he comes out with these really weirdly, like weird intention stuff sometimes. It comes out of fucking nowhere. It seems so fucking bizarre.
Stayed down. What's going on?
Oh, no!
Let's look into this a bit. This video is no longer available due to a claim by Pro Sportority Limited, doing business as Minute Media. That's what DBA means, by the way, aren't I clever? Minute Media is a publisher of digital content. One of their brands is Mental Floss, a digital news and entertainment site, which also has a YouTube channel. So, did he use some of their copyrighted images, or the YouTube channel's footage? Well, it doesn't look like the channel has ever covered Floyd Collins. The Mental Floss website, however, has. In 2018, Lucas Riley wrote a story about the 1925 cave rescue that captivated the nation. This article is an extremely detailed summary of the story of Floyd Collins. In fact, it makes the unique choice of covering the events hour by hour. Oh, he didn't. He did not just...
Floyd tried to breathe calmly. His left arm was pinned underneath his torso, his right wedged by the rock ceiling above. Beneath him, sharp crystal shards dug into his skin. When he did attempt to shuffle, more gravel and rocks would tumble from above and pile onto his feet.
He should try untying his shoes, said one. No, we should send him down with a contortionist who's got a...
This guy could be the mayor from Thomas Tank Engine. You know what I'm talking about?
Mallet and a chisel. Hey, how about using dynamite? One click formed, insisting that it was a great idea, till they started arguing about gas
Yo, what
torches.
the fuck?
But by far the most common suggestion, of course, was amputation. So he removes his suit, drapes himself in coveralls, and grabs a lamp. Whoa. But Floyd didn't really answer any of his questions. In fact, he was incoherent. So Miller took a few mental notes, and he left. Somehow, Homer mustered the strength to altogether wrench the cord from the other man's hands. The rope went slack. Homer, Floyd, and the rope lay limp on the cave floor. No progress had been made.
For the first time in YouTube history, a copyright claim is real. Internet historians stole Lucas Riley's article, used it as a script for a 17-minute video, gave him no credit, and uploaded it for money. But let's consider an alternative explanation, just to be fair. This was a real historical event. They're both telling the same true story. So, of course, they're going to be similar. That's a good point.
That's fair. It's pretty lazy. If you can't write a script yourself, you shouldn't be a historian. Yeah, sure. That's fair. That's a good point. Fair.
You're very smart. But there's a difference between using the same sources or recounting the same history and telling the exact same story in the same way using the same words. And if going hour by hour didn't make it obvious, the fact it copies the rest of the structure makes it blatant. The opening, which covers Floyd entering the cave.
Is that really Wendigoon? What the fuck?
Dave even uses the same image used at that point in the article. Soon after, when Floyd first becomes trapped, the article flashes back to Floyd's childhood. The video copies this narrative framing and does the same thing, flashing back after he's trapped, and even tells the same anecdotes about his past.
Floyd has been exploring the caves of Kentucky since he was merely 6 years...
Is this a fucking Vosh? What the fuck? Why does this guy sound like Vaush? That's so bizarre to me. Jesus Christ.
Old. And as he grew up, he gained a reputation for being a very daring caver. He would dive into some hole on one side of town and emerge miles away on someone else's property.
This one's interesting because the words are quite a bit different. Instead, it's copying the article visually by having him literally pop his head out like a gopher. You know how in the previous segments I've been showing all the really obvious examples to get the point across? Man in Cave is over an hour long. If I showed the funniest examples, we'd be here all day.
Gerald knew more about cave rescues than most. In fact, just that summer prior, he had helped untangle Floyd from a different snag. Everybody was shaken by the experience. Burton fainted as he crawled towards the exit. Most of the other men had to be carried away. World of Tanks is not only the best game I have ever played.
Okay, that one was a joke. Sorry, I couldn't resist. There are some differences between the two, though. Internet Historian's video has mistakes. He gets the weight of the rock pin.
Oh shit! What a doo-doo ball!
In Collins' leg down.
Ah, it's like the test. Sorry, my mom scared me with a text. It's like the what I was saying before about the test. You know what I mean? Where it's like, you know, you copy the you don't want to copy from an idiot, but also you want to copy. If you copy from a smart person, you got to get a couple questions wrong. You got to do it. That's the smart way to do it. You got to be like, oops, what's 2 + 2? 5, teacher. But you got to get the, you know what I mean? Like, that's what you got to do. So I don't know if he actually did that. Maybe he's just a fucking idiot. I don't know. But that's smart. That's smart.
Wrong. He says it's £33, while the article lists 27. Every credible source I find has it listed as around £27, give or take.
Shit.
And the Wikipedia page lists 26.
How many what's that in American dollars?
The rock weighs about 26.5 pounds. How do I know this? We still have it. We've weighed it. It's 26.5 pounds. How did he make this mistake when all his sources, including the one he was plagiarizing, say otherwise? It's almost like when he was loosely rewriting the script to seem more original, he accidentally changed some of the facts of the story. Or maybe it was on purpose. It's slightly harder to say it was plagiarized now.
True, dude.
Anyone off if he got
I said that
wrong.
too.
Man in Cave is also a little confused about the fucking cave. In 1917, Collins discovered a beautiful cave full of stalagmites on his family's land, which he named.
I thought it was stalagmites. Is it stalagmites? Are you plagiarizing? Do you even know how to say stalagmite? Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Stalagmite.
Stalagmite.
Bitch, you're wrong, motherfucker. Ha 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 ha. It's a stalagmite, not a stalagmite, you son of a bitch. You son of a fucker. I don't know what I'm saying.
Crystal Cave. They tried to turn it into a tourist attraction, but this didn't pan out. He then tried looking for a new cave on his neighbor's property, and this is the cave he got trapped in while clearing out, which was later named Sand Cave once he became trapped. This is covered in the article, as well as being common knowledge about this story. Internet Historian treats them like the same one cave and calls it Sand Cave. So now the story has insane shit, like Floyd advertising Sand Cave to tourists, which literally never happened because he died in it before it could open for business. That's what the story is about. This isn't nitpicking. Okay, it is, but this is the cave in Man in Cave. It would be nice if he got the cave right. This is the place most people my age are going to learn about Floyd Collins, and it's a shame they're learning history that's not true.
Well,
here's a funny thing I noticed, because I'm one of those weird cave people. We prefer the term amateur speleologist, but he keeps...
You know what bothers me? Cave divers. Specifically the ones that go into, like, they go into small nooks and crannies. I don't get it. Why would you want to almost die all the time? You got lizards and shit climbing into your asshole, spiders laying eggs into your armpit hair. I don't get it. I really don't get why you'd want to... I don't know. I just don't get it. I really don't.
He's using this picture to represent the grotto Floyd is trying to reach.
On the other side is this. Until he found this hollow.
This isn't a picture of that hollow. There are no pictures. No one's even seen it apart from Floyd. And because
I mean, I feel like this one isn't that big of a deal. It just sounds like he's trying to be a little visual in his storytelling.
I'm insane. I recognize this picture. It's from the website of Crystal Onyx Cave in Kentucky, which is about 12 miles away from the Mammoth Cave system the video is talking about. This cave is often confused with other nearby caves because the names are similar and they're so close by. So it's an understandable mistake to use this image instead of one from the right cave system. But I do find it really funny. A picture being used to represent part of Mammoth is from a site whose title reads, "We're not Mammoth." Like, they tried to warn you, buddy. And I saw people congratulate this video for the effort that went into it. I assume they're talking about the animation, which is pretty decent. Internet Historian's team did a good job with this, especially considering its length. A compliment I've received myself many times. That's one reason.
I've got some compliments on my length before. Of my nose. Nobody's ever complimented me on the length of my penis.
Also disappointing. This could have been good and not been stolen. We can do both. Riley is a really talented writer and researcher. He was the articles editor for Mental Floss back when it had a physical magazine, with folks who worked on it calling him its beating heart. Riley is a very well-regarded, award-winning writer with a skill for telling gripping stories, and I can tell Internet Historian agrees with me. So it's a shame he gave him no credit for his work, even as it contributed to what must have been a huge amount of income for him. Doubtless more than Riley ever made for writing it in the first place. Internet Historian sometimes cites his sources when they come up, or a text saying where it's from, and that's a good practice. But this makes his choice to never cite or mention Riley obvious. He's trying to hide it. Sometimes the way he tries to look like he's done research and wrote this video himself is very funny. There's a bit where he's reading the article out loud, as usual, then pauses and acts like he's about to read something else and just keeps reading the fucking article.
Near the final squeeze, large cracks had formed. The ceiling was beginning to droop. Alright, so the following is a recounting of events from one of Carmichael's men, Casey Jones. Casey and another worker spent about an hour in the cave, but he heard Collins moaning ahead, so he pushed himself on.
A little sexy.
He managed to make it through.
This is a steamy article. This is like the one with the guy, the Dominator guy. I don't fucking gray girls. What the fuck am I thinking?
The squeeze, and he arrived at the 10-foot pit. Seeing Floyd trapped,
what am I thinking?
He tried to ignore the pebbles that were tumbling behind him.
Internet historian wants you to think he's telling you a story he made.
Grey's Anatomy. No.
After doing a lot of research. He doesn't want to read you a good story he found. He wants to pretend he wrote it. But this, the obvious fact it's plagiarism, and it's wrong, that's the easy stuff. What's interesting is what happened next.
Oh, come on, dude.
I've been standing on my feet for ages. I'm gonna have to sit down.
Oh, jeez.
That's better. This is my living room where I keep all the books I pretend to have read, and also my board games. Yes, I'm one of those people. I even have a board game about caving. This is quite hard to find nowadays, so I had to get it from Germany. They love board games there because they're not afraid to look one another in the eye. I can't wait to spiel this cave game. For my money, that's the best joke I've ever written. Hold on, we're doing a video about plagiarism. Let's,
I don't know, I laughed harder at a joke you made earlier. I forget it, though.
Let's get this set up properly. Aha. But then... This is a whole style of video now, and by style, I mean one person did it first and then a bunch of boring people ripped her off. Stealing from lots of places is inspiration, but stealing from one place is plagiarism, unless you call it the bread tube style, and then it's fine. I don't even know what a bread tube is. I just woke up one day and was told that I was in it and that people hated me for being in it. I don't even know what it is. Anyway, when someone from Mental Floss noticed the plagiarism and filed a copyright claim, internet historian tweeted about the video's disappearance, but in a kinda suspicious...
Man in Cave got claimed. No fret, but have to make a few changes before I can re-upload it. Okay.
Way. He obviously knew why it got claimed, but he chose not to say why, so his audience could freely speculate amongst themselves for hundreds of posts about all the ridiculous reasons YouTube takes things down. Some of them noticed Pro-Sportority is based out of Israel and got anti-Semitic about it, but ironically so it's fine. What an interesting audience he's built. All this needless speculation has helped to create a smokescreen. People assume the video was taken down for a bullshit reason and there is no clear explanation, when there is one, and he didn't give it to them on purpose. Internet historian has taken videos down before. A lot of them, in fact. Like dozens. None of these seem to be because of plagiarism. He says he just doesn't think they're very good anymore. I think he got a bit of what we in the business...
Do you think that's true, or do you think he's just like a little silly goose that likes to say that he thinks that they're not good anymore?
That's called trolls remorse. Like, oh, maybe this video was inappropriate and normal people would judge me for it. And he got rid of that video that's just a bunch of Tucker Carlson clips and reading a hentai in an extremely racist Japanese man impression. That's not advertiser friendly, and we want those World of Tanks bucks, don't we? But since his fans are, you know, normal cool people, they saved all those old videos, and there are several channels dedicated purely to re-uploading all his old inconvenient stuff. And some of them tried to re-upload Man in Cave and instantly got hit with a copyright claim as well because the video is in YouTube's system now. Here's a screenshot that was posted of one of these claims. The infringing video blatantly and unlawfully plagiarized verbatim text from our article, and the placement, pacing, and presentation of content is almost identical to the article. Speaking from experience, normally claims aren't anywhere near this detailed.
No, but to say, I mean, I've gotten like vague claims before too. That's fucking specific. Somebody watched that.
Owners are not messing around. This is how we found out about the plagiarism. Kat was browsing her drama Reddits, as she does a lot, and she saw a post with this smoking gun in it. It's a
Yo, Kat, you gotta get a real life, girl. I'm not trying to be rude, but you are terminally on a fucking line if you're sitting on Reddit all day. I remember there was somebody, I think I said this before, but there was somebody I know, and I heard that they like to go on Reddit. I just stopped respecting them. I can't. It's impossible. How do I do that? How do I respect somebody who's on fucking Reddit all day? Stop it.
Amazing how easy it is for a story like this to not get spread to a wider audience, even when it's for a video this popular. The furthest the story has got so far is a thread proving it, just sitting in a random subreddit with like 90 upvotes. If Kat hadn't seen this, I wouldn't be talking about it, and you wouldn't know it happened either. So thanks, Kat.
Frankly, I'm not that. I don't care. I don't really give a shit. You know what I mean? It's not a good thing, but it's not my battle, you know?
You're so cool.
I wouldn't know what it's
most
like to
YouTubers
make
in this
good
situation would fight a
content.
copyright claim publicly, arguing their case where everyone could see it, which would force YouTube to take notice and do something about it. People at YouTube on Twitter all the time and get responses and see things fixed. I once tweeted randomly...
Yeah, well, it's fucking annoying that you have to go to Twitter. I've got multiple false multiple false content claim. Community guideline strikes is the word I'm looking for. The term. I think 3 this year. I think 3 of them this year were false. And YouTube knows it because they reversed it. And it's like, holy fuck. But you have to go to Twitter or they won't reverse it. And imagine I didn't know that. Shout out to Daniel Tavius. Dan Tavius. Good content creator. I like him as well. If it turns out he plagiarized something, I will not care. I will still be his friend. We're in love. That is a beautiful thing. I'm going to save this guy because I'm a fucking nice guy. Check it out, pussy. I'm here to fucking save you, punk ass bitch. Come on. Give me the X. Oh, he's not. He's going to die. He's still dead. He's gonna fucking die. I did it. I helped him. Anyway. Yeah.
About an old test video I deleted getting copyright claimed somehow. I didn't even at YouTube about it, and they still found it and asked me for more information. They're pretty diligent about responding to people messaging them on social media with...
Oh, right, but they're only on Twitter. They're in server. They're in, like, if you appeal it inside the fucking program, it doesn't do a goddamn thing. It's annoying as hell.
Internet historian can't start a public case about this because he is in the wrong. He stole an article for money, and bringing attention to it would just broadcast to his audience he did 70 minutes of plagiarism. Right now, not many people know about this, although some of his viewers have noticed how strange it is he's avoiding talking about it. Why isn't he telling his audience who to get mad at and go after? Why is...
I mean, the guy has zero Not to be rude, but that has 0 likes on it, which means that you were sitting there scrolling through the fucking comments all day. It's weird.
Isn't he giving his completely normal fans marching orders? Because he ripped someone off and he doesn't want you to find out. That's why. In May, 2 months after the video disappeared, a new version was uploaded, claiming to be a re-upload of the previous one. But then, 2 days later, it went private. On the Internet Historian Reddit post about the re-upload, the big guy himself wrote about there being some complications. Again, being vague about what's going on. This new version would remain private for about...
I even respond to people on Reddit. I mean, fuck them.
2 months. It's not clear why. In July, while I was making this video, it finally came back up, but only unlisted. You can watch it, but it doesn't show up in a search or your recommendations. You can't watch this video now unless you know it exists and go looking for it and get the link from somewhere else. This new version has quite a few changes. It opens with this new clip explaining what happened, but in the vaguest way possible.
Sorry for the re-upload, fellas. The original got copy struck.
Again, we have a comment about it being copy struck, but no explanation why. He's still hiding what happened, in a pretty sneaky way this time. You see, this graphic of the copy strike has been edited. The notice on the video actually looks like this. It shows who made the copyright claim, but obviously he doesn't want people looking up the company behind it, because then people will find out why the video is unavailable. So now he's editing screenshots to try to hide what he did. The re-upload uses mostly the same animation and tells the same story, but lots of the voiceover has been rewritten to try to sound less like the article. Here's a section I showed you earlier.
I quit smoking pot. Am I proud? Yes, pot's bad for you, dude. Don't smoke marijuana. Okay, don't do it. I don't do that.
His left arm was pinned underneath his torso, his right wedged by the rock ceiling above.
Now here's the HD remaster.
His right arm is wedged against the roof.
Are you seriously fucking watched who watched it?
Of the cave, and his left is stuck in place underneath his torso.
Shit.
He flipped the order he talked about the arms and reworded how he talked about them. He hasn't really solved the overall plagiarism, he just changed the words more than last time.
Well, clearly he did, if they allowed it back up.
Beneath him, sharp crystal shards dug into his skin. He can feel the sharp crystals on the ground poking into his back. Floyd tried to breathe calmly. Floyd took slow, steady breaths, so he removes his suit, drapes himself in coveralls, and grabs a lamp. Miller thinks for a moment, then says, yeah, all right. He grabs a lantern.
In the past, we've seen people reword stuff they stole and hope they don't get caught. But now we're getting a special treat. We get to watch someone go back and try to change it even more. Like, no, we already know you stole this now. You can't take it back and pretend you didn't.
But Floyd didn't really answer any of his questions.
Happens to the best of us, guys. One time when I was at the mall when I was a kid, I stole a Snorlax ring. It was $1, but I was so racked with guilt I brought it back. My mom was confused. So weird. What's the L take, dude? What are you talking about? Oh, smoking weed? Shut the fuck up, pussy.
In fact, he was incoherent. So Miller took a few mental notes, and he left. But Floyd didn't really answer any of his questions. There's nothing Miller can do. So he hurriedly turns around. Homer, Floyd, and the rope lay limp on the cave floor. Floyd fell back down. Homer, Miller, Burden, and the other 3 men were flat on their backs.
I want to get across how much worse written this version is. Riley's article has a chilling section about Floyd spending an entire day trapped screaming for help. He began a tormenting routine. Sleep, wake, scream. Sleep, wake, scream. Sleep, wake, scream. Minutes melted into hours. His voice disappeared. His arms tingled numb. Pain radiated up his ankle.
I'm scared.
This is vivid storytelling. I can feel myself going insane, even imagining being trapped there for 25 hours. It's a really good passage. Internet Historian liked it too, so he stole it.
He's at the start of a very tiring loop. Sleep.
That was just funny the way he said it. Got me.
Wake, yell. Sleep, wake, yell. Hours passed. His voice gave in. Arms tingled numb. Pain radiating up his ankle. Here he remained in the dark for the next 23
I mean,
hours.
it's a very compelling line, man. You almost have to plagiarize it. It's so good, you know?
Now, in the remake, he has to tell the same story, but with completely new words, so we get this.
So there's Floyd in the dark, yelling out for help, yelling into the pitch black. After a while, his voice would give out, and he would have to sleep to recuperate. He would then wake sometime later, remember where he is, and begin yelling again for help. Here he remained in the dark.
Damn, isn't that fucked up? Could you imagine? Could you imagine being this guy pinned? Didn't James Franco play him? I don't know. Could you imagine being somebody who's like pinned down in some kind of an emergency situation and you're kind of just sitting there and you fall asleep and maybe you have a beautiful dream. You have a beautiful dream about some woman's big, beautiful titties on your face or something. And then you wake up disoriented and you are just back in almost death. You know what I mean? That would be so fucked up. That'd be so fucked up, man. That would be terrible.
For the next 23 hours.
It's just not as effective. The feeling of being stuck in that cycle for dozens of hours is gone. It's quite difficult to take a story you got from an article and tell it again without using any of the words you liked.
Floyd has been exploring the caves of Kentucky since he was merely 6 years old.
Oh, I guess I can't mention Kentucky now. That makes it obvious. Better re-record.
Floyd started his caving career at the tender age of 6.
Some of the changes give away how uncreative he was, just how much he relied on Riley's work, even with the most basic shit. He used his words about someone's hands being bruised and purple.
Parts were harder to navigate than before, especially now with their bruised and purple hands.
So in the new version, this had to be changed.
Parts were harder.
I'd say his battered and bruised hands. You know, something like that.
to navigate them before, doubly so with their bruised and rock-shredded hands.
Why would you not just write a new description of some hands in the first place? This is so lazy. What is wrong with this guy? And despite all these changes, the factual errors about the cave and the rock are still the same. It's like this version was made to annoy me. It's especially hard to make major changes when you already made the animations. It's almost impossible to remove Lucas's influence without doing so much work it's not even worth it. For example, the gopher section has been completely removed since it was directly copying an anecdote from the article. He's replaced it with a new segment, which is just C-tier reference.
Why the fuck is Wendigoon in here so much? Just like he likes him, I guess? I mean, he's a cool guy. I just wonder.
He would go off on his own, disappearing into the caves for many hours at a time. Have you seen that movie, The Descent? It was a lot like that.
Holy crap, Lois, this is just like that movie. Some of Riley's article was too short and simple to meaningfully change, so those parts have just been taken out.
And all they could do was leave for now and reassess. Everybody was shaken by the experience. Burton fainted as he crawled towards the exit. Most of the other men had to be carried away, and all they could do was leave for now and rest.
Since it can't use any of the clever words it stole anymore, the whole thing's been dumbed down.
Now, Floyd was trapped in a supine position. So Floyd is trapped...
Yeah, I feel bad for Floyd, man. Justice for him. You know, thank God they jailed that cop.
Laying down like this.
Imagine sitting down to watch your favorite show and the streaming service has replaced it with a different cut where all the characters talk like idiots now.
You made me look bad, and that's not good.
I feel bad for the people who enjoyed the original. People in the comments and on the Reddit page are asking why he changed it and why all their favorite lines are missing. They don't know why because he didn't tell them. Why
are they actually?
In the comments and on
there were a lot of changes. I used to listen to
the Reddit page are asking why he changed it and why all their favorite lines are missing. They don't know why because he didn't tell them. Why is the new version of the video unlisted and not public? Well, it could be because it's a lot worse, but mainly, by being so much worse, it kind of gives away what he did. This video's fans obviously want it back up, but if it goes back up and it's obviously much worse written now, the 10+ million people who saw it the first time, potentially even more than once, will wonder why it's different and look into why and maybe find out.
Yeah,
but if it stays down, people will wonder why it's down and look into why and find out. It's like he's trying to delay the inevitable wider discovery of what he did.
Yeah, you know what's interesting? Is that this is drama YouTube. And I'm here for it. But this Hbomberguy, I think he thinks he's not a drama YouTuber, but he is. He's not saying anything that hasn't really been said before. And he's saying it in a way that's just going to continue. Like, it's not, like, listen, people fuck up. They do stupid shit. Sometimes people do bad things, right? And then hopefully they move on and they get better. But specifically with this other guy, internet historian, where he's like apparently plagiarized this video and he put it down, put it back up. This guy's like, I want you to know about it. You know what I mean? It's drama. It's just a little drama. It's a little dramatic. It's a little you know, it's a little bisexual. I don't know. It's a little like, let's do the tea, sis. I love it. I'm just saying. So.
By letting the video exist, but as quietly as possible, so no one wonders where the video went, but not too many people see it and notice the difference.
Does this internet historian guy do this a lot? Like, what's going on? You know what I mean?
It's a precarious situation, and I don't envy him, but he does deserve it. Right now, he looks like a plagiarist and a liar, and a coward who's willing to ruin his own video and let it gather dust unlisted in the corner to try and hide what he did. To be fair, the new version now actually cites Riley's article. Whenever a section was too difficult to change, but too significant to remove, he keeps it in and cites the article at the bottom. In the original, there were several places where he quoted the same sources Riley quoted, and in this version, just to be safe, he also cites the article to make it clear that's where he got it. The description of this version also acknowledges the talented Mr. Riley and links to his work. This would have been cool if he'd done all this the first time and not tried to hide it, but this is like if Filip re-uploaded a very slightly changed version of the plagiarized videos and just put thanks to Boomstick Gaming in the description. It's too late to hide what he's done, though that hasn't stopped him from trying. Oh, late breaking update. A couple weeks ago, the Man in Cave re-upload became public again. I wondered how he would stop people noticing its weird changes. Then, days later, he uploaded this year's new video, so people's attention is onto the next thing now. The only people who really noticed the video coming back are the hardcore fans. This was a real clever boy move. If I wanted to sneak my weird...
He put a bunch of effort into the animation, but it's just a copy-paste script. That's fair. Yeah, it seems like that's what it is. Does he do the animation, or does like his team do the animation? I wonder. I don't know.
He changed re-upload back out without too many people noticing. This is how I'd do it, and all I'd have to do next was hope no one ever makes the video I'm making right now.
Oh, what, have you thought about it before? You thought about plagiarizing before, dude?
Now. Oops. Right, my eyes have gone fuzzy, so it's time to get back up. My knees really hurt too. Okay, I threw out an IKEA Poang to make room for this beanbag chair, and it's rubbish. I love sacks full of balls, but not this much. Don't get a beanbag chair.
Oh, God. Jesus.
Hey, the mic's still out of frame. That's nice, that never happens. I don't know, a proper apology would be nice. And maybe an explanation for why it happened. As far as I can tell, this is the only video where he's just ripped
Why? Who cares? Like, not to be an asshole, but in this case, like, why do you need an apology for something that's not about you? It's about the person that he stole it from. You know what I mean? It's like, why are you taking it so personally?
Like this. I hope. You know, why
I
did
guess
he do it?
He's just a plagiarism purist. That's probably what he'd say. It makes sense.
For this one. Really, I just want to know where he got £33. I'm a simple man with simple needs. Yorkshire puddings with a little bit of gravy on top, and explanations for discrepancies in numbers. My parents never took me to see a psychologist, so I assume that's normal. In the meantime, I'm very happy to accept the award for Jack's Film's second best video of 2022. The version from 2022 is gone. Get it off the list, Jack. Bump me up. Now, what's the first place one? And how do I destroy it? Oh, it's the steamed hams one where an animator did like a million different styles. That one's really good. And it even tells you which styles it's doing and when in the description. This cartoon cites its sources better than half the stuff I covered in this video. Well, I guess I'll settle for second place. this time. So there we have it, a bunch of examples of plagiarism, why it happens, why it's wrong, and all the ways it can result in destructive results. With these 4 examples, I think I'm ready to reach some kind of conclusion. Just don't touch the screen or move the mouse. Ugh. There's no way you haven't seen the runtime. You've probably guessed what's coming. Where's the part where he turns out to be on a green screen and the video's about someone else? Congratulations, you figured it out. You know all my tricks. The student becomes the master. Master of shit!
What is next? Like, what else is there? A twist you expected, and what is it?
It's real the whole time! Ah! Last time I wanted to research one thing and tripped and learned too much. This time I had the breakdown and worked backwards. We understand why this shit is wrong now and the damage it can do. The piles of money people make from stealing other people's words and ideas and
I mean, I feel like everybody already knew plagiarism was bad. You didn't really explain to us how it was bad, which is you just kind of showed us people who did it. But okay.
But there's one group more important than historians or journalists or anyone else with a real job, and that's gay people. You know what's worse than stealing from established journalists who in the end are doing okay? Stealing from small queer writers or creators from marginalized groups who weren't even paid for their work in the first place. Stealing from the writings of dead people who passed away doing the activism you pretend to do. Stealing from the very people who fund your videos. The people who claim
all right, dude. All right, now I see it. He's a Hassan mod, dude.
To be defending.
Holy fuck.
This video is about James Somerton.
I don't know who that is.
James Somerton is a gay YouTuber with a degree in business administration who frequently refers to himself as a marketing expert.
I'm a YouTuber, marketing expert, and film school grad. I'm also gay.
Cool. In 2014, he briefly made videos about geek stuff, reviewing Marvel movies and so on. Several years later, when video essays became a popular format, he started making those with a focus on queer characters in media and LGBT film history, and occasionally anime, such as this really successful video about the fascism of Attack on Titan, which has mysteriously disappeared. Where did it go? I wonder what happened there. Somerton is doing great by the standards of queer.
Oh shit, did someone steal it? I mean, did he steal it? Something got stolen.
YouTube, in terms of views, ad revenue, sponsorships, Patreon income, and donations on his live streams, the man is doing extremely well financially in a field where people generally struggle to do this full time. In many ways, James Somerton is a success story our entire community should be proud of. Not to rain on this pride parade, but whenever I saw a video by James in my recommendations, I would have to stop watching because it quickly became clear to me he didn't know what he was talking about. The first video of his I ever saw was about Disney's relationship with the queer community, and in it...
It's shit. He seems to have an issue beforehand with all the people that he's criticizing. I wonder if there's a pattern there. I don't know.
He claims Disney set up an event called Gay Night and claimed to give the profits to charity, but actually kept the money.
During the 1990s, Disney's parks also tried profiting from their LGBT fans by creating Gay Night, a one-night-a-year event at parks where LGBT folk would
I feel like Disney's gay enough. You really need to make a gay night, you know? It's fucking super gay. I go there constantly. That's how I know it's gay. I'm gonna make a fucking gay night? That's crazy.
Main guests. It was a big hit. Initially, the revenue was all to be donated to the Aid for AIDS Foundation, but by 1995, donations to the charity had dried up. Disney was keeping all of the profits for themselves.
He's misremembering a really well-known event. Gay Night was not set up by Disney, they didn't sanction it. A travel agency rented the park out for the night, and they kept the money they were supposed to.
Dudes, that's terrible. I'm so curious about this Gay Night, though. Kind of cool sound. I would unironically enjoy like a Gay Night thing at Disney. I would go just check it out. Like I've done the Christmas event, I've done the Halloween event, I've done the firework snack thing. I'll do it. I'll do a gay event.
To have donated. This is a bit sloppy, but then he claims the more progressive CEO Bob Iger expanded Gay Nights into full Gay Day events.
Under his stewardship, Disney switched from the
No gays during the day, just at night. That's the rule in this household.
Year Gay Night at Disney
hey, what's up, bro?
To the full Gay Days event, rebranding the occasion into a more family-friendly affair.
Now, obviously, Iger couldn't rebrand something Disney wasn't doing and had no control over.
Yeah, there's no way that Disney would do a gay night, because I just feel like if Disney did an actual gay thing this robustly, I would know about it, because the fucking conservatives would be melting down.
Gay Days is actually a completely separate event, which is also unofficial and unsanctioned by Disney. Also, it started before Gay Night and 15 years before Iger became CEO. It's kind of impressive how wrong this was. He's giving fucking Disney credit for the actions of independent queer people. It really downplays the work that people put into organizing stuff like Gay Days. It's super disappointing, honestly. The first official Disney Pride Night happened this year, 3 years after he made this video. That's how far off the mark he was on this. Whenever I saw another Somerton video in the wild, I'd give it another shot.
I'm surprised I haven't heard conservatives cry about it. Is that why there were a bunch of Nazis like hanging out outside because they made a gay night?
Quickly have to give up again. In his Yuri on Ice video, he claimed the show never went into explicitly gay territory because it aired early in the evening on Japanese television, and there's a law on the books preventing showing homosexuality that early.
Japan has certain laws.
Dude, somebody made fun of me, called me a pause Andy, bro. What does that mean? Are you telling me I'm not supposed to pause, dude? I'm so confused. I don't know how to do React content anymore. Fuck.
Time of night a queer-centric show can actually be aired on TV. This show was slated for an earlier time slot in the night because it's first and foremost a sports anime. In order for the quiet part to be as loud as the creator wanted, it would have to have had a much later time slot.
What's the appeal to sports animes? I see the one that's about basketball and volleyball, and I don't get it. How do you make an anime out of that? That's cool. I don't really get that.
The network wanted.
This is a common myth made up by Western fans of the show to explain why it wasn't gayer. They wanted to, but it was illegal. How convenient. But that law doesn't work that way, and even if it did, Yuri on Ice aired at 2:30 a.m. in the morning, the gay witching hour. They could do whatever they wanted. But now I see people continuing to spread this lie, linking Somerton's video as proof it's true. James is helping to reinforce misinformation by not checking whatever he hears on Twitter before he spreads it, which is a bit concerning. Basically, I can't really watch James's videos because I care a lot about the stuff he talks about, and I can tell he's not really checked what he's saying, and that really gets to me.
I should hit play and go to the bathroom, true.
Normally in this situation, I would just not watch his videos and live my life, but over the last couple of years, Somerton has been...
I feel like that's not normal for you. I feel like you need to tell people about it, which is not, you do your thing. I mean, I complain about people too. I'm just saying, like, don't pretend that you You're fucking eating it up. You made a whole goddamn video section about this guy because you were so offended by it. That's okay. Just don't fucking lie to us. Be like, oh, normally I would not care. This whole video is about plagiarism. You care a lot. This is like your Disney for me. I'm a Disney adult.
Repeatedly accused of plagiarism. In response, Somerton has claimed he never ripped off anyone, and the times he did weren't even that bad anyway.
If I had been plagiarizing videos, I wouldn't have...
He kind of looks like he's disabled. Like, not... I didn't mean like in a bad way. I meant like, he looks like he's sitting in a chair that you control with your mouth, doesn't he? I'll put it on the screen, just so you can see it better. Right? Maybe it's just me. I don't know.
Have a channel. I would be called out all the time by people saying he stole my shit, but I don't plagiarize. The one time that there actually was plagiarism, it was by mistake, and I fixed it immediately. And it is no longer in my video.
Very based.
And the other two accusations, one was silly.
That's an interesting way of saying you didn't.
Oh, you
when 3 or 4 separate videos have 3 or 4 separate plagiarism controversies attached. There's not 3 or 4.
Somerton is telling the truth here. There are not 3 or 4 accusations.
Oh, there's
Whenever
more.
Allegations are brought up, however, a fan of his will normally pop up to accuse them of harassing a gay man and claim this is all part of a deliberate homophobic campaign against a queer creator. And as an open bisexual who knows
That's what I say. All those are homophobic, man. Why do you need a fucking law for? It's crazy.
What the internet is like, I'm vigilant to the possibility the phobes are making a fuss about nothing again to take down a fellow gay boy. It does happen, so keeping this possibility in mind, I looked at what he'd been accused of for myself, weighed up all the evidence as objectively as I could, and it quickly became clear he did do it. He's a massive plagiarist. In fact, there's a bunch of stuff no one else has found yet. He just convinced his audience to attack people when they notice. And the worst part is, they do it in the name of defending a gay creator, when many of the people he has financially benefited from stealing from are queer themselves. I've never seen anyone try to put together a full explanation of what exactly happened here, because his fans will threaten you into silence for trying, which means there is no solid body of evidence to point to, so James can freely lie about what happened without anyone to contradict him. I'd like to take the opportunity to go through what happened here, so people can see what happened without it being filtered through James and make up their own minds. So let's clear all this up once and for all, shall we? In July 2020, Somerton uploaded Evil Queens, a queer look at Disney history, a 1 hour and 8-minute video about Disney's relationship with the queer community. This original upload of the video has since been deleted for reasons which will become clear. As the video reached its audience...
Was it plagiarism, dude? Oh, dude, I never would have expected it.
Some viewers began noticing similarities between the video and the book Tinkerbells and Evil Queens by Sean P. Griffin. James opens with a present-day example of Disney being bad about gay content on their platforms, and then says we need to explore Disney's history of doing this. The next 45 minutes are almost word for...
You know what's interesting? Somebody told me something about how all the bad guys in Disney and really any media, it's they're usually something. They're usually a little different. Maybe they're gay or fat or something, or disabled in some capacity, and it helps perpetuate the idea that people who are deviate from the norm are bad guys. And I was like, wow, that's so interesting. Now I know who to blame for my hatred of other people. I've been psyoped by Disney to hate people. It's not my own fault.
Word taken from Griffin's book.
Fantasy is often described as a method of escape from the trials and tribulations of everyday reality. Living in a society that has outlawed homosexual desire, categorized it as a medical Shmi, is constantly at Hook's side. And although Hook is the maniacal master of the relationship, Shmi is obviously his prospects brighten though when he overhears of a young man cub who is wandering alone in the jungle. He whispers to himself, "How delightful," and vows to arrange a rendezvous with the boy.
Most of this video is just James reading a book into the camera.
In the number, Ursula uses various methods to convince Ariel to sell her soul, from looking sorry and saint-like to shimmying madly in excitement.
Throughout this video, James uses parts of the book where Griffin quotes someone else. Like here, this is from an essay by Cynthia Erb. James just keeps reading and doesn't tell you he's quoting anyone, and even changes it slightly, almost like he knows it's wrong and is trying to get away with it.
In its use of vocalist Pat Carroll's ability to slide up and down the musical register, from shrieks to baritones, Poor Unfortunate Souls is an unmistakable send-up of the campy female impersonation numbers of underground.
I liked Poor Unfortunate Souls. I thought it was a good song. I really enjoyed it.
Queer films in the early days of Hollywood.
When he rips off Griffin quoting more well-known writers like Susan Sontag, he reads them out and puts the quote on screen. It looks like when he thinks he can get away with it, he passes obscure writers' words off as his own. He's already stealing from Griffin, why stop there? Somerton reuses a section of the book where Griffin quotes gay journalist and activist Jack Babuccio, who passed away of AIDS in 1990. Griffin explains who he is and discusses his quote, mentioning by name repeatedly. You know, the way you quote someone and discuss what they said. Somerton removes all mention and discussion of Babuccio, but he still steals everything he says.
And amping up that depiction to an 11. Camp, by focusing on the outward appearance of a role, implies that roles, and in particular gender roles, are superficial. A matter of style.
He then skips a few paragraphs since the book discusses what Babuccio meant by this, and that would give away James didn't write it. I didn't even think it was possible, but somehow James managed to steal 2 queer authors' words at once. He copied a book word for word, and even removed mention of the people being quoted so it sounded like he was saying their words too. That's not something you do.
That's plagiarism, dude. Isn't that just what plagiarism is?
By mistake. That's something you do when you want to take the credit, which he does. In future videos, James talks about Evil Queens as if it was all his ideas.
But other movies require a bit more digging. In Evil Queens, I talked about the queerness of the 90s Renaissance Disney movies, especially Aladdin and the Lion King. When I first mentioned this to people, they thought I was crazy. Then I explained it to them, and they came around to seeing it my way.
And everyone clapped. James claims this video is his work and a weird, bold new approach to media, when it's word for word from a 20-year-old book. It's ridiculous. He appears to have found and replaced words.
I mean, it's 20 years old. Who fucking reads books anyway, dork, you know?
Like gay and homosexual to queer or LGBT.
Another narrative strand in Disney's films that would have a great appeal to the queer community is the tale of the outside, labeled it as a sin against God and allowed and often encouraged violent acts against LGBT people, Queer culture has unsurprisingly embraced queer culture, particularly gay male culture, has long held a fascination with fantasy. The close association of gay men to the world of fantasy has attributed to some of the most common insults for gay men in Western culture.
Somerton never mentioned the book or its author anywhere. There was nothing in the credits, the description, no citations, no mention of his name, nothing. When YouTubers use a book as a major source of research, usually they mention it or put it in the background on their set. He did film himself next to a book, but it's not Tinkerbell's. It's Disney War, a commonly cited source in videos covering Disney stuff. He's trying to—
I'm in the game. I'm trying to ask him to help me with Magadai, and he's not helping me. He's a fucking bot.
Look like he did research without giving away where he got all the words he's saying. Eventually, a Twitter user who noticed the similarities started comparing the works closely and wrote a thread showcasing hundreds and hundreds of words worth of examples of—
Are you sure it wasn't you? Did you do it? Did you hire somebody to do it so that you can make a video about it? Say it was somebody else so you don't seem like you're a little obsessed? I mean, I'm here for it. I'm here for it, dude. That's fine.
Video directly copying Griffin's book. She eventually asked him why he didn't credit it, and he responded that he hadn't started crediting source materials yet when he made the video.
Kind of based. There was a time where I didn't credit people. Well, I did. I mean, you could see the video on the screen and stuff, but I didn't put it this explicitly in the description, right? But I do that now. So
then finally added a reference to the book to the description almost 2 months after it had been
watched the video, seem checked out. What are you talking about? I don't see checked out at all. What the fuck are you talking about?
Uploaded. He'd gone with the internet historian method. Put an acknowledgement of your theft in the description.
That's why I don't like you, dude. You're the guy earlier that said I don't like you. Oh, you're right. I hate you. You're a fucking asshole. You're fucking lying to my audience. What are you talking about?
Later and pretend that makes—
I'm pretty engaged in this, I feel like.
Feeling okay. The thread's author thanked him for admitting it, but pointed out adding a line of text near the bottom of the description is deceptive, considering the sheer amount of writing he copied. It looked like he was trying to get away with it by hiding some text somewhere no one would see. In response, he did the professional adult thing and blocked her and started tweeting vaguely about being wrongly accused of plagiarism, even though he always credits authors in the video description, which is a very funny thing to say when he didn't do that until the person he's currently complaining about pointed out he didn't. In just over a day, James went from saying, "Whoops, I'll put his name in the description, learning as I go, smiley face," to "I always credit authors in video descriptions, fuck off with your accusations." He also made a YouTube community post with the same text as the tweets. However, this turned out to be a Streisand'ian bargain, because people started asking what he was being criticized for.
Oh shit, that's why you don't ever acknowledge criticism.
Where it gets really interesting. James responded to one of them with a new example. Something like this had already happened before. James had made a video called Unrequited, The History of Queervating, and this video had also been accused of stealing from a documentary called The Celluloid Closet. So this wasn't even the first time he'd been caught doing something like this. The author of the thread noticed this comment and looked at the description of the Unrequited video, and there was a note hidden towards the bottom thanking The Celluloid Closet in a familiarly vague way. Somerton had been caught stealing something before, and he tried to get away with it the same way, by hiding something in the description. The comment section was full of people saying thanking the documentary in the description wasn't good enough since he copied a shit ton of it. She then tweeted she was considering comparing The Celluloid Closet and Unrequited side by side like she'd done with Evil Queens. It looks like James saw this tweet and realized someone was about to prove he'd done plagiarism in multiple videos, because suddenly he set both Unrequited and Evil Queens to private so no one could watch them, and made a post announcing this. The thread's author mentioned this happened and included these screenshots of the announcement. Let's put this on a timeline. This tweet came almost exactly 12 hours after saying she was thinking of checking the other video. In her screenshot, the announcement was only 11 hours.
What's the video about? It's about plagiarism. It's about a lot of just different plagiarism on YouTube. And we got a little bit of, we got a little bit of a reference. Damn it, you can't even tab target off? That's fucking broken. We got a little bit of a reference to Bo Blacks. And I suppose the rest of the drama YouTubers. Not me, of course. I'm not a drama YouTuber.
I was old. James hid Unrequited within an hour of someone saying they were thinking of checking it for plagiarism. That's not—
What's my opinion on plagiarism? It's obviously bad. Plagiarism's obviously bad. I don't think it's a good thing. Pretty base take, am I right? Now, obviously plagiarism is bad and it's wrong and it needs to be policed. I don't personally care like a whole lot about it, but obviously we need to have systems in place to avoid plagiarism.
Suspect at all. In his post, he explained he was the victim of a targeted harassment campaign, had received death threats, and he hid these videos because he didn't want people who want him dead seeing them. In the comments section, he also claimed the thread's author had been harassing and attacking him for the last 48.
Why? What are they going to do? They're going to use the video to kill you more? What are they going to do? What are they going to find out? Doesn't even make sense.
Hours on Twitter, and her followers had been hunting down his home and work addresses. Any harassment or threats Somerton may have received are unconscionable and wrong. I want to clarify right now that if anyone harasses Somerton on my behalf, they are worse than him and will not see the light of heaven. I must underscore, however, the original author was—
Well, listen, I'm not trying to be that guy. But I don't know if a gay guy can really tell me if I'm getting into heaven or not. Okay, I love the gays, and I'm not really very religious because of the homophobia. Okay, but I feel like if we're going to be lore accurate, I don't know. I don't know if you could do it. I question it.
Not unnecessarily rude in her criticisms, was straightforward and polite when speaking to James directly, and when he talked about harassment, she was very clear where she stood on that as well. Somerton accused her of personally stalking him anyway, and starting a harassment campaign against him, threatening his life and trying to track down his address with her obscure thread of tweets. The author's account was very small at the time, with less than 150 followers, and barely anyone had seen the thread until Somerton accused it of trying to kill him. Instead of addressing his mistake head on and holding himself accountable, Somerton span a narrative about how the most—
I would too if I was his fan. I would be like, who's this guy trying to kill my favorite content creator? And then I'd find that, and then I'd go, oh shit. I'd probably be stupid, though, and interpret it wrong, because most people are dumb, right? I would interpret it wrong, and I'd be like, wait, no, you're still wrong, you know?
Critic he could have possibly gotten was the head of a targeted campaign against him, while trying to hide the evidence. On the other hand, the author of this thread has received a lot of harassment from Somerton's fans over the years, to the point they eventually changed their username and locked their account. You literally can't see these tweets anymore. When I managed to contact her with questions, she asked me to reference her as little as possible because she's afraid of it starting again. Somerton's fans believed they were defending him from someone threatening his life, remember? So they were pretty fucking vicious about it. And that is what he was telling them. When he made a video addressing the plagiarism...
He was saying that she was trying to kill him, basically. So, of course, they would be. Maybe he wanted that. Maybe he was trying to get them to bully the fuck out of her so she would stop criticizing him. You know, pretty based. I'm just kidding. Not based. Very terrible, but...
He titled it, About Those Death Threats.
Somebody watched my Evil Queens video, my video about Disney.
Come on, bro. You can't be doing this angle. This is called a Decepticon angle. I think people need to understand that. When you take your camera and you put it up like this, that is the Decepticon angle. All right, please be an Autobot, especially since, you know, sometimes, listen, I might not be attractive, but I have never Decepticoned myself. I try to, if anything, I'll come down here, you know, because then when you go on a date with a girl for the first time, she can't tell you that you misrepresented yourself. But I can't tell you how many girls that were Decepticon where I saw them on Tinder and I met them and I was like, damn, how could you do this to me? I'd still have sex with them, though, because I have no fucking values, you know?
And realized that there are quotes in the video that are directly taken from the book Tinkerbells and Evil Queens. They went ahead and started accusing me of plagiarism. Somebody read their thread and decided to message me some death threats, as you do on the internet. I think she has something like 154 Twitter followers, something like that.
That's more... See, you look at that. You got it for like a second. You got the normal angle for a second. Look. Here's the Decepticon angle.
On the internet. I think she has something...
There you go. A whole different person. That's a new man. It's a new man.
Like 154 Twitter followers, something like that.
Watch, boom. See, he noticed it. He noticed the cut.
Some of the people of that 154...
He noticed this additional chin is showing. There's nothing wrong with that. I have multiple chins, but I have a beard. Smart stuff.
Hey, let's threaten to kill him. But yeah, that's the situation. That's why someone doxed me and threatened to kill me.
He claimed he simply forgot to credit the book, which made up the vast majority of his script.
I'm kind of flighty when a video is done and I'm putting the credits together, so I don't always remember to put everything in the credits. That's kind of been a problem with me in the past. That has happened before.
He then compared his video to serious documentaries and how they're often based on books.
You know, like a lot of documentaries, they're based on books that come out. And so, yes, going forward, I just want you to know my videos may well be based off of books.
Normally, you get permission to adapt people's books into documentaries before you make them and release them to the public for money. It's really hard not to see this for what it is. A guy making up a series of bad excuses after being caught plagiarizing. Let's just think about this for a second. If James was honestly adapting a book, why would he film himself on his set for an hour sitting next to a different book and not even think to mention the book he's adapting even exists? Somerton went out of his way not to...
I would just start with, hey, here's the book I'm referencing. Hey guys, check this book out I'm referencing. You should go read it yourself, but I'm going to paraphrase it anyway. Let's be honest, they probably weren't going to read that fucking book anyway, but you should still reference it.
Primary source, so people wouldn't read it and realize he copied it.
So yeah, I guess what I'm just trying to say is that yes, there are quotes in the video and sections of the video that are taken from the book. It's not entirely based off that. There's, you know, most of what's in the video is my own original content.
How does he?
It's funny because I feel like if he had just referenced the book and he was like, you know, I read this book. I don't know why you wouldn't just do that. That's the problem. He's probably thought too much of himself. But if you were just like, you know, guys, I read this book and it had this very interesting concept about being. I think what I had said before, funny enough, was what the book was about. But like, hey, it was about particular subject matter, and I'm gonna relay it to you because I loved it so much. You should read it. I think that could have been very positive. I like my guy. He's wearing fucking. I'm looking pretty snazzy with my white pants on and my white cape.
Explain what he did to the quote from Miucin. He doesn't even try.
And if you don't want to support me anymore because not everything is entirely my original thoughts, then that's fine. I would never, at the time.
He's being very passive aggressive right now.
That amount of research for a YouTube video.
This video and all his YouTube posts about the plagiarism accusations were deleted soon after. I think Somerton realized there was no decent explanation for what he had done, so trying to explain it made him look worse. Instead, he started tweeting that he'd sent the video to the author to ask for permission to put the video up again. He was finally asking permission to do what he already did months ago. I'm curious how he explained all of this to Griffin.
Hey, listen, isn't that what they say? They say you should ask. You should. What's the line? I forget the line and by who it's from. I'm going to plagiarize this line. Or I mean paraphrase, sorry. You know, it's easier to ask God to forgive you than it is to ask for permission or something. Isn't that what you know what I'm talking about?
It sounds like Griffin asked to be credited properly because the old version of Evil Queens never came back up. Instead, a new one was uploaded. This version is exactly the same as the old one, except it has, based on the book by Sean Griffin, hastily added to the opening credits. In the span of a few days, the video graduated from not acknowledging the book anywhere to using it as a major source of research to finally being based on it. In the years since this happened, Somerton has come up with new lies about it to try to make himself look better. On a recent
why even talk about it? Why even talk about it anymore?
Live stream, someone brought up the old allegations, and his version of the story is that he always had permission from Griffin before he even made the video.
For the Evil Queens one, like I said, that was based directly on the book. That was word for word from the book. And that's why before doing the video...
What a weirdo. Why double down on that? I'm going to pee real quick, and I'm not going to leave the video running, though. I'm not that guy. You know what's weird? You know what really bothers me? When I ask somebody, like, hey, what time is it? And they say, oh, like 9:30, 10. It's just, like, annoying. Like, why don't you just tell me that it's 9:40? You know? Kind of bothers me. Anyway, let's get back into this mamma jamma.
I got permission from the author to do it. But I did have full permission from him before making the video.
The tweet about how he literally had to take the video down and ask permission afterwards is still up. Anyone can fact check this. I want to observe that if this was an honest mistake, James had the opportunity to be honest about it and chose to lie. Looks a bit like a dishonest mistake to me. He also pretends he credited Griffin in the description in the first place, and the person who criticized him simply didn't notice.
In the original version of Evil Queens, the citation was in the description of the video and not in the video itself, and that was the issue. They didn't read the description. And so why
don't you guys just stop caring that you make mistakes? I mean, that's the thing, is that a lot of people feel like they have to be flawless on the internet. Sorry, I thought there was like a bug on the wall. Screwed me out. But then I feel like also sometimes, I don't know this guy's content, but, you know, especially people with a little bit of cancel, you know, pearl clutchy energy, they tend to have an audience that doesn't really allow for you to make mistakes. You know what I mean? So
took down the video and I put it back up, and somebody didn't acknowledge the based on the book by in the comments, so I took the video down and put it back up with the author in the opening titles.
Again, his reply to her where he acknowledged he hadn't and was going to is still up. For reasons I don't understand, James likes to tell obvious lies that make him look worse. This is why I felt it was important.
Maybe he gets off to it, just shame kink. I don't know. Maybe he's a little horny. I don't know.
Important to make this video documenting the evidence. Currently, the only version of events people are likely to hear is his. Even if it's easily disproven, who's disproving it? The person who noticed the plagiarism in the first place was threatened into non-existence by his fans, leaving his lies as the last story standing. There's also another reason why I'm not buying the "it was based on a book" excuse.
And then there was a video I made about Disney that was based directly on a book that I got the permission from the author to make the video.
Let's take that at face value. Jesus. Okay, so this video is based on this book. Based on it. Word for word.
That was word for word from the book.
This is a lie, of course. He changed quotes so it sounds like he's saying them and altered a bunch of other words to try to make it sound different, but let's pretend it was for a second. Is it possible he really was just trying to adapt the book? James insists this is the case. But at this point, I'm not sure I can trust him when he says things. The author of the thread was just comparing the video to the one book she noticed, and mentions around the 53-minute mark he moves on to stuff not covered widely by the book, like Mulan.
Disney's Mulan is, however unintentionally, a queer narrative.
First of all, it's a little bit weird that his video word for word adapting the book stops adapting it and starts winging it partway through. But let me ask you this. Wouldn't it be really fucking...
Well, I mean, that would probably be his justifier. I mean, here's the thing. Is that listen, I don't know how much of what we're talking about, you know. But if he did like the fundamental concept of this piece of media, this book about queer people and whatever, why didn't he just say that? I mean, it's even more of a reason to just reference it and then add on to it. Be like, I'm going to reference it. I'm going to give you 2 examples, whatever, from the book, and then I'm going to go on to my own. And I could see that, because here's the thing. What was the guy's name that was really attracted to Mulan? It's like, how fucking disappointed did you think that he was when he realized that the man he fell in love with was a fucking woman? That's fucked up. That's really fucked up. If anything, I think that Mulan is a movie about the dangers of not telling someone you're trans before you fuck them. If you think about it, that might be it. That might be it. All right, so tell me next time. I'll still fall in love with you. Okay, I'll still fall in love with you. But don't worry about it.
Fucking bad for him if it turned out he also stole the new stuff from somewhere else. Yeah, it is bad, because he did!
Disney's Mulan is, however unintentionally, a queer narrative that explores both gender identity and sexual orientation. It is not, as it is often simplistically described, a story about a disempowered woman who becomes empowered by masculinity.
It's almost impressive.
Well, I don't know, that might be couldn't it be both? Or maybe you're just kind of interpreting a meaning from it. I feel like back then, people were, when it came to that gay part, when it turned out the guy was gay, I think that was just trying to be like, oh, he knew from the start that it was like a woman, but like he intuitively, but he didn't really know. And now you can move forward and you can kind of apply today's standards onto the past, you know. And it sounds more like you're interpreting the writing as such. It's probably not true. You're like an English teacher that's trying to really get like what's the deep meaning behind the rat eating the moldy cheese? Why do you think the author made it moldy? Do you think that he was struggling with a deterioration of his own mind at the time? Maybe. Or maybe that motherfucker just wanted to add another word. I don't know.
Impressive how hard he leaned into something he knew was a lie people could check.
Maybe back then the word moldy was new and unique. I don't really know. I don't know the fucking trends of a book. I wasn't born yet. Shut the fuck up, bitch.
James, what were you thinking? What was your plan here? The section on Mulan is taken from an article at Shondaland by Asian American trans person Jess Com about how the film speaks to their experience with gender. This section is almost word for word stolen from this article.
Mulan as Ping progressively works their way to...
I thought this guy had a unique thought. Dude, Dude, he totally could have just made this fucking video without doing this. This is fucked up.
Toward achieving manhood, which is defined by catching fish, carrying heavy things, and of course, wielding a big stick.
He makes a few changes. Since this article
I got a real big stick in the backyard. I got kind of like a bratwurst though. You know what I'm saying?
One specific queer trans person writing about how they related to the film, Somerton removes their personal experiences and moves on to the next sentence.
First, in Honor to Us All, the village women attempt to sculpt Mulan into an ideal woman. More specifically, an ideal wife.
Dude, he could have came off so fucking like virtuous. So he could have virtue signaled so hard. He could have said that I read this article by this fucking trans person, and they talked about how they had such a positive and unique and identifying experience with blah, 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 blah. Dude, are you kidding me? We both teleported. Oh, dude, what a doo-doo-head. He tagged the mob, and now he's making me fucking kill it. Sorry. But you could have been like, and they would have been like, wow, you're platforming another trans person. Like, you're such a fucking cool guy. Like, he could, this guy doesn't know how to get the right virtue brownie points. Listen, I would be so good as a fucking progressive grifter. It's insane.
Wife. Mulan fails the test of womanhood when her meeting with the matchmaker goes horribly awry.
Sometimes, though, he keeps the stories in and makes a slight change.
Mulan's gender journey over the course of the movie feels familiar to many trans and non-binary people.
Jesus, is he really doing this instead of just crediting the person he got all this from? Well, yeah, he does this repeatedly.
Many trans men in particular feel a kinship with Mulan as the character prepares to convince everyone they're a man, practicing their swagger, affecting their voice to a low register, and scrambling to settle on a boy name.
That's a black
Somerton
thing.
doesn't just steal another article when he's done stealing from a book. He deliberately changes it to avoid acknowledging the original author and their experiences so he can pretend he wrote it. Just for the record, I found an article on another website that quotes this article by Tom. Here's how quoting works, James. It's clear who wrote this, and even links to it as well for the reader's convenience. Meanwhile, James just pasted these words
think
into...
about this, Hbomberguy. What would you complain about if you didn't have this guy acting like a fucking asshole? Sometimes you gotta think. I forget the quote, so I can't quote this, but I believe that there's some kind of a quote. It might be a Batman quote. I don't really know. But about how, like, if you defeat your enemies, like, truly and permanently, you kind of lose all meaning to your life. Because what else can you really chase after at that point? You know what I mean? It's beautiful. It's really beautiful if you think about it. What the fuck? Oh, damn.
His script and read it out loud like he came up with it.
As Mulan acknowledges this failure in reflection, she poses a question that most trans people know intimately. When will my reflection show who I am inside?
It goes without saying you shouldn't just take stuff and reuse it without crediting them. Write your own videos, man! Well, maybe he shouldn't do that either, because if you've been paying attention, which you have, you notice this is the video where James said gay night was Lord Disney's brilliant idea because he loves gays so much. Is this part stolen? Well, kind of, yeah.
Maybe he did. I mean, I don't think he liked Jews that much. It's unfortunate. I still like you, Disney. Land and world. Well, I've never been to Disneyland. You know what I just noticed? I know this is really silly and stupid, but, you know, when I would say Disney World, I would always be like, that's just the Disneyland in Florida. It's actually not. Okay, Disney World references all the parks. It's not just the Magic Kingdom. And I was like, wow, it's like there's multiple different worlds. And I imagine Disneyland would reference both parks in Florida. But I don't think it does, because it was Disneyland when it opened. What the fuck? Isn't that concerning?
Griffin's book correctly explains the gay night situation. The part where James talks about this is in a brief section that appears to be written by him, connecting the parts written by Griffin and Jez Tom. We're graced with a whole minute and 30 seconds actually written by James. How nice of him. It seems like when writing his own news section to connect the two writers he stole, he wrote a half-remembered story about gay nights he got from the same book. So the part of the video that was technically his was full of obvious mistakes. This is, well, it's not a good sign. There's a bit of a theme developing. These guys don't know their history. They're copying it without really learning it.
Yeah, Walt Disney's going to be pissed when he wakes from his cryo sleep. Well, here's my thing. I think that Walt Disney has woken up already. Okay? Here's why. Because I think that he's the reason why progressives are so aggressive against Israel right now. You know what I mean? And supporting Hamas. Because he doesn't like the Jews, guys. That's the problem. I'm not saying that there isn't things to criticize. I'm just saying that some of the criticism seems a little disproportionate, okay?
So when they try to be unique, they have nothing to say, and none of what they say is accurate. Around the time he re-uploaded Evil Queens, acknowledging one of the people he plagiarized, Somerton also unprivated the queerbaiting video, with what seemed to be no changes, except an acknowledgement at the top saying the stolen portion is based on the celluloid closet and its documentary counterpart. Before the video went down, the description didn't look like this. It just had a special thanks hidden at the bottom. So while it was down, he'd changed it. Looks like he settled on using based on as an excuse for stealing things when he's caught. I guess we should take a look at exactly how based on it is. The celluloid...
What the fuck? Wait, hold on. Let me ask you a question. Real question. Not a fake one. Don't worry about it. Is this whole video, the first two aspects about some other Dingledorfs, or three, was that like a whole excuse to just go in on this gay guy, or is it just multiple arguments? Attack on attack. Oh, maybe there's just a lot. He could have made this multiple videos. Nah, that would be silly. That would be silly. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm
Closet is a documentary about the portrayal of homosexuality across the history of Hollywood, with plenty of interviews with film historians, writers, directors, and actors. The structure and narrative is based on the book of the same name by Vito Russo, who passed away from complications of AIDS before the documentary could be made. The first 30 minutes of Unrequited is just the celluloid closet. James Illuminati'd it. He downloaded a copy of the documentary, loosely paraphrased it, and as footage for the video, he uses the same clips the documentary used of the movies it talked about. He also reuses the more pivotal interviews, adding his own titles so it looks like he got them from somewhere else. James wants to pretend to be a scholar of film history, when in fact he watched a documentary and is now pretending it.
I'm a scholar of film. What does a scholar of film history mean anyway? What the fuck does that even mean? Just the history of movies?
He never credits the documentary as a source when he's doing this. He even pulls my favorite trick, which I've come to call the Blair Classic. He quotes film history.
The rest of the video is about this guy? Maybe I'm right. Maybe that conspiracy theory is correct. I mean, it's a smart tactic.
Richard Dyer.
Your ideas about who you are don't just come from inside you, they come from the culture. Ooh. And in this culture, they come especially from the movies. So
I'll come from the movie.
Richard Dyer, film historian.
It's actually Richard Dyer. Would you like to know how I
know? Oh, dude, did you look him up?
Don't just come from inside you, they come from the culture. And in this culture, they come especially from the movies.
He has his own special spin on this trick, too.
The lesbian experience isn't really expressed in the film at all. And even Shirley MacLaine has gone on record in 1996 saying William Wyler, the director, never even spoke to her about the lesbian elements.
What he's neglecting to mention is the place MacLaine went on record in 1996 is the celluloid closet.
At the time that we made the picture, there were not real discussions about homosexuality. None of us were really aware.
James is dimly aware what he's doing is shit, so he's taking baby steps to avoid it. Without solving the actual problem, he's remaking a documentary using their ideas and footage.
Gore Vidal, screenwriter of the film, said this in 1996.
Let's say that these two guys, when they were 15, 16, when they last saw each other, they had been lovers, and now they're meeting again, and the Roman wants to start it up.
He's flipped the footage and added weird filters to try to avoid triggering the YouTube bots, which correctly would flag this video as just large chunks of a copyrighted documentary. I doubt he's even seen many of the films he's talking about here. He's just showing clips from the documentary, quoting the documentary, or straight up repeating what it said himself.
Homosexuality is a thing. It does exist, but it's not something good moral people should talk about.
Homosexuality was finally being talked about on the screen, but only as something that nice people didn't talk about.
I know a lot of documentaries are based on books, but not a lot of them are based on other documentaries someone already made, James. Celluloid Closet ends with a heartfelt acknowledgement of Vito Russo, the book's late author. James's video, which takes pains to tell you was written, filmed, and edited by James Somerton.
That's why I always make a conscious effort to be early. On time, even.
So ends by saying it is in memory of Vito Russo. This one line of text is the only acknowledgement of Russo or the documentary in this entire fucking video. For those keeping track, this is the second gay writer and activist who tragically passed away of AIDS in 1990, whose words James has passed off as his own. There were obviously comments on the video.
Is it so fucked up when you think about it? Like, people died of AIDS back in the day, and now AIDS is just annoying. Like, all jokes aside. Now the only thing is that when it comes to AIDS, you can't, like, eat after 8 o'clock at night. Like, that's part of the treatment. So, that fucked up.
Video pointing out he's just remade a documentary for 30 minutes, and James's reply was to insist it was impossible not to plagiarize the celluloid closet because it's such a good history lesson. This is his main defense when this comes up. Of course it's derivative. It's the only place I could get information on the topic, which implies James has not engaged with the last 65 years of writing about gay people in the film industry. He also claims he hasn't simply posted it as his own, even though he never acknowledged the documentary until someone caught him, and then had to sneak one into the description. If he wanted to pay respect to his main source, he could have said in this documentary instead of in 1996, but I won't say where. But in this reply, he says something very funny. He insists he expanded on some of the ideas in this section, implying he did some of his own work. One thing did stick out to me as new. The documentary covers Rebel Without a Cause, but not for very long. When James talks about it, he goes on for longer, in ways that aren't paraphrasing the documentary for once. So this must be the new section. All that original work that proves he didn't just rip off a documentary.
Oh, how beautiful.
Wouldn't it be really fucking funny if it turned out he stole this part too? Oh, you bet your ass!
Oh, dude, he found it. He found the thief. He found the theft. What a twist that we all expected.
He did.
Dean's character, Jim, is a teenager kicking against authority and parental neglect, who becomes both friend and fascination to Minio's Plato, a lonely younger kid.
Despite being based on an existing documentary, Somerton takes a break in the middle to steal from someone else. He stole Peter Howell's article on Rebel word for word, not even trying to cover it up.
Bro, how is he finding all this gay shit? Like, where does he Googling just gay stuff? Like, hey, gay Disney related stuff and just scrolling through articles? How the fuck does this work?
With find and replacing text this time.
If you don't pick up on that from the photo of hunky Alan Ladd that Plato has taped inside of his locker.
Imagine these two do get married, though. That'd be kind of hot. They'd make it OnlyFans. That'd be fucking crazy. I don't know why they would do that, but maybe this is his way of, people pick on each other when they want to fuck. Well, when they want to, okay, well, that was a little weird to say like that. But sometimes people will pick on each other when they're attracted to somebody, is what I meant to say. I said that a little crudely. I'm so sorry.
Looks of adoration against Jim. It becomes abundantly clear when he makes a coded declaration of love to Jim late in the film.
It's not like I lifted it and posted it as my own, my foot. He changes one thing, the current date.
Plato is obviously gay, although it's easier to say that in 2020 than it was in 1955.
Peter Howell, whose shit he jacked, is not acknowledged in the video or the description or anywhere else and never has been. Like with Jez Tom, this section was never caught until now, so he hasn't had the chance to go back and pretend it's based on it. It starts to feel like Somerton is just an extremely cynical loser with a business degree who, like Blair, and around the same time even, saw the success of video essays and...
Damn, what's with the hate on the business degrees, man? They do suck, but it's just why?
Decided to half-ass his way into them by stealing shit. This is on the whole how business people see creativity. They don't respect it. It doesn't matter. It's beneath them. So they can take it and say it's theirs if they want. But at this point...
Wait, you never Googled gay Disney stuff in my downtime? No, like I'll Google gay Rule 34 Disney, but that's not the same thing as what you're talking about. So,
My interest was fully peaqueed. I was just looking at the original allegations to see if they were true, to check for myself. But even in just looking at those two, I found 2 more places he stole from that other people hadn't even found yet. And if it was that easy to find more, how—
No, I wasn't criticizing this guy for finding it. I was criticizing the other guy the original guy for making gay stuff. Not criticizing, it's fine to make gay stuff. I think you know what I mean. Like, where do you find all this information on, like, gay Disney? Whatever.
How deep does this
Whatever, dude. Maybe he likes libraries.
Did James learn his lesson from being repeatedly caught plagiarizing and at least stop? Well, his next video, Society and Queer Horror, has a script supervisor in the opening credits. And this person would go on to be his co-writer for many future videos. That doesn't necessarily mean the videos are better, though. I mean, first of all, that's not how you spell supervisor, so write that down. But he even has another writer now. So surely.
Is it? Or maybe that's just the English way they spell supervisor. You guys are weird as hell.
He started making his own original videos and things got better? Well, things got much, much worse.
Oh no.
Society and Queer Horror, or as the video calls it—
Yeah, we're getting a whole fucking rise and fall history lesson on this random dude that's likes gay Disney. It's so interesting. So bizarre.
Deep cuts, Society and Queer Horror steal so many words from so many writers, it genuinely makes me think I've traveled to an alternate dimension where plagiarism is fine.
4 girls end up in the same school and find each other essentially by cruising the hallway. Given Carrie's simultaneous status as horror film victim and monster, alongside the narrative concerning her burgeoning sexuality and attraction to boys, or when Ripley asserts authority in the team after Dallas is caught by the alien, Ash, male robot, feels threatened, and attempts to manipulate reading masculinity. It's fun, messy, mean, sad, campy, and self-aware. That's the key variable that makes Hellraiser so special.
I can't show you how messed up this is without ruining this video's runtime even more than I already have. So let's use visuals. Here's a transcript of all the words James says in this hour and 25.
Oh, what about a cis script, huh? What the fuck?
5-minute-long video.
Yeah, I'm still watching the same video. It's 4 hours long, dude. Of course. I'm watching at like 75% increased speed. It's still going to be like a 4-hour reaction.
And here's all the parts that are plagiarized. Each author's name is in a different color for convenience. This video steals roughly 10,000 words from 18 different places. And this is just the stuff I found. There could be more. A truly staggering portion of this video is James—
I don't even know that many words. That's a fucked up part.
Him staring into his prompter, reading words he got by Googling movie name gay. I wish I could show you everything he copied, but we'd be here forever. This is just one video, and he makes so many of these. And now we know how. But Somerton thinks he's figured out a loophole. It's a familiar spin on an old classic. It opens with a horror-themed credit sequence, which claims the video is based on the works of and briefly shows a bunch of names. These are some of the people he played.
Maybe it will work. Maybe it did work. Did it work? Somebody tell me.
Plagiarized. So if any of his plagiarism is noticed, he can say, no, I name dropped them in the opening for literally 1 second. So it's fine. This is the stupidest thing I've ever— Anyone watching this video would assume this is Somerton showing his sources, or people whose work he read while writing the video, not people whose writing is the video, based on the works of Colin Arison. What does this mean? There's no way of knowing what Colin's contribution to the video was.
I don't know, man. Maybe he's talking about his asshole. I don't know why that one gave me a fucking giggle, dude. I crack myself up. I'm the funniest guy to myself.
Does this mean he inspired a section? That he gets quoted? That James read him and used some of those ideas? This mention means 21 minutes into the video, the next 5 full minutes are word for word copied from an essay he wrote.
Benchoff recognizes Hellraiser for some of its visual characteristics, but comes to the conclusion that too often the representation of Barker's monster queers seems similar to those produced by right-wing ideologues.
I don't think I need to tell you, this is just plagiarism with an even stranger excuse than normal. Somerton never tells you when he's just reading other people's words, because then people would know he didn't write anything. He's hidden their name at the beginning and in the end credits at the very bottom after a long list of patrons, so he can make a video out of other people's words without ever saying when he's actually doing it. 4 minutes is just Andrew Park's article about the film The Craft, with slight changes to try to hide it, and his usual LGBT to queer word swapping.
The film follows the story of 4 teenage girls who each grow up feeling different in one way or another, special and above the fray of their peers, or rejected by them.
Sounds like Twilight, except for it's just one girl, and also she's boring.
Entirely, as so many queer teens experience. The most memorable character, by all accounts, is Nancy, and she's already out as a witch, openly practicing the craft. She wears goth lipstick and black, laced-up Stevie Nicks boots. She has a sexual history and a noose hanging in her locker. Bonnie is a girl with self-image issues.
Sounds a little fucking edgy. What a cool guy. Girl. Cool ghoul, some would say.
Scars that cover her arms and back.
Swapping back and arms to arms and back doesn't work. We can still tell.
Chris, your typical teenage...
I personally would have just said head, shoulders, knees, and toes. That's how I would have done it, because it would have been funny. Kind of. It's a dad joke, but we still love it.
The football jock persists in making bullying comments about the 3 spiritual deviants, who he calls the bitches of Eastwick.
Oh, what a fucking...
just so clever.
Wow, what a great addition, Jimmy. You really spiced up that anecdote, made it your own, put your fucking spin on it. Oh well, this is a bit skeevy, but at least Park's name is in the credits, so people can at least see his name and check him out. No, he's not in the credits. Half the people James plagiarized in this video
subverted, you once again subverted my expectations.
It wasn't plagiarism. I said it was based on them at the start. Excuse really doesn't work when you forget to put half their fucking names in. My personal theory is James came up with this phony...
I mean, it's not that big of a deal if only puts half of someone's name in there, if you think about it. My name's Daniel, so if you put half my name in there, it's Dan. We still know who it is, right? In fact, I prefer it.
The excuse during the Evil Queens fiasco when he was already making this video, so when he made this list, he'd already forgotten half the people he plagiarized. The segment about aliens is completely taken from Bart Bishop's essay queering James Cameron's Aliens.
Aliens is curiously progressive in its sexual politics overall, especially for a movie released during the Reagan years. Take, for instance, the exchange between Hudson and Frost. This isn't just queer behavior being portrayed in a positive manner, but one of the many ways that the movie obfuscates...
What do they jerk each other off? What happens that makes it queer behavior? What the fuck?
And supports a pansexual ethos.
My favorite part is when he reuses an extremely long quote from author David Grevin, along with Bishop's...
What makes it gay? What made them gay together? Did they fucking blow each other? I'm not really understanding.
Exact commentary on it, with a very slight change.
David Grevin in Demeter and Persephone in Space observes, Bishop, the cyborg, Drebin further suggests that the aliens, and especially the alien queen, represent a cisgendered heteronormative status quo that resents the changing times.
Okay.
So while Drebin suggests that the conservative alien queen has contempt for the queer family dynamic, the metaphor could go even further. Cameron creates a future where gender norms have all but disappeared.
He changed.
I can't believe this guy's letting all the conservatives know that there's so much gay stuff in the movies. They're going to stop watching the movies, man. You can't be doing that. You're fucking people over.
Go even further to the metaphor could go even further, suggesting he is at least uncomfortable using someone else's words in first person. The copying of Bishop's aliens essay was eventually pointed out on his website. Bishop responded calling this very strange. Bishop also made a Facebook post about being plagiarized, which is disheartening to read. This situation demonstrates perfectly the way respect and social status factor into stealing. James fundamentally doesn't respect the people he's copying. He knows to quote people when they're well known, but when he thinks he can get away with it, he doesn't. A lot of queer analysis is sadly unrecognized, and James exploited this obscurity for clout and hid a little excuse where people will miss it, but only for about half of them. As with several previous authors, Bishop was not credited. However, the video's credits do
and all he has to do is credit these people. That's all he's got to do. What a fucking dingle dork, you know? What a fucking schminglebang.
Contained David Grevin, one of the authors Bishop quoted. At first I thought Grevin was in the credits because he quotes him by name in this section, but no, he's in here because he also stole from Grevin.
In terms as resonant as they were phobic, Scream was a cry of despair over an apparent immorality in the millennial or late Gen X youth, especially in the male population. The homoeroticism of the Billy Stu relationship, which the film develops into an all-but-explicit queer love affair, shows both the unpredictable, anarchic, bewildering behavior of the generation and the shifts.
Like, do you think that is really a lot of gay stuff going on, or do you think these guys just want to insert gay stuff into the movies? I don't really know. I wonder, though.
In male gender roles synonymous with it.
By complete coincidence, the competent writers he's plagiarizing are familiar with each other's work and sometimes even quote each other. Grevin doesn't actually come up by name when James reads his words out loud for 5.5 fucking minutes. The authors James steals only get their name mentioned in the video if someone else he was stealing happened to mention them. I'm losing my fucking mind! When he quotes Bishop quoting Grevin, he puts this text up like he's quoting them. However, like Illuminati, he doesn't list the source in any useful way. This is because he doesn't know the source. He got it from this article, and he can't list the article as a source because he doesn't want you checking and finding out what he's done. It's the same reason he didn't film himself next to evil queens. He'd be giving the game away. Ironically, this is how the Bishop plagiarism was discovered in the first place. Someone was trying to find the source of one of these quotes and Google it and discovered the whole segment was a quote. Somerton's videos are anti-educational. They go out of their way to hide where they come from or where to learn more. But this gives me an idea for a hot new game. Go to a random section of Somerton's video and just Google the words he's saying. Okay, I'm gonna literally click on a random part of the video right now. I'm gonna hold my mouse up to the microphone so you can hear it.
Dedicates an entire subplot to the romance between Richie and Eddie.
Okay.
What was that, Barry? I like that show.
And
if you want to see gay stuff, you'll see it. That's true. It's like my Google search history. I understand what you actually meant. You were saying that if you're looking for something hard enough, you can find it, and sometimes you can find it in a way that's a bit forced. That might be true. I don't know.
Go. One result. Well, that was easy.
It by Stephen King was published in 1986 and has made a lasting cultural impression. The novel inspired a miniseries, 2 movies, and ruined clowns for generations of children and adults, frankly.
Oh, good one. This one is an analysis of Stephen King's It by Rachel Brands. He reads this article for about 4.5 minutes, and Brands is one of many people whose name didn't make it into his dumb fucking credits. I reached out to Brands about her essay being used in this manner, and she told me she'd never been asked permission to use it, but she already knew it happened. You see, she was a fan of Somerton's work and even supported him financially on Patreon, so she saw this video as soon as it went out and realized it was copying her. This is so fucked up.
That is pretty fucked up, actually. Jesus. I feel bad for her. That's fucked up. Damn, he pushed a fan of his away. He pushed a fan of his away. That's such a, what a sad moment. Let's get an F. Don't touch it. You fucking piece of shit, bitch. I'll save you. I'll save you, dude. I'll save you. Don't worry.
A queer writer who supported James financially because she thought he was making original work discovered she was funding the plagiarism of work like hers, including literally hers. Brands was never paid by the website.
How come she didn't say anything about it?
She wrote this essay for, since at the time she was writing for exposure, which she definitely didn't get when James didn't even fucking credit her. Somerton makes a lot of money doing this. Tens of thousands of dollars in Patreon income, ad revenue, his many sponsorships, and another massive payday we haven't even gotten to yet. Brands has never been compensated for her contribution to James's financial success, and she's not the only person James plagiarized in the section on Stephen King's It alone. After reading Brands without crediting her for almost 5 minutes, suddenly he starts saying new words.
Childhood trauma looms under the skin of the Losers Club well into adulthood.
Wow, did James write part of his video all by himself? Nope. It's from The Hollywood Reporter. We've seen this song and dance before. It goes on for ages. I'm just going to highlight one of the parts he changed because it's so funny.
Like every person on the planet, the losers remain trapped in their trauma. They've just found new ways to cope. Richie ended up telling jokes and becoming rich and successful. Always alone.
Somerton specifically removed mention of a character finding success using other people's material. That probably hit a bit too close to home, huh?
The plagiarism thing, it's not a thing.
After several minutes of stealing Joelle Monique's article, the video still has a bunch of runtime left to talk about it.
It is the hate that's unnatural. The hate that is evil.
Oh, for fuck!
When we get into the head of Don Haggerty, Adrian's boyfriend, and the author lets the reader know him, he's sympathetic, he's smart, and loving. He also sees the town for what it is, sees its evil clearly, and wants to leave it.
The entire 12-minute long It section is copied from 3 different articles, back to back to back, and only one of the 3 authors is even in these shitty credits. Somerton didn't thank Brands or Monique for the articles about Stephen King's It he stole for money. He did, however, take the opportunity to thank Stephen King! I love it when small...
Be rude, but what the fuck, dude? Come on, you're in the water? You're fucking hitting me from the water? I just pump out the fucking fight of my goddamn life, and some fucking dickhead in the water kills me?
Indie writers finally get the acknowledgement they deserve. It boggles my tiny mind just how much every tiny thing is stolen in this video. He really briefly, like for 30 seconds, discusses the appeal of witchcraft to queer people, and he steals an article for that too.
Witchcraft?
Is witchcraft gay too? Damn. Yeah, there's something gay about reading. I would think that too. I agree with that.
on the other hand, offered a spiritual space where queer people could step into their personal power and explore otherness without shame, guilt, or fear. Furthermore, the idea of a coven creates a space for community.
Based on the works of whoever wrote this sentence, of the 18 authors I found him stealing from, only 9 of them make it into the opening or closing based on credits. So at least half the people he copied didn't even get a bullshit credit.
One of those entire pages was written by him. What a fucking guy. That's fucking great. Good for you, man.
Him stealing from, only 9 of them make it into the opening or closing based on credits. So at least half the people he copied didn't even get a bullshit credit. And that's just what I found. I'm pretty sure I missed some. Maybe he reworded some parts better than others, so it's harder to check. But after seeing how much shit he stole for this video, I have no doubt the blank spaces are just someone else I missed. After this video came out, I think he decided he'd gotten away with it. So he stopped using the based on the works of excuse and just went right back to stealing shit. Here's one of his next videos, Code Breakers, Queer Film Theory and Why It Matters. This video's opening credits are just James, and the description thanks no one, but it's still full of plagiarism. Replacing the queer agenda with a straight agenda does not mean there is not an agenda. Zinc Hero of YouTube loved this line by Somerton so much. What am I willing to...
Replacing the queer agenda with the straight agenda does not mean... Wow, that's fucking deep. That's fucking deep, dude. Well, I guess now there is a straight agenda sometimes, because that would generally be an anti-gay agenda, I would imagine. Because you're trying to actively cast out the gayness.
To bet he stole this line too. Place your bets! Directly into my pocket, because yeah, obviously, you fucking piece of shit!
It also bears mentioning...
What would this guy do without Google? What would I do without Google? I wouldn't be able to jack off.
That if a filmmaker doesn't choose queer history, that doesn't mean they're telling history like it was. It just means they're straighting history. Replacing the gay agenda with a straight agenda does not mean that there's no agenda.
Somerton's fans praise him for the quality of his writing.
I mean, that is a banger line. All jokes aside. Everything aside, that's kind of a fucking banger line.
It's not his. Since the true authors' names have been erased from the story, they are prevented from learning who they actually enjoyed and being able to go read more. I find this genuinely sad. James, how do you manage to churn out so many high-quality videos so frequently? I know how. At one point, he starts explaining basic film theory. Not basic by nerd standards. I mean, it's like he's just reading Wikipedia. Actually, not like.
Today, there are many different schools of film theory. So let's talk about it.
He keeps doing that thing where he's like, it's almost like they're doing this. Or did he do this? And it's like, no, he didn't. Got me, dude. You keep getting me, bro. Stop.
The structuralist film theory emphasizes how films convey meaning through the use of codes and conventions, not dissimilar to the way languages are used to construct meaning in communication.
Yeah.
An example of this is understanding how the simple combination of shots can create an additional idea. The blank expression on a person's face, an appetizing meal, and then back to the person's face. While nothing in this sequence literally expresses hunger or desire, the juxtaposition of the images convey that meaning to the audience. Marxist film theory is one of the oldest forms of film theory. Sergei Eisenstein and many other Soviet filmmakers in the 1920s expressed ideas of Marxism through film. In fact, the Hegelian dialectic was considered best displayed in film editing through the development of the montage, a Russian invention. Eisenstein's solution was to shun narrative structure by eliminating the individual
Russians created the montage? That's fucking crazy.
In favor of telling stories where the action is moved by a group, and the story is told through a clash of one image against the next, whether in composition, motion, or idea. Formalist film theory is a theory of film study that is focused on the formal or technical elements of a film, i.e. the lighting, scoring, sound, set design, use of color, shot composition, and editing. It's a major theory of film study today. Formalism, at its most general, considers the synthesis or lack of synthesis of the multiple elements of film production, and the effects, emotional and intellectual, of that synthesis and of the individual elements. For example, let's take the single element of editing. A formalist might study how standard Hollywood continuity editing creates a more comforting effect, and non-continuity or jump cut editing might become more disconcerting or volatile.
Cringe. There's no other word for it. This makes me cringe. It's embarrassing. It speaks volumes what James thinks of video essays as a format. To him, reading Wikipedia is equivalent to what everyone else is doing. I don't know why you would make videos like this unless you were just in it for the money. Where's the joy of doing your own research, your own learning, and getting to share it in your own way?
It's the money, baby. That is the joy. The joy is the money. Show it to me.
Videos are a cash grab with absolutely zero original
thought. Stop making fun of my fucking bald head, dude. And this guy's bald head. Stop calling us cousins. We don't look that similar. Okay, relax. Just because we're bald doesn't make us the same. Okay, that's a different kind of racist. It's like a special kind of racist that you're being, but you're being racist to a bald guy.
I didn't think YouTube videos could have souls, but now I've experienced ones that don't. The end credits don't thank any of the people or wikis who wrote this video, just James and his co-writer Nick. Oh, and he thanks all his patrons who give him thousands of dollars to read Wikipedia to them without telling them. And this puts us onto a related problem with his video.
You at least got to tell somebody when you're going to read Wikipedia at them, you know?
This might be obvious, but James is a little bit lazy. In Codebreakers, in between the rest of the stealing, he brings up the potential gay overtones in Legend of Korra between Prince Wu and Mako.
Mako's Will They Won't They with Prince Wu.
But I thought the clips from Avatar looked a bit blurry for a video from 2020 when much higher quality sources were available. Did he just Google an old AMV shipping these two characters and download it and slap it in here? No, that would be ridiculous. Yes, of course he did. It was this one. It took 2 minutes to find. He just added black bars to the top and bottom because he's trying to pretend his shit is cinema. This is probably the laziest moment in video essay history. He's downloading other people's videos to use as backing for a voiceover he probably didn't write about characters whose names he can't pronounce. It's like staring into a low bitrate abyss, but it doesn't stare back. James stares back. The phrase by James Somerton is doing so much heavy lifting, he probably stole that from fucking Atlas. There's a section where he just reads the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy's explanation of what homosexuality is.
As has been frequently noted,
he looked up homosexuality in an encyclopedia and pasted it into his fucking script. Oh my god! The lack of effort is a running theme. James doesn't really care what he's saying and is just Googling.
I mean, that's fair. It's kind of hard to define homosexuality nowadays, isn't it? Everything's so confusing. Stop, please.
Movie name gay, so the quality...
I miss the good old days when you were still straight after you gave your friend a tuggy. You just closed your eyes and you pretended that it was some kind of mutual masturbation. After all, the both of you guys jerking each other off, if you weren't grabbing his dick and he wasn't grabbing yours, you would have just been grabbing your own dicks. And so really, is it any different? Is masturbating your friend any different from masturbating yourself? I don't really know, but I don't think it's gay. Yeah, I think about it that way.
Of some of the places he's copying are not very good. His coverage of Alien 3 in Society and Queer Horror, yeah, there's more people I didn't show you yet, is taken from the Cracked article, 5 terrible movies with awesome hidden meanings. People sometimes compliment James for his fancy opening titles with 3D movement and graphics, but he just bought these. Anyone can. Look, here's the place he got Society and Queer Horror's opening. I bought it. Now it's mine. Whee! The opening of Evil Queens, the highest production value part of the whole affair is...
Hey, Brion, what's up, brother?
Hyperpar first time catching the stream. W content.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate you catching the stream for the first time, my friend. I appreciate that.
Just more stuff he bought. I'm not criticizing him here, this is normal and fine, but it's a little surprising to realize James never did any work of any kind during the video making process. He buys the fancy looking bits and gets the rest from an AMV. Presumably he hired a co-writer so he could stop pretending he does any. But that makes the fact they're still full of plagiarism even more shocking. Kat looked at his video about Jeffrey Dahmer and found about 5 places he plagiarized without even checking too hard.
Thus, the term homosexual overkill served to normalize heterosexuality, even heterosexual serial killers, while pathologizing homosexuality.
Look how much effort he put into rewriting the thing he stole to hide it. His dedication to not coming up with his own idea.
What the hell does that mean? Is this the concept of making serial killers gay? I don't know. I don't even know.
Diaz is almost creepy. This video was a couple months old when I started looking into James.
You remember me from 2020? Not. That's crazy, man. I'm not doing too bad. How about you?
This is recent, and I can't believe how much he's still stealing. The first words in the fucking video are stolen.
We all like true crime. It's very suddenly become one of the most engaging
I think
forms.
true crime is one of the biggest forms of fucking brain rot in the entire world. Once you start engaging with true crime, you literally just start to have the most warped fucking perspective on the world. Oh, I need another piece. Okay.
Of contemporary entertainment.
He's really extruding the original words here. He's put so much work into changing it, it might have been easier to write something from scratch. But this is James we're talking about. He stops putting in the effort after the first few sentences.
Again, both Bundy and Dahmer were serial killers who tortured and murdered dozens of people whose families are still alive.
Oh, they're so gay-coded. Oh my goodness. I love them. I don't know. Okay.
And can see these tweets and posts on TikTok.
He actually copies the previous section of the article right before, but Kat asked me before I play this part to ask you to pay specific attention to the change he makes here.
There is a thirst for Dahmer, made apparent on TikTok and Twitter, with hordes of white women droning over how attractive he is.
White women? Why do you gotta make it about race? It's white women because it's white serial killers, but black women are just as fucking crazy, right? I'm not racist. I know women are all crazy. I'm not gonna sit there and pretend otherwise.
This change is part of a running theme throughout Somerton's work. Misogyny? In the parts of James's videos that he actually writes himself, or rewrites after stealing, he really doesn't like women. I didn't want to open this can of worms, but the thesis of the stuff he stole for this video gets completely fucked up by his rants about women being attracted to serial killers. He argues women are only attracted to Dahmer because he killed gay men and not women, which makes it easier for them to ignore the brutality of his crimes. And if he'd killed
I think that women are just attracted... Jesus, that was fucking brutal. I think women are just attracted to big red flags. That's why it's always like the piece of shit scum. Dude, what the fuck? Okay, it's a lot of parries. That's why it's always those biggest pieces of shit men that women are totally attracted to. You know, they don't know better.
Women, they wouldn't be so thirsty.
Despite his cannibalism, despite the decades-long erasure of his victims, these women, and mostly teenage girls, are swooning over him.
No, these girls would be like, I wish he would kill me. Oh, I want to die. That's a new fucking trend, you know?
And why not? To our knowledge, Dahmer never killed any teenage girls, or any women at all, so there's a level of disconnection.
Women are attracted to the wrong serial killer. How terrible. But he couldn't...
Well, I think that his point, from what the very little you showed me, seems to be that since they killed gay men, or men in general, I guess, maybe they're questioning, I don't know, that it doesn't seem as real to them, I guess. You know, I guess that's homophobic. I don't know.
Stop himself from also complaining about women being into Ted Bundy, who did murder women. He goes off script from the article he's stealing for that section to complain about it even more.
Navigating the ethics of true crime content is tricky. A whole new generation of girls fell head over heels for the infamous killer, which was a grim remake in itself of the real-life Ted Bundy trial. He had fangirls defending him in the press and even begging to marry him. Netflix's social media team actually begged viewers to stop standing Bundy.
Fucking die.
A whole new bit fantasizing about millennial girls' attraction to a serial killer when, like, no, they were attracted to Zac Efron, the famously attractive celebrity actor. This was a stupid tangent to begin with, but now his own video...
Well, I think that some girls were attracted to the serial killer, but yeah, I get the point too. That makes sense.
Video contains examples of women fancying a serial killer who killed women, so his rant about women loving Dahmer because he didn't kill women makes no sense. Really, he just wanted an excuse to complain women see their gay friends as disposable.
Because unfortunately, to this day, many women still see gay men as nothing more than a fancy accessory, especially teenage girls who lust for the perfect gay best friend. A boy who's...
I feel like this is part of his terminally online behaviors coming through, because I've always dated girls that like gay guys. You know, they call them a form of a hag. That's what the slur is. I think that it's just that they're one of the girls, you know what I mean? I don't think that they're trying to use them as an accessory. I think that gay guys and straight women just kind of go together like, you know, poop and pee, but like in a good way. like in a Japanese porn kind of a way. You know what I mean? Bro, come on, just die.
Sex life is secret, so you never have to hear about it. But he's always there to tell you if your boyfriend's being a jerk. Gay men and boys as a purse or a fancy iPhone case. Something to show.
It's not that deep, dude. Just chill the fuck out. Like, could you not comprehend that like gay guys and straight women just like each other? You should chill out.
Off, but ultimately something disposable.
What teenage girl did this to you in high school, James?
Yeah, exactly, dude. Thank you. You took the words right out of my mouth and replaced it with a cock.
Fiction about her into an article you stole instead of going to therapy. This is the only new stuff he wrote. The rest.
Chatted $2. Do you still watch Dantavius vids?
I haven't watched them in a while. I should though. I've been playing WoW with Dantavius. So how about that?
Is stolen. This is all he has to say. What the fuck is wrong with this guy? These insecurities affect how he talks about gay women. The videos are continuously punctuated with tangents about how lesbians have it easier than.
I feel like this guy tried to date a woman before. You know how it is. You get pressured into dating a woman as a man. It's the homophobia of the world. Sad stuff, of course. And then she like dumped him and made him feel bad. So now he hates women. I think that's what happened. It's a good theory.
Gay men. In one video, he claims gay women historically saw less legal persecution, and his example is made up.
And if you're wondering why this section is so man-centric, this is because the vast majority of legal persecution of early queers was focused on men. In the legal case of Radcliffe Hall, she, in her book The Well of Loneliness, depicted World War I ambulance drivers as being primarily lesbians. English courts were really not pleased with this depiction.
Yeah,
but
I feel like gay men probably got it worse than lesbian women, though, to be honest with you. I think that there's always been a history, at least in our country, and I could be wrong, where masculine or femininity in men was looked down much more than masculinity in women. That's probably because femininity was looked down upon in general, but and so when it came to gay guys, it's probably like, oh, that's disgusting. It's you and another man. That's really bad. It's a feminine man is a bad thing, which I don't agree with. I'm just saying what they thought. But like a lesbian woman or masculine woman is good, or a woman that likes to do other girls, that's hot. So like I said, guys think with their penis. So that's why lesbians, even when it was illegal, wasn't as frowned upon. Because you go, it's kind of hot,
women who love women was such an uncomfortable topic for them that they threw her case out of the courts and just let her carry on in her happy life.
I gotta help
Over here in reality, Radcliffe Hall was found guilty of obscenity and all copies of her book were ordered destroyed. He's rewriting history to pretend women had it better. This approach to female queers reaches a territory where he doesn't even accept other people's identities if he has a bone to pick. In one video, while trying to argue queer women have it better than men in Hollywood, he misgenders two showrunners.
So why don't gay men get to represent themselves in media? At least media that's widely accepted by the mainstream. Queer women get to represent themselves, at least sometimes.
Well, I would also say, though, that just to bring another point up, though, it's mostly gay white men that do run or at least historically, that do become the most visible when it comes to these activist communities. So I don't know what he means by that.
Look at animated hits like Steven Universe or She-Ra and the Princesses of Power.
Indy Stevenson and Rebecca Sugar are transmasculine and non-binary.
Yo, there's a big fucking lesbian black girl. What are you talking about, bro? Oh, I get it. That's what he's talking about. That's his point that he makes. Okay.
Respectively. But for the purposes of James's point, they count as women. And
well, listen, that's a whole conversation about expression in society. But like that would I think he's talking about the characters. I don't think he's talking about the writers specifically. So I don't know. We kind of went off on a tangent on that.
He really doesn't like something. He just assumes a straight woman did it.
The only way I can possibly account for anyone saying that this is straight is a bunch of women and girls who are experiencing the most willful ignorance I've ever seen.
His Yuri on Ice video just guesses anyone who interprets the characters not being gay must be a dumbass woman. He's shockingly committed to this principle. In the video that just came out, he claims he still gets comments on that video from straight women denying the gay anime is gay.
Then again, that video still gets comments from usually straight women, no hating, but still, who incessantly deny that there's any queerness, coded or otherwise, present in that series.
James, how do you know they're straight or women? Did they all say so in their comment? If you don't like something so you assume a woman wrote it, you're doing misogyny. There really isn't another word for this. It's pretty straightforward. Also, I just went through the last year of comments on that video and none exist that make this accusation. He's lying. He just made up straight women to get mad at. As arbiter of gender, James also gets to decide who's queer and who isn't. I don't know who gave him this power, but it means he has a lot of fascinating opinions about Love, Simon. The film is based on a book by Becky Albertalli, a bisexual woman who was not
There's a lot of gay stuff in this.
Public about her sexuality when the book was published.
I think I was right. I think that the first three examples were like, hey, let's talk about people who are popular. And then we'll talk about this guy I have a personal grudge with, which it doesn't change the fact that this video is very well orchestrated, very well educated. It's just interesting. That's all I'm saying. It's just an interesting thing to look at.
Albertalli was subsequently harassed for years, accused of writing a book about being gay without being queer herself and being a straight woman profiting off the queer community. In 2020, she came out publicly with a quite powerful essay about how she was doing it specifically because of this type of shit. This event hopefully serves as a lesson not to make assumptions of people's sexuality and then write criticism based on—
Oh, she's gay? Oh, she's gay. I said she didn't want to come out like that. That sucks. But that's the world now. That's the world now. We shit on people for their identity. If it's not the right identity, I guess we've always done that. I guess people are just hateful in general. What a sad world.
On those assumptions. But James—
I don't know what you're talking about is, but I've seen what you're saying.
Didn't get the memo. In 2022, he managed to write a video complaining that many stories about gay people are written by straight women and used Love, Simon as the only example.
Because their life experiences did not match the experiences
about gayness set by straight women with a kawaii idea of two gay people. You have mass consumption media which takes gay emotions and removes gay experiences, leaving a husk of empty gestures and unanswered questions which feels more like a gambling addiction than even implied representation.
James was years late to the party and still accused the openly bi author of being a straight pandering to the gays. I'd say I wonder what Becky Albertalli thinks about.
I don't know who PP. Oh, is that Predator Poacher, South Texas? Is that who you're talking about? Is that the person you're referring to? Is that what the PP sounds?
This, but I know what she thinks because she left a comment on his video.
This guy quit after the video. What do you mean? The guy he's talking about quit? Damn. Pussy.
Explaining how shitty it feels getting lumped in with the straights yet again years after coming out, specifically after being treated poorly by people like James. This is how he complained to his fan Discord about her. She isn't happy I included her in the straight female authors section, but I never said she was straight. James is still sore about this mild pushback. He
That's funny.
Now refuses to acknowledge Love Simon by name, referring to some unspecified incident.
This is compounded through several other high-profile instances of gay media, specifically one which made waves in 2018, but that I will not explicitly mention for reasons. If you know, you know.
Someone asked what he meant by this in the Discord, and he clarified he meant Love Simon, and in true James fashion made up a story where he didn't do anything wrong. He simply mentioned he wasn't its biggest fan, and the author ripped into
James, you just seem like a real duty head. Also, stop talking to your people in your Discord and giving them further context. You know, you might as well just say it in your fucking video at that point.
Him on Twitter and stuff. As far as I can tell, Becky never tweeted anything.
I mean, he is getting thoroughly ravaged right now, but some people would enjoy that. If I was a gay man, I might enjoy that as well.
Said anything anywhere about him except his comment section. He's having to twist the story pretty hard to seem like he didn't do it.
It's the funny thing is, it doesn't seem to. We've started with the plagiarism, but now this guy just slowly just becomes a dick. You know what I mean? He's not just like a plagiarist. I mean, we all identify with that. You know what I mean? I stole homework before. I never did that, actually. I was very smart. I would let other people steal from me, though. Because personally, my thought was, this was my thought. I would let other people steal my homework from me, or I would give it to them, really. It wasn't really theft. It's because if you're not doing the work, you're not truly learning. And then even though you'd pass the class, in the long run, you'd actually fail because you don't understand the course matter. And I always thrived on the thought of people failing and getting their own comeuppance. I'm just kidding. I never did that.
He called a bi author a straight with kawaii ideas about gay people, didn't think she would see it, and she criticized him for doing it. So this is the non-stolen work. The stuff
it does seem like a lot of people are seeing a lot of these videos on YouTube. It's crazy to me. I feel like 4 times already. It's like been 4 times where people have been seeing it.
He writes himself, open bitterness about women, lies, and grievances over being criticized for this. I'm going to regret saying it, but he should have stuck to the plagiarism. He complained on Twitter about being criticized for being so harsh on the women who thirsted after Dharma, not realizing he was actually being criticized for a pattern of behavior. These criticisms were valid already.
Does this guy do his own editing? Is that why it takes him so long to put videos out? He lost 60K subs? Damn, dude, that's a doo-doo. He got dootied on. That's fucking crazy. What? I probably got a long-time viewer, first time watching the stream. Just wanted to say your opinions and commentary has really shaped me as a person. Thank you. I hope that's a good thing. I truly hope that's a good thing.
But I would like to supply the context that he stole the words he is.
James Somerton. Damn, how did he lose 60K fucking followers? It's insane. Damn, that's brutal, dude. Dude, what the fuck? Did he really quit? Wow. Wow, damn. He ended this guy. That's fucking crazy. That's insane. That's impressive. That's fucked up. That's impressive. I mean, it seems like he deserved it, so damn.
Saying here and reworded.
He'll be back in like 6 months.
Them to be more mad at women specifically. James, what the fuck are you doing? I am trying to maintain focus for once in a video and stick to the plagiarism, but I just can't get away from how this guy fucking sucks. James doesn't get caught stealing as often as he should do because he's cultivated an audience of younger queer people who don't read the kind of stuff he's stealing from.
And because gay people don't read, nerd. I'm a fucking goblin. I'm just kidding. They read sometimes. I mean, I don't read either, so I guess I'm gay, but yeah.
Don't recognize open misogyny as long as it's qualified as white women. But on the rare occasion that he is caught.
Well, I mean, it's also possible that some of the people that he engages with are a little toxic and they're looking for somebody to point the finger at somebody else and say they're bad. I mean, that is also possible. You know, it's a factor. Okay.
His solution is to private or delete the video and re-upload a slightly changed version and hope no one digs into this extremely suspicious behavior.
Yeah, as he drops fucking hints as to what the, you know what I mean? He's a kind of an idiot. He shouldn't be doing that.
Example.
Oh,
while I was doing preliminary
Attack on Titan. Oh, dude, this is fucking. I like that show. Is there a new season yet? I don't know.
Last year, a funny thing happened. Somerton's YouTube community page was wiped. Hundreds of posts from over several years disappeared overnight. At this point, I'd spoken to a few of the writers Somerton had stolen from, and I wondered if maybe one of them had publicly accused him. But after doing some more looking, it turned out no, someone else had independently noticed they'd been plagiarized because there was still more. Seldom Musings, a WordPress blog, had made a post accusing Somerton of plagiarizing a blog post about Attack on Titan from 2013. And then I thought, wait, doesn't Somerton have a video from September 2022 called, like, Attack on Titan and the Death of Media Literacy? Well, he did. Finding an old link, it was suddenly set to private. Over 1.5 million views had been wiped from his channel. Huh. Damn. I already had a copy downloaded because, well, Somerton has deleted inconvenient videos before, and I figured something like this would happen again. I've been going through his videos
This guy's so petty. He had a wait. What did he say?
Well, copy downloaded because, well, Somerton has deleted inconvenient videos before, and I figured something...
This guy's got all his fucking videos downloaded. That's like fucking unhinged almost. It's like a level of obsession. I'm not saying he's wrong. I mean, he's thoroughly fucking ravaging this guy, but it's just funny. It's like, goddamn.
Like this would happen again. I've been going through his videos chronologically, so I hadn't got to that one yet, but what's kind of funny is I know I would have noticed this plagiarism myself if I had. That blog post has gone viral multiple times. It's one of the main sources for Western awareness of Attack on Titan's authors' right-wing views. If you're deep on anime fascism discourse, this is a...
Oh wait, does he have right-wing views? What are the right-wing views that he's got? Damn, I didn't even notice that. Interesting.
Classic post. I've seen it linked and referenced dozens of times over the years. It would make sense to point to this post if you were discussing the political implications of Attack on Titan, or you could even quote it and cite...
I honestly don't. I don't even see how you could. Where do you get that from? Okay.
As a source. Well, wouldn't you know it, Somerton doesn't link the post or quote it anywhere or acknowledge its existence, he just copies it.
This outrage should come as no surprise knowing the history between Japan and Korea, but that is exactly what most people may not be aware of. Korea was occupied by Japan from 1910 to 1945. Along with many East Asian nations allied by Japan, Korean forced Korean names, Japanese style, destroyed murdered Korean empresses, forced Korean men, forced Korean women, sexual slavery, Japanese soldiers, and tortured and massacred on Koreans en masse. However, history lessons in Japan have lost over. It is not good reasons.
James doesn't acknowledge the writing he's stealing at all, though he does find the time to make a long opening sequence. James Somerton Presents, directed and edited by James Somerton, written by Nick Hergott and James Somerton. This site was active briefly in 2013 with a post in 2016 clarifying the blog was done. They came back 6 years later to talk about James stealing their work.
The reluctance to paraphrase the same factual information speaks to a lack of imagination, not to mention a lack of research. He should be ashamed of the laziness of copying entire sentences into his script as if he wrote them himself. How can you say a fan...
It's so bizarre because I feel like it's so weird to me because I don't understand the desperation to be the first one to have the thought. So he's like, there's political whatever. I've never heard that before. So if I heard it from him, like there's a possibility I would have thought that it was the first time it came up. But it's like, why not just say, I read this article or I read this fucking thing and this person brought this concept up and I thought it was really interesting and I want to explore it with my audience. But boom. Nobody's going to turn you off. You know what I mean? I just feel like they're not, because these motherfuckers are lazy. People rather watch you sometimes. You know, they're like, oh, I like this guy and he got this cool thing. Let me watch the cool thing my guy is looking at, you know? I'm just saying.
lacks media literacy when you can't even conduct your own research or compose your own analysis.
Somerton saw the author call him a plagiarist and panicked and hid the video, deleted all his community posts so there was nowhere to leave a comment asking what happened this time. He was preparing for his plagiarism to go public and locking everything down. If what Somerton...
It says 269 there? What was it at? What is he at now? You guys said 50K. Summer. 265. Oh, we only lost 4,000. You guys said he lost 50K. How come you guys said he lost 50K? If in this video it says he has 269, it looks like he only lost 5K. Why the fuck did you say 50K? Because if it's in the video, I meant like, right? Like he couldn't have, like, am I fucking crazy? Is there like a time machine? Or did he delete, wait, did he already delete his stuff?
Media literacy posts so there was nowhere to leave a comment asking
or compose your own analysis.
Somerton saw the author call him a plagiarist and panicked and hid the video, deleted all his community posts so there was nowhere to leave a comment asking what happened this time. He was preparing for his plagiarism to go public and...
Oh. Maybe he slowly lost followers before... Oh,
locking everything down. If what Somerton was doing was a defensible artistic choice, he'd be defending it.
Did he already delete all of his content at this point?
Wouldn't he? He'd say, this is a normal thing to do and I'm going to keep doing it. Instead, he does it secretly and hides the videos when people notice. It's clear he knows what he's doing is wrong and would just rather keep stealing than actually do any work. But while we're talking about the Attack on Titan video, you know he didn't just steal one thing. The video's an hour long. No self-respecting marketing expert would do all that work himself. In this video, and only this video, he quotes several YouTubers, like he has their text on the screen and he reads it out.
It's interesting because I wonder if he has ad... I got like one ad spot once. Adam and Eve sponsored me. You could probably still use the Toad Papa Gut for like whatever it is. Like you get one item for free or 50% off or something. But if you don't leave your videos up for like a year, they take your money back. So I wonder if there was like I wonder if you had to like pay that back, you know?
And he would never normally do that. He would just steal their words and pretend he came up with them, which means he must be stealing from someone who quoted them. And, yeah.
For a long time, anime fans had no way of knowing what their favorite writers and artists even looked like, let alone what they thought about the world.
3.5 minutes of this video comes from Geeta Jackson at Vice Motherboard. And yeah, when he quotes YouTubers, he's actually quoting Jackson quoting them. I can't believe I fucking called it.
YouTuber Jeff Thu argues, it's because this discussion keeps happening, but it's also not. There's some really good criticism of Attack on Titan, and I think it's important to criticize it.
Now, this isn't just an article quoting someone. Jackson reached out to Jeff for his opinion on this topic.
Yeah, my biggest criticism is there wasn't really a lot of MILFs. They shouldn't have killed the mom so quickly.
Nowhere else James could have got this quote, and this time he really fucked it up. At one point he uses a quote Jackson got from historian and scholar Andrea Hbomberguy. But remember how he sometimes finds and replaces words like gay or trans to queer or LGBT to hide it? He accidentally did that to the quote.
As they put it, these fans insist that feminism and LGBTQ people don't exist in Japan, and that any anime depicting either is woke garbage or similar. These fans are extremely angry at attempts to discuss the depictions.
Well, yeah, Japan is generally a little conservative, and they typically are a little racist. Not a huge fan of the additional races, which, by the way, I love all of them, even the bad ones. Just kidding. I'm just fucking kidding. You know, that's what happens when you have a very homogenous society. You need a little bit of not heterogamy. Fuck, I don't know what the word is. You get my point.
As a female characters in anime is something that could often use improvement, or the inclusion of LGBT characters, period.
This is the most amateur shit I've ever seen. This is sub-high school level plagiarism hiding. You don't find and replace text in the quotes, James! People in Somerton's official Discord server were asking what happened to the video. On January the 1st this year, he said the video was coming back up that day, and that it had to come down because of a missing source. That's a very strange way of saying someone noticed me plagiarizing them and criticized me for it, and I deleted fucking everything. The new version he uploaded is a minute shorter. He just cut out the sections where he directly read the blog post. The video is even more stilted and strangely written than normal. The point Somerton was trying to make here was so important he was willing to steal it from someone else. Now that point is missing, and the surrounding conversation makes no sense. The new version opens saying the original had a citation error. But if that was the problem, why didn't he add a citation instead of deleting the section completely? Well, one reason might be he wants the credit for himself, but the other is if he added their name now, anyone who checked would see the author's new post saying he plagiarized them. Somerton's only way out is to hide it and hope no one notices.
Shit.
He doesn't want to stop stealing. He just wants to not get caught doing it. If he thinks he can get away with keeping something in, he does. The 3 minutes of the video written completely by Geeta Jackson are still in the new version, completely unchanged. As of recording this video, no one else seems to have noticed this yet, but if anyone does, he'll doubtless delete the video and re-upload a new version with that piece missing too and call it a day. James has done this repeatedly in the past. Several
I
other
don't know if I'll call it a day. I mean, how many times can you re-upload a video? Damn.
videos open with text claiming they had to be re-uploaded to avoid a mysterious and unexplained copyright issue. One of them was Codebreakers. At some point it was taken down, altered to hide some but not all of the stuff he stole, and re-uploaded with a new title, Queering Cinema. By any means necessary. The opening titles still call it Codebreakers though. Every time he re-uploads a video, the name is different. It's very confusing. And his well-meaning fans assume that his constantly taking down of videos and re-uploading with pieces missing is a sign of his integrity. They talk about how much more they respect him every time he re-uploads a video like this. Every time, because he has to do it a lot. The reality is Somerton has had years worth of chances to be the—
Oh, wait, does he get praise when he takes a video down and puts it back up the right way? Is that what you're saying? That's what he's saying. There is like a weird thing when it comes to like virtuously apologizing. It's so bizarre where people will apologize and they'll give you like this whole spiel about how you're doing the right thing because you think it's the right thing and blah 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 blah. And people are like, oh my god, I respect your growth, even though there's like not really any growth. They're just doing it. You know what I mean? Just a pure virtuous. I fucking hate that shit. I hate it when people do that.
The man of integrity his audience wants him to be, and despite this being his full-time job, which he makes thousands and thousands of dollars doing, he would rather keep stealing. By the way, that re-upload of Codebreakers, Queering Cinema, around the time of the Attack on Titan drama, it disappeared again. As far as I can tell, it's still gone nearly a year later. Maybe some authors noticed what he did and said something. Maybe so many pieces had to be taken out there was nothing left. The frequency with which he's had to hide videos to cover this up is staggering. Scrolling up his Discord's video announcement page, you can see right away a shocking amount of stuff that mysteriously went missing without any explanation given. For some reason, Nick wrote a joke on this page about how to tell who wrote what part of each video. It's cute, but I'm going to take it as confirmation that if a section doesn't contain these words, neither of them wrote it. While I was browsing his public fan Discord, I found myself wondering about Nick, his co-writer. Does he know? Nick Hergott, also known as NT Hergott, is a writer, mostly for James's videos, but he does have a self-published—
fuck, Nick, you're done. Sorry, Nick, you're done too. You're gonna be deleting your page soon, buddy.
Young adult novel, so there we go. He's a better writer than James as far as I can tell, in the sense it doesn't look like he steals things. So, does he know what his boss is doing? I checked the fan Discord to see if they talk about the writing process, and I found Nick has—
If he's his boss and he knew, I wouldn't say anything. Not trying to be that guy, but I'm not gonna out my fucking boss. You know what I mean? What am I, an idiot? What, I got a death wish? Fuck that.
a special section dedicated to previewing part of the scripts for upcoming videos, which is a really nice feature. Or it will be, if they wrote them. Nick showcases parts he's written, and as far as I can tell, they're actually his. And they're pretty decent too. And sometimes he shows things James wrote. This is part of the script for a video called How Disney Tore Down the Owl House. And it actually made it into the video. Let me play it to you.
Chapek, though, is in a unique position as far as CEOs of multi-billion-dollar corporations go. Disney is, first and foremost, in the business of making money, but unlike almost every other giant corporation, it doesn't want to be seen that way by the general public.
I feel like no corporation wants to be seen as just a money-making machine. You know? Like, people want you to think that it's like a person almost, so you have some kind of a, you know, weird parasocial interaction with it.
Nick literally says, James wrote this. So at the very least, James Somerton wrote this text, right? Right? No!
Chapek, though, is in a unique position as far as CEOs of multi-billion-dollar corporations go. Disney is, first and foremost, in the business of making money.
It's an article by Julie Tremaine for the San Francisco Gate. I wonder how she feels about having her work reposted to an audience being told it—
Why isn't the San Francisco straight?
was written by James Somerton. Holy shit, if it's any consolation, Julie, James Somerton's Discord thinks your writing is harsh but true. I love any time y'all talk about Disney. Jesus Christ, it wasn't y'all, it was someone else! It was them all! But the way this post was phrased implies Nick has no idea James did this. He probably saw the text his boss put in the shared script and assumed he wrote it, because if he didn't, that would be really fucking bad. And it's not just these 2 paragraphs. A solid 4 minutes and 40 seconds are taken from this article. What's weird is James actually acknowledges in the video he has no idea why he went on this tangent.
So, what does all this have to do with the Owl House? Well, I just wanted to point out how big of a tool Bob Chapek is.
He stole a bunch of words for literally no reason. They don't even connect to his point. He just needed to pad his runtime, I guess. Here's another section of a script Nick shared. This is from a draft of the Attack on Titan video. Wait, what's this? Shonan? Okay, shonen is a Japanese word. There's like 5—
It is. I know that one. I don't know what it means, but I think it's a company. Shonen? Industries? I don't know. You guys remember Bandai? They did Power Rangers. So that's cool. I like Power Rangers.
Ways to spell it in English, and this isn't any of them. Here's how we translate Basatsu Shonen magazine, where Attack on Titan was published. Has he never seen a single issue of Shonen?
Shonen. Yeah, how do you fuck that up, dude? What are you doing?
and jump. This video sucked, by the way. He didn't know anything about the genre he
Maybe he was thinking of his grandmother when he used an A instead of an E.
was discussing. And now it turns out he can't even spell it. I hope this section was plagiarized. Then again, maybe this time Nick found something he liked in the script that James actually wrote. Nope. It's also stolen. Again! It comes from culturalreview.com, the website/personal blog of Tyler Hummel, who hopes to bring thoughtful and enjoyable commentary on popular culture
Yeah,
and
but he found the article on Reddit, dude. Don't you want to give him credit for that? Come on.
entertainment from a culturally conservative and religious perspective. In case you're wondering what that means, he thinks Batman is too woke. Right before the section, James copied into a document and told Nick he wrote all by...
Well, Batman is not really woke enough. Let's be real. Batman is kind of the reason why everybody in Gotham's an asshole. He's a billionaire that could absolutely revitalize that community, and he said he simply does not do it. He says, fuck you, motherfucker.
Himself, Hummel complains about Marxism and
I got it.
race
I
theory,
stole
and
it.
then
I
randomly
stole it.
whines
I'm a
about
piece
people
of
who
shit.
criticize Game of Thrones' final season before posting Lindsay Ellis' video about his videos as an example of people he hates. In his quest to seem like he knows what he's talking about, he's willing to borrow the words of a guy who hates him and everything he stands for, including Lindsay Ellis, who he credits with getting him into making video essays, another crime Lindsay should pay for. Wait a minute, did he film himself next to Disney War because Lindsay did? Was he copying that too? Normally I'd think I was overreacting, but he's stolen everything else. I don't know anymore. At least that means he didn't get shonen wrong. That must have been the nutcase he copied from. No, that's one of the few new words he added to the stolen segment. James Somerton is the dumbest motherfucker. To be completely fair, this piece of the script...
Why not just go Google it? Shonen Jump.
Didn't make it into the final video, so it seems Somerton thought better than to steal from one of the most insane people in the world. But the fact Nick keeps accidentally showing pieces of the script James stole, assuming he did write them, implies even his co-writer has no idea he's doing this. I feel kind of sorry for Nick. His trust has clearly been violated here. He's been made a liar without his knowledge.
I think he's just making money. He's just working a job, man. I think that other guy that's the employee of this gay guy, James Somerton, he's just getting the bag.
Because he trusted his boss and, I assume, friend. That's a messed up situation to be in, seriously. I thought it would be worse if Nick was in on it, but it's the opposite way around, isn't it? It's so violating imagining people work for James, and I assume make most of their income from working for him, and don't know what they're signing up for. I don't know how...
He probably did know, and I wouldn't blame him for not outing his boss. It's his opportunity. Why the fuck would he out his boss? Dude, leave me alone, dude.
How I would feel in his position, but not good. This sucks. Worst of all, I think James might be using Nick as a shield. Whenever any mention of the old plagiarism stuff comes up, James immediately brings up how Nick actually writes the videos, and there's no way he would plagiarize.
I have a co-writer who came from academia, where plagiarism in academia gets you kicked out of school. Like, it gets you fired. Nick co-writes my videos. There is no plagiarism.
It's like he's trying to redirect possible negative attention onto his unsuspecting co-writer. Whenever plagiarism comes up, James brings up how great Nick is for writing all the videos in a totally not suspicious way.
Because if it was like somebody accusing me of plagiarism, especially recently, the videos are so heavily written by Nick that they would be accusing Nick of plagiarism, and I will not fucking tolerate that.
Remember,
I won't tolerate you bullying my friend. I love him so much. Dude, you're a weirdo, bro. What the fuck?
James knows there is plagiarism in his
This is like the most virtuous bullshit ever, or like the fake virtuous nonsense ever. What the hell?
videos because he did it. So when he responds by saying...
I don't know if he's trying to blame the other guy in case there's plagiarism, or to me, it comes off more like he's trying to be like, I'm a good boss. I'm a good guy. Don't frick with my friend, dude. You stand in front of us. Wait, no, what is it? You stand behind me, I'll defend you. If you stand next to me, I'll fight with you. But if you stand in front of me, you're doomed or something. That's kind of how the meme goes. I'm fucking paraphrasing, but you understand what I'm doing.
No, Nick writes the videos, and he would never do that. It's like he's setting him up to take the fall.
Nick is an angel for tolerating me and writing the videos as well, like, with his fantastic talent. So that I would just not tolerate.
So either Nick is plagiarizing as well, and that's why the new videos still have a ton of plagiarism, or James is doing it, and now when it comes up, he throws Nick under the bus. But James isn't content pretending to make video essays, no. He wants to wipe on a bigger canvas.
Yes.
In 2022, James Somerton started an Indiegogo for a film studio he wanted to open called Telos Pictures, which intended to produce films focusing on LGBT characters and stories. His video pitching Telos included a series of ideas for miniseries, feature-length movies, and short films. For example, Final Girl, a short about a woman who had survived a typical slasher story. The initial goal of $6,000 was to make 2 of the short films, but with stretch goals for making more. The campaign made enough money to make almost all of them, over 86,000 Canadian dollars, so a bit over 63,000 in USD. Telos has been a runaway financial success for James. As of today,
that's nice.
18 months after raising over $64,000, more than 10 times its initial goal, Telos has made nothing. For people who supported Telos, updates on what's happening have been few and far between. A few months after the campaign ended, he claimed Final Girl, one of the short films on the slate, was in pre-production and had been expanded into a full movie, but they were having trouble with casting and were considering relocating to another part of Canada. The next update would come 7 months later, with the announcement James had moved to Toronto to try to find actors, and they dropped Final Girl and moved on to a new project, one which wasn't on the original list people funded, called The Listener. He'd be spending $20,000 to $30,000 of the Telos money on it, and as an apology for the lack of updates, he would be adding an update page to the Telos website later that week to keep people informed. 10 months later, this hasn't happened. The Telos website does, however, have a working donation page where you can give him more money for rewards up to and including getting to make requests about the film.
All right, hey, listen, that's all I got website up for too, is to make that money, baby.
What films? Months later, this July, he
Christmas album when? What is that? My Gut Academia. What the hell are you talking about?
Telos.
I do like My Hero Academia. It's pretty good.
Had finally been incorporated as a real company. He called this a long and pricey process. Incorporating in Canada is a few hours of paperwork and costs 200 Canadian dollars. He claimed an update was coming within a week. This was almost 3 months ago. The Telos Twitter account hasn't been updated in well over a year, but he recently opened a Telos Blue Sky page, which has made one post with a poster for a new movie supposedly coming in 2024, which isn't The Listener or any of the previously mentioned.
Ew.
films. Every time I look in on Telos, I find no updates on what's happening, but I do find out about a new movie they announced. The website is currently claiming another new film called The Sub, estimated release 2023, is in pre-production. Better get a move on then. Telos keeps announcing new projects with a new poster to go with it consisting of a stock photo with text over it, and then not making any of them. This one's already being used for a real show that exists. He keeps putting text on stock photos and pretending it's a real film in pre-production. It doesn't exactly inspire confidence how fast new films are being dreamed up. One of them even had a teaser consisting entirely of stock footage, only to never be spoken of again. This one isn't even mentioned on the website at all anywhere. Movies take time to make, even short indie films, and for the record so do video essays, but the lack of updates on what is happening, or which film is even being made, is a little disconcerting. Continuing the trend of James's work not really being his, we need to talk about Final Girl, the first project which was cancelled. Final Girl was at one point coming this fall, which at the time was 2022.
Coming? I gotta stop.
22. The people who funded this film were told to expect it by autumn last year. They got pretty far on this one. In late June, James tweeted the script was done. But then all of a sudden, James moved on to The Listener and the 5 other films he started since then. But unlike many of James's other announced projects, which still have a poster and a tentative release date on the site, Final Girl disappeared completely. What happened here?
Shit.
He claimed he gave up because it was too specific.
I guess it certainly was The Final Girl. That's the name of the movie.
To Nova Scotia, and he had to move to find actors. But there could be another reason. The name and synopsis of Final Girl are extraordinarily close to a book which already exists, The Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix.
Oh no, dude! He should have at least named it The Last Girl. You know, like The Last Samurai. Something a little different.
I wonder if Somerton is aware of the similarity. It would be weird if he wasn't, because it was one of his favorite books of 2021. He started the
Damn. Well, then I guess he's aware of it.
Indiegogo with this.
I mean, maybe it's just an homage. Some would say. Maybe it's just a little bit of an homage. It's nothing to do with that video or book, and it's just him like, oh, I like it. And there's no similar themes.
Short film idea a few months after making this post. You'll be shocked to discover, but something of James's turned out to be stolen and evaporated. The 18-month journey of Telos consists of Somerton being paid
I was wrong.
$65,000 to make a dozen fake movie posters. So far, James has ripped off bloggers, novelists, authors, anyone who writes text for a living, really. Oh, and Wikipedia.
Yeah, second to last girl. The final countdown.
And AMVs, because watching Korra for himself was too much effort, apparently. If you're queer and you wrote something good, no you didn't, but now we need to talk about the time he somehow went even further than that. Let's talk about the time he ripped off another gay YouTuber. Remember Unrequited, the video that ripped off
another gay guy. Sorry.
The celluloid closet and plagiarized Peter Howell? Before any of the celluloid closet stuff had even been discovered, James had already been caught ripping off someone else with the same video. How? How are there still more?
The Are They Gay Nightmare.
A later section covered examples of queerbaiting in various TV shows, including BBC's Merlin, the recent Teen Wolf TV series, and Sherlock, whatever that is. But people began to notice these sections were suspiciously similar to one another YouTuber had already made. Alexander.
What does queerbaiting mean? Like, is it a bad thing? Where, like, what does that mean? What's a queerbait specifically?
Avila, whose channel used to be called Are They Gay, has a series of videos exploring the queer implications between characters in various shows, and he's covered Merlin, Teen Wolf, and Sherlock. The part of Somerton's video covering Merlin feels like he watched Avila's video and very slightly rephrased it, but what made it really obvious was the footage he used. They weren't just similar, they were exactly the same. Avila had this one part where he fades between several different scenes across different episodes to show the evolving character dynamics. This is Avila using editing and his knowledge of the show to make a point. That same sequence appears exactly in Somerton's video. Avila's video puts text over the footage to explain the characters.
Damn, he's pulling a Illuminati, and since we've already seen that part of it, we know that it's bad.
Thoughts and justify his interpretation of the show. This text is still in there in Somerton's version. This is sloppy even by James standards. He even keeps in a joke Avila made.
If I wasn't a prince, what? We'd probably get on.
In case it wasn't obvious, Marvin Gaye's Let's Get It On wasn't in the original show. Avila put that in there for a joke. And
are you sure?
You're not going to believe this.
Probably get on.
Somerton stole.
Damn, he really liked that joke. He must have loved that joke.
Alexander Avila's video essay and reused it and just recorded his own very similar version of the voiceover and jokes.
It really is like a romantic comedy.
Oh, come on, you've seen a romantic comedy, you know how this works.
This is the worst and laziest example of plagiarism I've ever seen. Reusing other people's work like this is not right, especially when, you make a living making these videos. He only said things about the show Avila also said. It's extremely clear Somerton hasn't seen Merlin. He just reused Avila's work. The other sections covering Teen Wolf and Sherlock also had extremely similar
why not just watch the damn fucking thing or just remove that?
looking sequences. He'd downloaded and reused several of Avila's videos. When this was discovered, Avila tweeted to Somerton about it, asking for proper credit and in the future to ask people permission before doing something like this. He also left a similar comment on the video.
Damn, he got him.
Which finally got James's attention. The next day, Somerton set Unrequited to private and contacted Avila on Twitter. I reached out to Avila and asked him what they discussed, and he gave me permission to share these messages with you. Somerton apologized for using his material without asking, claiming he intended to reach out but forgot to.
Hold on. How do you intend to reach out but forget to? There's no way.
And he had been in a rush to finish the video before the end of Pride Month, and in this rush he ended up using a lot more of your content than I ever intended. He then offered to credit Avila in the description of his video.
There might be a level of truth to that. He might have been like, oh man, I really got to get this out by Pride Month on me. But no, fuck that. This guy's constantly doing it. There's no way. What am I saying?
That old trick. He also perplexingly asked Avila to delete his comment because he put an awful lot of work into his videos and felt discredited by it, which frankly is a
That's fucked up. Damn, he's calling you out for taking so much of his shit. And you're like, can you delete your thing? It's making me up. That's crazy. That's fucked up. That's funny.
Wild thing to say to someone you just admitted you stole from. You're not the one putting the work in, buddy. Avila said he would rather Somerton upload a new version that credited him in it directly, or perhaps he could watch Merlin and make his own arguments. He also reminded him that passing someone else's work off as their own is far more discrediting than pointing out someone did that. Somerton never replied. So he admitted he plagiarized Avila's work, but he had an explanation. He was too busy. Damn. Too busy doing what? You don't do anything.
Why would you even, here's my thing. Why reach out? Like, the whole reaching out was explicitly to try to, I don't know if I'd say bully, but just try to get this guy to remove his shit. Why not fucking do more? Why not just fucking credit the guy from the first place? I don't get it. It's so easy to just credit them. Nobody's like, what the fuck?
The video was never unprivated. Instead, a few days later, it was re-uploaded with pieces.
Pretending to be queer for queer points, kind of like trying to appeal to queer communities in a way to get their views or money. Ah, gotcha. Okay, queer baiting. Gotcha. I was hoping it was closer to like masturbating, but that's disappointing.
Of course. This re-upload was also in 3 parts, saying the video had been edited to remove content owned by other parties. The re-uploads also say which part of 3 they are, except for part 3, which is also called part 2. Somerton had put in about as much work as you'd expect from someone who copies for a living. In the new version, the Merlin section was completely removed. However, this
how the fuck did you like notice that? It's called part 2 instead. You're really observing these videos.
was the only change, so later parts of the video still refer back to it.
Much like with Merlin, the pair start the series off on a bad path.
The Teen Wolf and Sherlock sections were kept the same, so all the video sequences he got from Avila for those parts were still in there. He didn't accidentally use any obvious parts where Avila's text or jokes came up, so I guess he decided it was fine to keep it in. The way James treated Alexander, stealing several of his videos, then when caught offering to hide a credit in the description like that would change what he'd done, and then re-uploading the video with half the stuff he stole still in it, is a clear indicator how little he thinks of his fellow queer creators. He does not care about doing right by other people in his community. He cares about making money.
Kind of based. Self-hating gay guy, kind of based. Just kidding.
By any means necessary. What makes this even clearer is how publicly he does not admit fault or even pretend he learned anything. To this day, he lies about what happened. When the plagiarism allegations came up on that livestream, he made up a completely new story that contradicts the apology he gave to Alexander. He claims he downloaded
that live stream. Got him.
Did a highlight reel of Merlin clips from somewhere else, and that
like a highlight reel.
Like reel stole from Avila's video, so technically he didn't steal from him, and it was all just a misunderstanding.
In the
steal.
original History of Queer Coding video, I used a highlight reel from the show Arthur that another used a highlight reel from the show Arthur that
So that's what you call Merlin. I was thinking Arthur? They had a gay character in Arthur, right? It was like a teacher. Got married, a beautiful thing.
That's another YouTuber had used, and I thought it was just a highlight video, but apparently it actually came from another video from the channel Are They Gay?
He repeats and refines this story throughout the stream.
And there was one where I took a highlight reel in 2020 from a highlight video that happened to be from a video.
Why isn't he like editing this or something? Why is he just like off the cuffing this in such a weird way?
From a YouTube channel.
The only problem with this story is we have receipts.
And I took a highlight reel to highlight the queerness in the Arthur show, Merlin show, and it was pointed out to me that that didn't come from a highlight reel, that came from an actual video.
Low right, Leo. Oh, for real, fuck.
Stolen from that video for the highlight reel that I took it from. Nick co-writes my videos. There is
like he doesn't even like the show. Why talk about it? It's weird, you know.
There's no plagiarism.
Well, that's what I do sometimes. I'll talk about stuff that I don't like all the time. In fact, it's part of my channel is talking about things I don't like because I'm a fucking piece of dog shit. So
there was, as I said, and I will say one more time, a highlight reel from the show Merlin that I took from a larger highlight reel video that was apparently sourced from a video from the channel Are They Gay?
James admitted directly to Avila that he took from his work on purpose, although he intended to steal less. How considerate of him. James is lying directly to his audience to protect his reputation. He can't even own up to his behavior. He just keeps lying, and he didn't even stop stealing. A little while after the stream where the allegations came up, he made a post on Patreon to try to explain the allegations for people still asking about them. You have to be a patron to see it, so avert your eyes if you're not giving James money. In addition to repeating the lie, he got permission from Sean Griffin to adapt Tinkerbells and Evil Queens before making the video. He again states he got the clips from a highlight reel which got them from Are They Gay. Left to his own devices, James will just make up what happened. And since his paying customers haven't seen the evidence...
Damn, I can't believe you stole his Patreon.
Of him admitting he did it, they have no option but to assume it's true. James did this on purpose with multiple videos and is lying to his backers so they continue to support him financially. James, you've been to business school. You know there's a word for that. And even if I hadn't reached out to Avila and got that woefully hilarious confession, I could still have objectively proven he did it.
Oh, shit.
There's one last missing piece of the puzzle here. Ignoring for a second he admitted to Avila he took from more than one video. Ever since, he's always pretended it was just Merlin. If I could somehow prove he also used Avila's other videos for those sections, that would show the extent
would you be able to do that?
Of the copying and how much he's lying to cover it up. But like I said, the Teen Wolf and Sherlock sections aren't as obvious. He doesn't steal any jokes, he just very boringly spouts arguments similar to Avila's while playing what looks like the same footage. It's harder to prove he downloaded his video to make this, which is probably
$5. Hey Papa, it's my first time in the stream.
Thank you so much. Thank you, I appreciate that. Thank you. I've never seen you before. I'm just kidding.
Probably why he feels comfortable pretending he didn't. I was thinking of watching both videos closely side by side and contrasting the clips to show they're all the same, wasting even more of my precious life watching Sherlock than I already have. But then, I was reading James's tweets from when he was making this, and I saw that he posted a picture of him editing this video with his timeline visible. Forgive me, but the opportunity to do something like this comes once in a lifetime. Jimmy, if you're somehow still watching, I need you to understand just how bad a liar you are.
Isn't this that guy? The guy, the act man, the ace attorney guy?
How obviously awful and deceitful you look to anyone who's paying attention. Before you'd even uploaded the video, you posted a picture of the Sherlock section of your timeline, and the source footage is clearly labeled, Are They Gay? You had proven you plagiarized Avila before the video was even done.
Oh, I don't
Also, delete your channel. Let's get a big picture look at how much stealing James has done. As of making...
You kind of did. You kind of did, man. You kind of got that guy. Kind of got the guy on that one. It's fucking crazy.
This motion graphic, there are 56 video essays on his YouTube channel dated after October 2018. A minimum of 22 contains some amount of plagiarized material. He also has 2 essays exclusively to his Vimeo page. According to him, YouTube flagged them not safe for work. These have a ton of plagiarism in them too.
Teen Wolf was good, but cringe. Okay. I don't know if I'd like it.
2. Several videos were taken down and then re-uploaded with parts removed, like Attack on Titan and a few others. I don't know how I should account for re-uploads on this list, but we should at least include videos which were deleted and never came back, like Codebreakers, and hey, welcome back Unrequited. He took that re-upload down too at some point. I wonder why. And let me be clear, this is just the plagiarism we know of. We could have easily missed the stuff in the other videos, or there could be more deleted ones we don't even know about. That's a minimum of 26 videos that steal stuff. Like James said, there's not 3 or 4 examples, there's hours of examples. An entire channel's worth of examples. This isn't a one-off mistake, or a misunderstanding, or a citation error. This is a pattern with no sign of stopping. There's no fixing this, and there's no undoing the damage he's done, directly and indirectly, by using so many people's work without credit for money.
This might be good.
A lot of people have been burned by James, not just in terms of having their writing or videos stolen, one even giving him money to find out he was stealing from them, but on a basic level, liking someone's work and funding them, only to realize you're funding plagiarism, is humiliating. James has become one of the biggest LGBT YouTubers in the room, essentially absorbing all the support and attention that would have otherwise gone to people who actually do work. Other gay video essayists have to come up with their own opinions and actually write them. They can't compete on volume with a guy who's willing to rip off dozens and dozens of other people. Many of the people he's copied were paid very little, and in some cases not at all, for their original material when they wrote it. They were hoping their writing would be recognized and result in future work and more of a career, and in a way, their good work was recognized, but only by James. How much recognition do you think they got when James read their words without crediting them? And on the other hand, how much money has James made from them? How much money has he made in fundraising to start a film studio on the back of this career he got from them?
Well, hopefully James at least has purchased a lot of really popular, powerful, and good OnlyFans gay guys to jack off to. And then it won't matter. It'll be okay. It'll be a beautiful thing, in fact.
While making no films, gay writers are already poorly recognized for their work and contributions. It's a common problem. James should know about this. In Codebreakers or Queering Cinema or whatever it'll be called next time, James has a surprisingly eloquent section about how gay people keep going missing from history and being forgotten. This part was stolen too.
So as we start out on our lifelong...
Damn, I thought we were just going to talk about how he is doing that to gay people, other gay people, by kind of taking their work. But we didn't say that, did we? That's so sad.
Personal journeys. How do we discover our pure identity if we don't know much about those who came before us?
Stephen Spinks's column is extremely moving to read and genuinely important. And no one watching James's video had the chance to learn his name. James made a lot of money repeatedly re-uploading a video about the erasure of queer people, and he did it by erasing queer people. I guess when he renamed it Queering Cinema by any means necessary, he meant it. Every re-upload, the credits get longer. The list of people he's conned grows. The works he's stealing from aren't doing quite so well. This column was written in 2019 for Midlands Zone magazine, the UK's biggest regional gay publication. Due to the impact of the pandemic, Midlands Zone ceased production in 2020. This year, their official site went down, along with its archive of articles like this one. Googling the word James stole now gets you no results. I only found this plagiarism because I noticed it before the website fell off the internet. Good writing about queer living is hard to find, and easy to lose. And in obscurity, it becomes even easier to pretend it was yours. None of the money he makes will go to the people who wrote the great lines his viewers enjoyed. They get to rot in the very obscurity he...
It's fun to fuck, because he probably just has enough money to just not, like, just delete. Like, he could just delete his shit and he doesn't have to worry about it. Because he's got that kind of money, baby. Damn.
Pretends to criticize, while James takes all the oxygen for himself to promote only himself and position himself as a crusader for real representation, while giving a speech he stole about how gay people keep going missing from the story. I wonder how that happened.
It provokes it.
But he, in fact, was making the gay people missing from the story. Sad stuff.
A deep and meaningful question, I think. What is the real, tangible impact of gay erasure?
There is something a little bit soul-crushing about watching a man be paid thousands and thousands of dollars to literally plagiarize the phrase, what is the real, tangible impact of gay erasure?
It always be your own, man. It always be your own. It's fucking for real.
This is the impact. I don't know what I'm supposed to do about this. I don't even know if I should be making this video. I was just trying to double-check 2 or 3 old plagiarism accusations, and I ended up finding a whole bunch more, and I have functionally made a drama video about some guy. And
see, he admits it. So when people, if they even make it this far, people are like, it's not just a drama video about the guy. It's not a drama video, blah, blah, blah. You're wrong. He admits it, dude. I told you. I didn't even say it was a bad thing. I just said it was a thing.
Super chatted $5. With my last $5 for the month, instead of buying food or shelter, I wanted to send it to you cause it's my first time in stream.
You know, I respect that a lot, and I think that's how you should operate. I know most of you guys are fat as fuck watching me and neckbeards. You're drawn to what you feel is yourself. You project onto me. And so giving me the money for your food is actually one step closer to you not being so fat. And it is a beautiful, beautiful thing.
If this video goes up and is monetized and gets views, I have been paid, financially rewarded for making this.
Whoa.
I don't find that acceptable.
I feel like shut up. You find that fine. Just stop hamming it up. All right. The rest of the video is fine. Stop hamming it up, dude.
Especially not when the story is really about people who were never compensated for their work being stolen. So to make sure I have no financial incentive to make a video like this again, I'm going to be dividing any of the ad revenue this video makes among the creators James stole from. I'll be conducting a thorough examination of every video James.
I would never do that. I wouldn't. I don't give a fuck. I know I'm a goblin.
Has posted, including the many he has deleted I can find archives of, and contact everyone I can. At least the stuff he got from that weird right-wing guy isn't in the video, so he technically wasn't stolen from and doesn't need to be paid. You dodged a bullet there, James. It also occurs to me now that I will have to make a substantial donation to Wikipedia. Something that really got to me researching this video was watching James pitch himself as the queer creator to support. Making YouTube queerer entails giving him and his movie studio your money, and not the other talented people who have a fraction of his support. He extremely rarely recommends or speaks positively of any other creators, as if to him fellow members of his community are competitors. He acts like no one else is talking about these issues, and no one else sees things his way, even though he stole those observations, so obviously people do. The trickle-down effect of this behavior is a little upsetting. From the look of his comment sections, his devout fans believe him when he says there's no one else doing what he does. It's a manipulative strategy. Some young queer people feel underrepresented because the main guy they watch says they are, and that sucks to see happen. So I want to recommend some of my favorite queer creators.
Damn. That's interesting. What an interesting concept of feeling like you're underrepresented or in some capacity marginalized. Not that you aren't, but exacerbating that feeling through this video. Or not this video, but you know what I mean. Through James Summerlino.
In case James fans who made it this far need to know someone else they could watch and support. Hbomberguy is a brilliant creator who, to put it bluntly, is the platonic ideal of what if James Somerton was good? His videos are entertaining but also well-researched. He doesn't need to steal from books to discuss the evil queens of the Disney canon. He writes his own books because he actually does his own work. His video about Disney villains is a favorite of mine and a palate cleanser after watching someone reconstitute.
Yeah, but he doesn't have a turtleneck, so yeah, come on.
Other people's observations into Smug Hamburger. Hbomberguy's ability to be energetic and funny when handling sensitive topics is incredibly refreshing and instantly makes the conversation at hand so much more useful. The video about the politics of coming out, the evolution of the concept, and whether maybe we fixate a little.
I didn't like her Abba and Preach video.
Too much on what it's come to mean in modern culture is great. Give it a shot. Lady Emily's videos are all made for me, but the one about Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy explores the history of two of DC canon's most important characters and why they make such an engaging couple in stories. I recommend it, especially if you've not seen any of the good stuff coming out of DC lately, which does exist, like Teen Titans Go. Or the Snyder Cut. Shanspier covers a broad range of issues from AI to Lolita, but their video about true crime is a great tour of our species' long-term morbid fascination with gruesome stories. Shanspier asks, why are we fascinated with true crime? With real curiosity rather than judgment. They don't even make up any white women to get mad at. Amazing! Ricky Hirsch has made a ton of videos about media and gender over the years. Kat only found her by searching queer horror on YouTube and scrolling down for several minutes to see what was buried under the huge pile of James Somerton and X and Y being gay for Z minutes straight. I recommend her recent one about body horror, which explored gender's role in it in a way that made me say out loud, oh right, yeah, it's good. Give it a shot. I just found out about Verity Richie and their channel Verily Bitchy. It's a good one, but their videos with the help of co-writer Ada are really entertaining. I should recommend the video about the lesbian gays just to offset all the baggage I had to experience making this, but the one about Doctor Who and women is great and also deals with gayness, so it counts. And after all this, I'd be amiss not to
watch something about Doctor Who and women. Blech.
Recommend Alexander Avila, whose latest videos have been real bangers. The type of content he makes has evolved in the last year or so from funny queer-oriented media analysis to funny queer-oriented life analysis. TikTok gave me autism is really good, and I'd plagiarize it if I could get away with it at this point. There's a ton.
Sorry, TikTok gave me autism is fucking hilarious, dude. That's funny. I like that one.
One more queer creators out there covering the topics James pretends to, and they manage to do it with their own words, even without his massive budget. Linked in the description is a playlist with these and more video essays on queer media, or history, or politics, or philosophy, or queer anything really, from creators you should consider giving a look if you haven't. It's been reassuring putting this part of the video together and getting to fully realize there's plenty of us out there, and most of them are very cool. James was the exception to a group of entertaining, thoughtful, and kind human beings. I'm proud of us. Yeah, I guess that's the word, isn't it? Anyway, let's try to pull a rabbit out of this bloody mess of a hat. I'm gonna put my—
Why don't you pull a rabbit out of my fucking ass?
Wall back up and try to come to a wider conclusion about plagiarism real quick. One sec. Rachel, you haven't even held the camera. Can you help me with this at least? That's right, she's real.
Oh my god, Rachel is right there. Why? Was she just watching you make the videos? That's interesting. She just watched it the whole time? It's kind of weird.
You know me.
Okay.
To meet you. It's on, thanks for that.
What am I doing here, man?
We talked a lot today about what plagiarism is, but we should also talk a little bit about what it isn't. It's completely fine to be inspired by someone or build on ideas you got from somewhere else, especially if you're open about it. Famous big boy YouTuber Ludwig has a thing he calls the—
Hey, that's what I'm doing, guys. I'm just building. Take the ring to the town hall. I'm just building, okay? Don't criticize.
Yoink and Twist, where he gets ideas from existing videos and openly broadcasts he's doing his own spin on it. In his video about that one guy copying the Capsule Hotel video, he happily says where he got the stuff he drew on for his own work.
This is me trying silly chess ideas, and look at all the tweets beside me. Your ideas suck. Genius thumbnail. I got it from Fundy. I got it from Fundy. I made your dumb ideas in Minecraft, and then he has a bunch of tweets next to him.
It's hard for anyone to feel ripped off when he's open about where he got the ideas. I'm old enough now that when I was yay high, I was here for the first time this conversation happened on YouTube. It's easy to get rose-tinted about the early days, the 240p wiki.
How old is this guy? He looks pretty young. Okay.
Wiki Wild Wild West before anyone had sponsorships or even qualified for ad revenue. There was no money in it, so people just made what they liked making. Things were better, more original then. This was never the case. There wasn't capital, but there was social capital, and that spends almost as good. The AVGN, one of the subjects of this video, had dozens of knockoffs vying for his spot. The Irate Gamer, the Game Dude, the Sega Kid, Urinating Tree, Armade21, Acoustic Rocker, Undercover Filmer, the Pissed Off Angry Gamer Man.
Nintendo Shitcube.
Even before there was any money in it, we were drowning in people competing to be the guy calling NES Batman a shitload of fuck. But even back then, you could draw a line between people who cynically want to be the guy and people who wanted to be themselves, but inspired and informed by ideas they liked. Second generation critics like the Spoony One are open about drawing inspiration from Armade21, one of the better angry reviewers. And how many people claim inspiration from Spoony One today? Too many. Stop Skeletons from Fighting, who, unlike everyone I just mentioned, is still around today because he developed his own new ideas, started out by taking inspiration from all these people and then deliberately doing the opposite with the happy video game nerd, being positive about games he liked. Now that's a yoink and twist. YouTube is a beautiful cesspool of inspiration, remixing, riffing, parody. Drawing on existing ideas is a great way of making something new and unique. It's only wrong when you add nothing and try to pretend it was yours in the first place. And you don't have to cite your sources like a rocket scientist either. Sonic Law YouTuber Cybershell frequently uses information and images he got from websites like the—
I love Sonic. Only because I'm autistic. Also, I gotta slow this down. I feel like, well, I don't know.
Room floor and just explains where he's getting it from and often asks permission to use it. A coward would hide their source in a paste bin and not mention it anywhere else, but his videos are great because he shows you where you could learn more, and maybe even makes fun of you for not reading the website yourself in the first place, while explaining the topic in his own way. This is why Cat is forcing me to tell you his Chow video is objectively the best thing on YouTube. Thanks a lot, Cat. Fittingly, when Cybershell inspires someone, they're equally open about it. When one of his videos led Alan Pan to invent a device to steal soda from Universal Studios, he tells you right at the start he found out about the original from Cybershell's video. This is the community spirit.
Yeah, it doesn't really seem too hard to just be like, I found something out from a person I watch. It doesn't, like, nobody on YouTube is gonna, or rather the creators, because those are the people who are gonna care more about stuff like this. None of the creators are gonna be like, oh my god, you're a fucking bad person or anything. Oh, dude, I'm so dumb.
Love to see on this website. It's kind of beautiful watching a wider story unfold. One generation of Baja Blast thieves passing on their designs to the next. If you're honest about it, there's not even anything wrong with adapting a book or telling people what you found on Wikipedia. Different people like getting information in different ways. Wikipedia lets people record and upload readings of pages so you can learn about Bhutanese passports through audio, and they do it for a reason.
Bhutanese passport.
Some people might even prefer a video version. It would practically be an accessibility feature. Making video adaptations of interesting books or mental floss articles is an idea with potential. It's a way of spreading writing and ideas to a new audience, and all you have to do is be honest about it. That also forces
is true. Sonic's favorite food is chili dogs. Thank you for letting me know that.
To be accountable, you'd have to ask permission and get the approval of the people who wrote what you're adapting, which clears up any potential criticisms or infringement on the existing work. Speaking of adaptation, what about different languages? This is another way of sneaking plagiarism under the radar.
You might be wondering why I am subtitled in Portuguese.
A few years back, Jeff Thu, the guy James quoted someone quoting, covered how a Brazilian YouTuber had been stealing dozens of videos from him and other English-speaking creators, but in Portuguese, so us cadelas would never notice. This sucks, but it also
interesting.
It's one of the core barriers to accessibility for creators. Most videos are trapped in their mother tongue, making them hard to watch in other languages and therefore easier to steal. This is why
Mr. Beast has like this whole entire network of like I think Sniper Wolf does it too. But where they have the videos dubbed over in another language, which is a smart idea, man. Should we do Papa Gut in Spanish? What? Who would love that? Nobody.
Some clever creators very smartly let their producer trick him into paying people to do proper captions for the vaccines video in Portuguese, Spanish, and French so more people could engage with the facts of the story. And pathologic into Russian because I know who watches that video. Translation is a big part of video discovery, in more ways than one. For Spoonie fans, a lot of his old videos used to be missing, as non-YouTube video hosts died and their content didn't make the jump. Many of his videos weren't viewable on YouTube, were it not for the Spoonie Russ. A Russian fan of Spoonie re-uploaded his videos with Russian subtitles, and some of these were the only versions of those videos that existed on the net, at least for a while. Subtitling his videos didn't just make him accessible to a new language, but to the original language too. That's pretty cool. But you can go deeper than sub. You can dub. Counter-Strike tuber 3 Filip dubbed 2 of a Russian creator's videos about mods they made into English, with permission of course. It's very cool that a video about game development got to cross the language barrier for us sukas to enjoy. There might actually be a market in adapting videos like this. I'm sure some of my videos would do very well if someone translated them into English. I think a lot of people are inclined to protect creators.
Yeah, so what? That's funny. Why not get somebody to translate them into a different language? That would make like a language Senor Hbomberguy with an E and H, you know?
Like on the grounds that plagiarism is a very academic sounding problem, like something that happens in research papers or journalism, not something that you can do in a silly video made for entertainment purposes. Why are we holding YouTubers to standards? That would be like expecting accurate history from someone whose name has historian in it, because YouTubers often project us as being scrappy.
Why gotta have such high expectations?
Do-it-yourself amateurs, it feels almost wrong to expect them to be professional, but a lot of them are professionals, regardless how authentic their persona might be. YouTubers are now among the most recognizable faces on the planet and have become immensely wealthy doing this.
You guys keep saying Senior Gut. Why wouldn't you just go with Poppy Gut? There you go. Someone said it right as I said it. Since there's a delay, it means you said it first.
Some are so influential, we literally call them influencers. Maybe it's a good idea to have some standards for not stealing. Maybe. In current discourse, YouTubers simultaneously present at the forefront of a new medium, creative voices that need to be taken seriously as part of the next generation of media, and also small beans little babies who shouldn't be taken seriously when they rip someone off and make tens of thousands of dollars doing it. But on the opposite end, YouTubers who act like serious documentarians gain a shroud of professionalism, which then masks the deeply unprofessional things they do. We just saw that with James. I think he's partially got away with what he's doing for so long because he acts so professional about it, so people assume there's no way he could just be stealing shit, so they don't check. And on top of that, a lot of James's videos contain obvious mistakes and made-up facts, which...
Maybe. I mean, again, I don't think that people, like, normal people don't care. I'm not saying you shouldn't care. I'm just saying I think the reason is because people don't necessarily care, so they're not looking to find something. It's like another creator would do that, right? They're just like, oh, this guy's cool, and they just kind of move forward.
We haven't even had the time to get into in this video, but because they're often presented next to well-researched stuff he stole, no one questions it. I've seen James repeat a lie in his videos, and then other people claim it's true and link his video as the proof. He has helped to solidify misinformation by seeming like he's doing his diligence. To quote the great philosopher Daniil Dankovsky, truth does not do as much good in the world as the appearance of truth does evil. Just kidding, he actually stole that from Francois de la Rochefoucauld. Cite your sources, bachelor! This becomes extremely glaring once you've seen how the other side lives. At the last VidCon I went to, like 4 years ago, I was taking an Uber and a bunch of people came in it with me because we were all going to the same place. A bunch of big YouTubers who I don't know super well.
Ew, you all came in the Uber? That's fucking disgusting, dude. Grow up.
Including really massive one, like way more important than me, you know? And we were all just making small talk, and I made a joke that was actually quite funny about the topic we were talking about. And this big YouTuber, she laughed, and took out a phone and tweeted it. She heard my joke and just casually went, oh, I'll have that, and it became her joke. And she just took it.
She plagiarized you. You should have tweeted it first, dude.
Liked the joke too, which felt kind of good, but not really. What are you gonna do, complain? And start a massive public fight with someone extremely famous and get smashed into dust by thousands of fans? No.
Alright, this one's not that deep, though. This one's not that deep. You made a joke and they took it. You should have tweeted first.
No thanks, and that was my Uber too. I paid money to have one of my jokes stolen by a multimillionaire. When people hit a certain level of celebrity, they start to think the world actually revolves around them, and they can just take something if they want and say it's theirs. I don't have...
It's like these weird aspects of it that become so weird. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, somebody took my joke. And they fucking tweeted it. It's like, okay, you gotta slip that in there. You gotta slip that in 3 hours, 38 minutes, and like 25 seconds in there about some fucking random person took his joke. Probably Hassan. Hassan probably did it.
have a clever analysis here. Some people are just fucking weird. I'm not smart enough to know what we're supposed to do about plagiarism. I think trying to fix it in any systemic way could risk making it worse. Let's imagine YouTube introduced some kind of plagiarism claim system. We'd be expecting someone at YouTube to be able to decide whether something is plagiarism or not. And I don't like the idea of YouTube having any more power than they already have. If there was a system for handling plagiarism, the Illuminatis of the world wouldn't stop. They'd find ways around it. We've seen in this very video how easy it is to get away with copyright infringement. Just blur the logos and slap a filter over it. These systems are so untrustworthy. When Internet Historian correctly got copyright claim for stealing an entire article, people automatically assumed it was some kind of...
Well, it seems like the way you do it, you just submit a claim for it. No? Isn't that the way you would do it?
mistake, because YouTube is quite fairly viewed as bad at handling this, just as likely to shut down perfectly fair use work as it is actual infringement of copyright. A system like this would also allow bad actors to falsely accuse people, which would create a lot of problems for their targets. People falsely copyright claim videos they don't like all the time already. It's happened to me. I almost had to give a Nazi my home address so that a video would go back up. I'm half expecting some of the people this video was about to try it with this one. Maybe let's not give YouTube any more easily exploitable features. I want my joke back, but I can live without it if it means not giving the bad guys another toy. Simply being able to talk about plagiarism and bring attention to it and let people decide if something is and who they want to support going forward, that's good enough for now. But don't take my word for it on this. I'm certainly not. Someone smarter than me might come up with a better idea, so let's keep our eyes peeled for that. As technology progresses, the methods of plagiarism are getting stranger and more complex. The hot new tool in this...
It's true. The biggest plus Hbomberguy steals my jokes. That's right, but you're here. You know I'm going to take your jokes. You know?
Stealing tools box is generative AI like ChatGPT, Stable Diffusion, or Midjourney, which can produce new art or words on command using a process known as stealing. Sorry, that's an oversimplification. The process is called complicated stealing. Theoretically, generative AI works by training our large data set of existing material to figure out how to make new things. Before we even ask whether stuff generated by this counts as original, we have to ask, how did they get all that material? Well, by taking a lot of stuff without its creator's consent. ChatGPT has intricate knowledge of copyrighted works it shouldn't legally have access to, and when you ask it to write something original, it's just smushing all the stolen data together and using pattern recognition to try to guess the next word. It can't actually intuit things based on context. Here's what ChatGPT thinks I'd say about ChatGPT. It's like having your own personal tutor, therapist, and fact checker rolled into one. So whether you're here for the knowledge, the banter, or just to see how deep the rabbit hole goes, buckle up. It knows I say buckle up. I'll give you that. None of the people whose stuff was stolen to create this were asked permission or compensated. I certainly wasn't, but you bet they're charging you a monthly subscription.
Damn, interesting. Now we're coming after ChatGPT. I mean, I guess he makes a good point about it. That's very interesting, though.
And for the privilege of using Theft Machine 4.0, when you look into what a large language model actually does, it boils down to a slightly more advanced version of mashing the predictive text button on your phone, which makes it especially dangerous when it comes to writing reliable information. AI frequently hallucinates imaginary people, books, and historical events because it doesn't actually know any facts, just what facts look like. It's like asking James who came up with Disney Gay Days. You can't trust it. They had to put "Don't trust me" at the bottom so they don't get in trouble for inventing a machine that makes up lies. But because it has copied a lot of text and can guess a lot of new ways of saying it, the power this tool brings specifically to thieves is tremendous. ChatGPT's one truly impressive feature is how well it enables plagiarism. You could just paste a bunch of stolen stuff you got from Wikipedia or someone else's video in there and tell it to rewrite it so it sounds different. I wouldn't be surprised if James's videos suddenly stop having easily detectable plagiarism in them right around the time computers become able to launder this type of theft. Now it's a machine accidentally changing the quotes. Some creators have found people copying their work using this exact method, feeding their videos transcripts into a GPT, asking for a different sounding version and using it as the basis for a new video. While it's scary to consider a world where machines crank out videos copying your work and replace you, the plagiarism is extremely obvious. It's just someone's script reworded badly. The thumbnails are just a thesaurus version of the originals that doesn't even make sense, and the videos themselves actively demonstrate they're using footage from the original video. It's sloppy. The videos are unwatchably bad, so no one watched them. When someone finally did, they were caught immediately.
Yeah, but I feel like it's getting better and better. They had that AI voice critical thing that we watched in Hbomberguy. I think that channel got actually banned, but I feel like it's getting better and better. We're going to get to a point where it's actually going to become effective enough to like be fucking a little more scary than it is now.
Downplay the chance for these to be successful or the possibility of a more sophisticated version in the future, but it's heartening to recognize that these aren't even really AI. A person had to make these videos. It's still just people doing the stealing here. Pointing out AI was involved is almost a misdirection. A human being stole a video and made his own. All the AI did was speed up the process of making a shitty, obviously stolen video by doing the bad rewriting for them. People have been ripping each other off long before AI happened, and for now, it's still people. So, why do people plagiarize? We've talked a lot of superficials in this video, wanting money or prestige or clout or to get one over on your enemies by
yeah, man, you can make that work fast, make money. That's probably the biggest reason why people plagiarize.
Jacking their stuff, but these are small things. There's other ways of getting those. The reason humans copy like this, I think, goes a bit deeper. We don't exactly live in a world built for humans, do we? There's no guidebook for happiness or success or a sense of place in the world, and the people claiming to have one for you are really just trying to sell you something. We spend most of our little lives struggling to make these feelings fade away, or find something to placate them. It's either ennui, or being ennuied. I know it's a little pretentious, but we're all searching for a sense of meaning and purpose in our lives, and those things are hard to come by. There's a little bit of nothing in all of us, and we'd like to fill it with something. Opening your web browser and seeing someone who seems to have it figured out, making you feel better and entertaining you, and seeming to attract an audience on this roulette wheel of a planet, that's powerful. There's someone who seems to understand what they're supposed to be doing, and it's working. That's all anyone really wants. Sure, in retrospect, a bunch of people wanting to be exactly like the AVGN sounds silly, but he knew who he was. He was the angriest gamer you've ever heard. We can laugh, in fact, you're supposed to, but that's a human being with purpose. There's someone who's not anxious about their place in the world anymore. It's very difficult not to want that completeness for yourself, not to just be...
Maybe? Is that what we admire about celebrities? Maybe.
Like someone, but to be them, to attain that sense of knowing. In real life, James Rolfe is a human being with all sorts of problems and fears, but that doesn't stop people from wanting to be like the person he seems, someone who knows their place in the world. I know this is getting a bit pretentious and heavy for a video about plagiarism, but I do worry there are people out there who will never get the chance to become who they are, because they're too busy trying to be like someone else who, at best, has it figured out for themselves just a little.
The way I look at it is that for every person who doesn't become who they should or who they are or become, like, you know, proud of themselves, it's just one less person I have to compete with. You know what I mean? Isn't that a beautiful thought? Isn't that just... It's just like, you know, I just pray on their downfall. That's all I'm saying. It's a beautiful thing.
A little bit. I feel like I know who I am.
I don't pray for their downfall. I just pray on their downfall. Okay, don't think I'm a bad guy now. Don't go thinking I'm a bad guy now. Okay? Don't go thinking I'm a bad guy.
and how to live my life. And that makes me feel happy and somewhat complete. And I don't think I'd have ever found myself if I was trying to chase someone else's sense of completeness. Basically, no one knows how to live your life, and you might not either. But the only person who's going to figure it out is you. And you won't find that by trying to be the next that person. You can only be the first of whoever it is that you are. Other people help in small ways, though. They give you pointers to who you could be. And I think what makes me happiest in the world is feeling like I might have helped some people with that. People take inspiration from my work sometimes, and that is very cool. It's the ultimate flattery, and let's be honest, the closest I'll ever come to having children. If you find any happiness or success making something creatively, and you think I helped, thank you. Feeling like I can do that for someone makes me happy in a way I can't describe.
This is a beautiful man to be where.
If you find a lot of success doing it,
give
me all of your money.
Got him. Love it. All right, that's the end of the video, man. I think there's a lot of credits at the end here. And I guess he talks more.
Literally just...
He talks more, so we're gonna watch that.
Wow, the boom mic is still out of frame. Oh, the light literally just went off right now, went out of battery. Pretty good timing, it went off just like then. I'm just gonna leave it off. Thanks very much for making it all the way through this video. And a big thank you to my patrons whose names should be going past the screen right now in some form, for keeping the lights on and allowing me to keep making stuff like this. Not literally this though, this shouldn't have happened. I have good videos coming that I've also been working on. Those are happening as well. I didn't just make this for 10 months, I promise. I have a video about Myst that's 90 minutes long and it's just up for patrons. Check it out, that video is actually good.
Okay, well anyway, this is supposed to be exactly where this chest is supposedly that I'm looking for, and I cannot fucking find it, man.